Chapter 1 Creating Manga of One Piece in Pirates World become my ultimate goal? Welcome to the network of interesting dreams. Here, your dream can come true. Click here to participate in the survey. While Rob was surfing the internet on another boring evening, an interesting advertisement popped up on his browser. Dreams can come true? What a funny joke. Rob's expression remained cold even though he thought the intriguing ad was a funny joke. But it's really interesting because it's the first time he's come across such an advertisement, so he actually went in to have a look. He wasn't afraid of data-sucking viruses or anything else, because he himself was a high-level hacker without pride. His computer is secure to the max and he's also not just an easy target. He was after all one of the lords of the darknet. The real interesting thing about this ad that provoked Rob is that no ad could appear on his computer because he had already taken care of this issue long ago. So how can an electronic advertisement breach all its security walls and appear in front of his face? This is really interesting. The moment Rob clicked the ad link, his computer screen turned red and many childish questions appeared in his eyes, but he knows that answering these questions will make his servers analyze this virus faster and eventually finish it. Welcome to the survey from Network of Interesting Dreams. Get excited? Because today is your lucky day. Oh, he said today is my lucky day? Damn you. 1. Which anime or manga world would you like to live in? Please record your answer here. Rob answered without hesitation. One Piece. White heavy checkmark. 2. What is the most interesting thing you can do in this world? Disclaimer, if your goal is not interesting enough, your survey will not be accepted and you will be disqualified. Think carefully before scoring your goal. Please record your answer here. Rob thought, well, what could he do in the world of One Piece that would be so interesting to this damn virus? To be a pirate's king? No, it's too tacky. To be a Yonko? No, too corny. Well then, what about the fleet admiral? No, very frequent idea. How about being a revolutionary? No, too corny. It will be a celestial dragon then. Rob's enthusiasm slid down again as he searched One Piece fanfic stories in web novel via his phone. Unfortunately, the celestial dragon was a frequent idea too. What the hell, nothing is interesting here. Rob is starting to lose his temper because he hasn't really found any interesting idea of his goal in the world of One Piece. What about the harem king? No, it's the most fucking idea. Only the sea kings have not been desecrated by the damned transmigrators. Rob continues scrolling through the fanfics ranks in his browser until particular fanfic caught his attention. This is it. I will become the king of Manga AKAs. Finally, Rob found something interesting that might be accepted into the survey. He hesitated a bit but eventually scored it. Create One Piece manga in One Piece world and let the world of pirates enjoy the future. Let the great age of pirates become more chaotic. White heavy checkmark. Rob breathed a sigh of relief when his goal was accepted and continued answering the survey questions. 3. Do you want to be strong from the start or weak to strong, or just a weak man in the background? I want to be strong so that I don't worry about my safety. White heavy checkmark. 4. Do you want a random or specific reincarnation? Let it be random but I want to be handsome. White heavy checkmark. 5. To what era do you want to move? After the God Valley event, see calendar 1493. White heavy checkmark. If you could wish for 4 abilities that could help you with your goal, what would you wish for? 1. Photographic memory. 2. Devil fruit without any side effects can freely create, edit, and modify the paper according to the user's imagination. 3. A high-level system can help me spread my art all over the world, and it is better if available with it a dimension store that sells items from the modern earth that can be bought with reading points or something. 4. High-level drawing talent. White heavy checkmark. Your survey has been accepted. Thank you for your interesting idea, and have a nice trip. What's going on? Rob noticed that the red light emitted by the computer screen was getting so bright that he couldn't open his eyes at all. After a while, clarity returned to his sight and he was able to open his eyes again, but when he saw the scene in front of him, he was shocked by its absurdity. The blue sea was covering his entire field of vision. In Rob's mind, an incredible idea appeared. Could the survey be real? Too ridiculous. Looking at his surroundings, Rob noticed that he was on a wooden ship and was standing at the stern watching the ship's movement. My head. Shit. Rob's head started hurting like hell as so many strange memories flowed into his head like squeezing billions of data into a small storage memory. After a few seconds, the headache that nearly split his head subsided until it disappeared completely. Rob's eyes widened as he discovered an astonishing truth from the strange memories that filled his head. He has truly moved into the world of One Piece. Interesting Dream Network congratulates you on your successful cosmic transition. Promised benefits will be dispatched shortly. Please find a quiet place and stay away from any disturbance. A mysterious aura surrounded Rob as if he had been separated from the world. All that was going on in Rob's mind at the moment was, fuck. Because he really hadn't comprehended anything from his current situation until now, his so-called genius had become just dust in front of this miraculous confrontation. Even the voice that was repeating in his head like a roar of thunder was something so mysterious that he didn't even know if it could be called a voice in the first place. You have been sent to the world of One Piece. Completed. You have got a special title, Beginner Mangaka. Completed. Beginner Mangaka. From now on rich thoughts will fall on you like rain. At this moment, Rob felt as if he had entered a kind of enlightenment state, just like the state of thoughts flowing like a river when the mangaka creativity begins to manifest itself in a great story. You have got the immortal body that does not die. Completed. After the mysterious state of enlightenment, he felt a cold feeling flowing through his entire body and a majestic thought filled with grandeur appeared in his mind. Immortal and never die? Even after he turns to ashes he can come back in his full body. Even after he's crushed in a meat pie, he can rise again in his full body. This was so horrible. No, this is terrifying by millions of miles. You have got the body of a random man named Rob also and handsome also. Completed. The picture of a man with a height of 260 centimeters with a fairly handsome face with a sharp stature and weary eyes bearing the temperament of a man with great responsibility appeared, with short black hair, yellow pupils, and a slightly muscular body. This was the guy who got Rob his body? It really seemed like a random character, but Rob had a vague feeling saying the exact opposite. This guy is not any ordinary random character. The appropriate schedule was determined according to the desire of the participant in the survey, the current year 1493. Completed. A photographic memory has been obtained that can retrieve all the memories of the survey participant and record them in high-quality mental data. Completed. Once again, Rob felt his mind split into many layers, and memories that were buried deep in his mind began to return one by one. Whether it was earthly Rob's memories or Rob from the pirate's world, everything was restored from the first moment of both people in their worlds. At this moment, something mysterious happened within Rob's soul, as if two people were merging into one. Rob's soul became brighter as if her level had risen to better than just an ordinary soul. The photographic memory brought back all the memories that had disappeared over time from both people and kept repeating themselves in Rob's consciousness until each of those multiple memories was organized into a very large mental library. At this moment Rob was crying silently. All his buried memories were recovered, good or bad. For Earth Rob, his most terrible hidden memory was the accident in which his parents died and he survived when he was 9 years old and was moved to live in the orphanage since that time. And for Rob from the world of pirates, his worst memories were when pirates attacked his peaceful village and his parents were killed in front of his eyes by fierce pirates, and by chance, he was also 9 years old at that time. The weeping face turned into a happy smile when earthly Rob remembered the happiest moment of his life that was buried deep in the river of history when he got a computer for the first time from the kind uncle who was donating to the orphanage at the time when he was 11 years old. As for Rob from the pirate's world, the happiest moment in his life was when he married the love of his life and his adventure partner. Rob froze as he recalled the memories of the man who had possessed his body. His body completely stiff, unable to believe that this woman was his wife right now. You have obtained a paramecia-type devil fruit and without any side effects, paper no me, can create and modify paper according to the desire and imagination of the user. Also has the properties of logia where the user's body can be transformed into mere paper. It has unlimited possibilities. Completed. Rob's thoughts were interrupted at this moment as he felt a heaviness in his right hand and saw a white, pear-shaped fruit with swirls and spiral patterns out of nowhere. This was definitely a devil fruit. Rob didn't hesitate to eat it in one bite. It tasted very good like any ripe pear. In fact, it was a devil fruit without any side effects really. Even that disgusting taste has been removed. After Rob ate the devil fruit, he felt a mysterious feeling enveloping his body as if he had become very light and could scatter in a stack of paper if he wished. Rob pressed this sudden urge into his mind, because it was not the time to try anything. There are still other benefits to be received. You have got an art publishing system attached to a dimensional store. Completed. Ding. The art publishing system is being prepared. The system is ready. Preparing a dimensional store connected to the modern Earth. Connected successfully. This time, a window like a computer screen appeared in front of Rob, and several notifications rang in his ear, like automated notifications, different from the majestic and divine voice that had been echoing in his mind until now. What is the art publishing system? Rob asked the most important question before he got into anything else. Art's publishing system is a system that has one goal, and that is to make its host a universal artist known to all beings in the world. And how does it work? You've got a very high-level drawing talent. Completed. Before he could receive any response from the system, the majestic voice reverberated in Rob's mind like a thunder blast, and by the end, he felt his 5 senses being enriched by a kind of excellent talent. His hand felt itchy in order to drawing. His heart felt a passion in order to drawing. His eyes were fascinated by the sight of the beautiful blue sea and the fishes jumping from time to time behind the ship's track. He wanted to paint this amazing scenery as quickly as possible. His nose felt that the fresh and pure air of this world could be expressed in drawing too. He felt that the sound of waves and seabirds high in the sky, the gentle wind pushing the sail of the ship, and the feet moving from time to time on the deck, all these sounds could be expressed through painting. He felt his mind receiving a professional and high-level drawing ability. All his senses were filled with this talent. For the first time, Rob knew that any feeling could be expressed through drawing just like in real life. All your circumstances were fulfilled by the divine network. Since the divine network gave you everything, we can remove everything easily. You can live your life however you want, but you have to follow the interesting target that was included in the survey to the end. If you don't meet it, you will be doomed to die and wipe your soul out of existence. Once again, we thank you for participating in our survey, and we hope to see interesting events that will result from your work in this world. Rob did not dare to think about opposing the owner of that terrifying voice. He nodded his head over and over until the voice completely disappeared from his head. Well, he had to become a mangaka from now on and paint a One Piece manga in the One Piece world as his ultimate goal. That's it all. Chapter 2. A familiar wife? After the frightening voice finally disappeared from his head once and for all, Rob emerged from the mysterious state he was in and automatically regained a sense of his surroundings just like a living human. He looked around curiously and made sure that he was indeed on a wooden ship that used the sail and wind thrust to sail. Unbelievable, I have truly crossed into the world of One Piece. I am not in that closed world anymore. I won't have to hide in that dark and cold room anymore. I won't have to fear being tracked down by Interpol anymore. I got deliverance? That damn survey was real. Fuck. I was finally got the justice by the damned gods. Rob wanted to scream with all his frustration and explosive enthusiasm at this moment but had to control his voice and shout in a low voice so as not to attract any unwanted attention from the people on the ship. He had a surreal feeling that he could feel everyone on the ship right now but he didn't try to focus on that feeling any deeper. As for Rob from the Earth, or what might be called his previous life in its current context, he was a very mysterious figure in his previous society as he was one of the emperors of the Darknet and had criminal precedents in the internet world where he had previously hacked confidential data for many countries, including the United States. That is why he was designated a dangerous wanted by Interpol. In his previous life, he was nicknamed GhostNet. He has never been tracked before. He was 32 years old and living alone. The computer was his only friend and anime was his favorite world. His interactions with the real society were low, but that didn't matter to him at all because he had found his true comfort in everything he was doing. But now that life is gone, and he has a new life, a life where he already has a family, he has completely fused with the soul of the previous owner of the body and obtained all his memories, the essence of his existence, his emotions, and his desires, from the darkest buried memories to the best and most unforgettable memories. Everything was fused into Rob's earthly soul. In short, Rob is better than he was before. No, he's a lot better. The current Rob is very powerful because he got the previous Rob's body. The former Rob who was shy even though he was already married, that character has gone unheeded, because the current Rob is not shy at all. The Emperor of the Darknet can't be shy in any way. He is a real demon who can do whatever suits his benefits. To be shy does not suit him at all. Rob discovered that the owner of this body was amazingly a member of the Roger Pirates. From the memories he got, this man had met his wife who also boarded Roger's ship only a few years ago and had to leave Roger's ship and follow his one love of his life after she finished her role on the ship of his former captain. Of course, this was with the consent of his captain and all his crewmates. Just recalling that kind of warm memory made Rob's eyes wet. After all, he had inherited his ancestors' warm emotions as well. If it was the previous Rob, his expression would have been as cold as ice. Rob continued to delve into the memories retrieved by photographic memory and stow them into accumulated, meticulous data. Rob finally finds out why his predecessor broke up with the Roger Pirates. In addition to love, he had an extremely rare and fatal disease that was diagnosed by the ship's doctor, Crocus himself. When the former Rob knew he would die in a few years, he decided to leave the crew and live a life without regrets, and since his wife loved him too, she decided to devote herself to him and archaeology and help him live his final years without regrets. He was going to die 2 years from now but Rob caused him to die 2 years early. Rob knew that he could not die under any circumstances because he had obtained a true immortal body from the higher being or beings who had incarnated him in this world, so he was not worried at all. Death was his last concern at the moment. He probably wouldn't die once, never again. The life of former Rob was difficult at first, but since joining Roger Pirates he has found unparalleled joy and freedom. Just remembering it all brought a pure smile on his handsome face. Rob knew from the stored memories that his current body was proficient in 2 types of haki, armament, and observation, and had a respectable level in both, as well as mastering in swordsmanship. The previous owner of his body was really strong and worthy of the title of a former member of Roger Pirates. His strength could be compared to a powerful vice admiral of the Navy. His talents were very good and admittedly and praised by Roger himself. If it wasn't for the deadly disease he was suffering which made his strength drop and his training made he stagnated, he would have become a strength of the admiral level. After getting to know the owner of his former body well, Rob sighed and thanked him inwardly from the bottom of his heart for giving him a lifetime opportunity that he had previously wished for, but he had not really dreamed of. The former Rob may have already died, but all his legacy has been left to the current Rob. My dear, are you contemplating the meaning of life alone again? Rob felt 2 warm hands embracing his being and pulling him into a warm embrace. As he was immersed in the memories, he didn't feel anyone sneaking up behind him discreetly. When he was to respond violently, the woman's familiar warmth had already invaded his being and made his stiff limbs loosen once more. He already knew who the woman hugging from behind at the moment was. She was his wife. Someone who never thought he'd meet her in his life, let alone is his wife. Not really knowing how to act or what to answer at the moment, he was starting to panic. But before he panicked, even more, a warm feeling penetrated his soul and cancelled out every negative feeling that was building up in his heart and he became calm again. That feeling allowed him to obtain an image that could not be changed from now on. Now he was the real Rob, whether Rob from the pirate's world or Rob from Earth, they became one. This is a fact that cannot be changed. No, I've already found the meaning of life. I don't need to meditate on it anymore. Rob turned towards the beautiful woman with silvery white hair and bright blue eyes and smiled gently before giving an answer that made the woman's heart beat. The meaning of life cannot be found just by thinking about it. A person must live life with all its events until he reaches his own understanding of life, and this does not mean that it may be the correct answer, but no matter how wrong it is, the essence of the matter that he concluded himself is the important thing. Before she could even ask, Rob put his finger on the woman's lips and answered her as if he already knew her question before she even asked it. The white-haired woman was completely amazed at how positive change which comes from her husband at this moment. She can swear that she felt such an immense life force enveloping her husband that she could even revive the dead. Suddenly she had the feeling that she was standing before the king of all living things and not her husband himself. It seemed as if the current Rob was not the previous Rob at all. "When will we get to your home, my dear?" Rob removed his finger from her lips before asking curiously. The woman pressed the surging amazement in her heart and answered obediently. She knew that her husband was very powerful, but only today her impression of his power has changed to different heights. "There's not much left. We'll be in O'Hara in 2 days." The group of guys is excited to be back home after all those travels full of knowledge. The woman inside his arms was releasing the mood of an unfathomable scholar at this moment. Yes, his wife was Nico Alvia herself. It seems that he will be the father of Nico Robin. Just thinking about it left his mind blank. My dear. My dear. He had already drowned in his endless chaotic thoughts. Chapter 3 Arts Publishing System. After sending Alvia away, Rob returns to check what he's got from the creepy voice. The first thing he wanted to understand and fully grasp his functions was the system he had obtained. Whether he will live well or die a miserable death, he will return to the efficiency of this unknown system so far. After all, if Rob doesn't manage to compose and publish the entire One Piece manga in this world, he will die at the hands of the creepy voice. And about the end of the One Piece manga that he's still far from really thinking about, at that time he can only formulate an ending of his own authorship, and he won't need to worry about that. Whether the ending is true or false, Rob won't care at all, because he will basically contribute to changing the future through the manga, and his very existence is going to change a very big plot in the story. For example, will he allow O'Hara to be destroyed as in the original? No way. Will he allow the death of his wife? What a joke. He was madly in love with her. If she died he would practically die, so also impossible. Will he allow his dear daughter to become hunted down by the world government and live the life of a homeless tramp? No way. Since all of this won't happen, Robin may not even be able to become one of the Straw Hats in the future. And according to all of the above, Rob assumed that creating his own ending for the manga according to what the story's path reached until the end of 2021 in the modern world would be the most appropriate solution. After all, he wasn't just an amateur fan of One Piece's but an insatiable lover of everything about One Piece, be it manga, Viver cards, the Deep Blue Book, or even hypotheses about a possible ending and storyline. He had it all in his photographic memory. He was qualified enough to infer his own end. Okay, now let's see what this art system is. System, tell me what are your functions, what can you do for me? The system can create a dimensional store called Art Store anywhere the host wants to set up. The art stores will be controlled by the system and the art produced by the host will be sold in the dimensional art stores safely and smoothly. The art stores are safe selling points. They cannot be destroyed or looted under any circumstances, even impossible to destabilize. The moment the host decides a suitable place to open the art store, the store will become apparent to every intelligent being in the area. The art store looks smaller on the outside but is very spacious on the inside, and the host can design it however he wants. The art store will sell its services for the price, berry, extol, or other currency, set by the host. The host and the people selected by the host can teleport from one art store to another easily. For every successful sale of the host's art through the art store, the host will receive the corresponding amount of art points. Art points are the only currency that a host can use in the dimensional shop connected to the system. Your art system at level 1. You can create the art stores at level 1, 0/2. You can create a one art store in one region in level 1, level 2, level 3. You can raise the level of the art system with the EXP gained from the public's passion for your art. The more people like your art and buy it, the more EXP you get. The current, EXP 0/100. With one question the system gave him everything he needed to know at once. What could he say? This system was simple, very simple yet very cool. Simply the system will help him sell his art and attract people to his store. Within his dimensional arts store, he would be invincible, just like a god. Everyone would be equal whether it was an ordinary person or a Yonko, it didn't matter. He can upgrade the system and get more dimensional art stores, thus getting more points of sale, more customers, more berry, and more art points. And don't forget that he can display drinks, sweets, and other modern items from Earth in his tavern inside his dimensional art store for people who want to use his secure dimensional art store as an internet cafe. In return, he will get the art points and berry, which is like hitting two birds with one stone. Let's not forget that he can also create other manga and display them in his stores. After all, he's not limited to One Piece manga alone. Of course, he will die if he doesn't complete the One Piece manga, but he won't die if he doesn't complete the other manga. That's the difference. All this made Rob really excited. His newly acquired artistic sensibilities came back to interact with his excited state. He wanted to start drawing so badly. He has the papers that he can modify as he pleases in any color, shape, and any size he desires. Just with some practice he can create the perfect volumes of manga, all thanks to the unfathomable paper devil fruit. And he has a photographic memory that records everything he saw about One Piece, whether in the manga or the anime, in boring details, and this is his real capital and what he will rely on to get fame and glory and save his life. And also a high-level talent for drawing, which will be a cherry on the cake. After all, he was a skilled painter in his previous life only in drawing by computer, but if he wanted to use his hands to draw, he couldn't do that at all. With this talent he can embody everything in his memory perfectly. He was really happy with his smart and perfect choices in the survey. It's good that he chose well and didn't miss the chance. That was because he really loves One Piece, or else he would have made stupid choices in the survey and caused a disaster for himself. The thing that really made him speechless was the immortal body that does not die. How the hell did he get this body? He didn't ask for this at all. No, it's better to say he didn't dare push his luck too far. All he asked was for him to be strong enough to protect himself and live a good life. This situation reminded him of a satirical novel he had read in his past life in which the protagonist had attained an ultimate and indomitable buff ability called immortality. Almost the same thing happened to him. The immortal body he obtained is no different from the immortality that Lin Fan obtained at all. The only difference is that he is under the threat of death if he doesn't only achieve his interesting target and if he did not delight the higher beings who sent him here. Chapter 4 Paper Devil Fruit. It would be ridiculous if he said that he wasn't happy with his immortal body. He was destined to become an indomitable god in this world and possibly other worlds later. He has an immortal body. What more could he ask for? The more he thought about it, the more he felt his cells ignite with sheer enthusiasm. That feeling? That's adrenaline? It was the same feeling he had when he succeeded in penetrating the protection of the servers of the most powerful nations of his previous world and learning the secrets hidden away from the eyes of ordinary humans. Yes, he felt like a peerless being, as if he had gone back to the old days when he was nicknamed Net's Ghost. In the past, he was hiding in the dark like a sewer rat and not daring to stay outside for long. The memories, he almost fell from shock. Alvia was brave enough to admit to him. What a truly brave woman she was. Chapter 5 Arrival to O'Hara. Rob left Alvia on the bed and combed over her white and soft hair for some time. Although her hair was a little short, it was absolutely gorgeous. As if sensing his warm touch, Alvia smiled happily and sank deeper into a warm sleep. Rob exited the room and returned to the stern of the ship in order to train more and more on the abilities of the devil fruit. While turning his body parts into paper, remembering a female character from the anime of Naruto, she had the same ability that he currently has. Yes, Conan can use paper in a very good way even in combat. Through his photographic memory, he retrieved everything about Conan from the anime and manga and found that he could even fly with his devil fruit power, which was a pretty cool surprise. With one idea, a lot of black paper accumulated on his right side and formed a large black wing, and unlike this black wing, on his left side many white papers formed in a white wing, but it does not differ in size and precision from the black wing. Everything is different about them is the color. Rob looked like a half angel, and a half fallen angel at this moment. His body was semi-papery, as if he could really rising from the ship by relying on the force of the wind. He started flapping his paper wings and only rose slightly from the deck but fell back. Flying now was really difficult and needed a lot of training and skill. The most important thing Rob concluded was that it was possible. Only this was good enough. The more he trained, the more he discovered that this ability had truly unlimited potential. His immortal body helped him to develop the ability and raise its efficiency extremely quickly. In one day he raised his ability mastery level by at least 2 levels. He was sure that he could fly freely in 2 days at most if he continued to train with the same force. Rob didn't sleep all night and didn't feel like he needed it, so the morning sun shone on his face and he's still creating and scraping paper constantly. When he noticed that it was already morning, he had finally stopped training and rested a bit. After all, they would be in O'Hara at the end of this day, and he would start his revolution against the pirates' world as soon as he reached that island. Rob sat on his usual seat at the stern of the ship and drew the sword that had been hanging around his waist the whole time in a well-designed red metal sheath. Leaving the scabbard on the side, he looked toward the sword with the shiny black blade and the white patterns at the bottom of the blade. The sword was similar to the Zoro Shisui sword, but it was longer and looked stronger. The aura surrounding the sword was sharp, as if it could cut anything just by getting close enough to it. Armament. Relying on his mental and even muscular memories, Rob tried to use his armament haki to encase the sword. As expected, his hand turned ink black with a faint purple aura and began to cover the sword little by little. The sword didn't resist him and succeeded in completely enveloping the haki. A sharp and indomitable power gathered in the sword, and with the swordsmanship skill that engraved in his bones, he directed the attack towards the sea. Boom! It happened so quickly as an air-cut energy blade shot its way, splitting the sea for 50 meters before the attack dispersed. This show was so amazing it caused everyone who was still asleep to wake up. The cut water rose by over 10 meters and caused a small rainbow to appear. This little experiment caused the ship to vibrate repeatedly with the waves. What's happening here? Is it a sea monster? Is a sea monster trying to sink the ship? Don't worry, we have Mr. Rob with us. Even if he is a sea king, he will be cut to pieces. Rob's experience really freaked out the crew, especially the people who woke up because of the commotion. Don't be afraid, it was me guys, I'm sorry, my training this time was too troublesome. What? Is there something on my face, you guys? Rob was surprised by the shocked looks from a group of archaeologists at this moment. Ah, Mr. Rob, then the previous commotion was because of your training. There is no need to apologize for something so simple. A man who seemed to be of particular stature among these scholars stepped forward and gently patted Rob on the shoulder as he spoke. Then I really appreciate your kindness. Rob wasn't one to deny the kindness of others, so he responded politely. Really strange, Mr. Rob. We have been at sea for a month now from New World to the West Blue, but this is the first time you have spoken to us so fluently without being shy and away. The group of archaeologists was made up of 5 women and 5 men, all partners. His wife was the leader of this team, but she was celibate before she met him when her team boarded the ship of Roger last year. They got close to each other on Roger's ship and even celebrated their wedding in a simple way on Roger's ship too. Those memories were among the happiest memories of former Rob. But the former Rob had a problem where he couldn't communicate well with people he didn't have a deep emotional connection with. The archaeologists from his wife's team were from that people he couldn't communicate with them very well. Every time he tried to communicate with them, he would get into an awkward situation where he would forget everything he wanted to say. This was a rare emotional disorder that former Rob suffered. For Roger's crew like Roger and Rayleigh and those naughty Shanks and Buggy and other strong men like Bullet, Gavan, and the ship's Dr. Crocus, Rob had no problem communicating with them normally because they were his crewmates with whom he fought alongside and lived with for years. And Alvia was a special case because she was the woman who stirred the feelings of love within his heart, so he got over his emotional turmoil and was able to communicate with her smoothly with the help of the power of love. But this does not apply to other archaeologists who were also on Roger's ship. After thinking deeply about it, understanding why these men and women were surprised because they had been accustomed to the shy Rob for so long now, in their eyes now, that Rob who spoke with them so easily is not Rob they are used to. Don't worry guys, you can think I'm used to your presence, don't think about it too much. The man who patted his shoulder and the other scholars were speechless at this moment. If Mr. Rob has really gotten used to us, that's something to celebrate, isn't it, guys? The man's wife stepped forward and removed the mysterious atmosphere with her persuasive words. Yes, you're right, my dear. This really is an event worth celebrating. Alvia was also woken up by the commotion, although she was later than the others, but when she went up to the deck, she was surprised to see her husband talking freely and fluently with the members of her crew of archaeologists. She was also aware of her husband's psychological problems due to tragic events he had experienced in the past, and she was also aware of the difficulty of communicating with others for him. A sight like this made her feel really happy. The flight time kept running out, and this time Rob didn't practice perfecting his paper craft because he had already learned everything he needed but spent the rest of the time beside Alvia. Rob couldn't hide his huge change in personality from anyone else. After all, he wasn't Rob who was having emotional problems. He was Rob who really understood the meaning of life very deeply. Since he couldn't hide his shining and bright personality that was being suppressed in his previous world, he only unleashed it and left everyone else wondering what had happened in the world. Alvia became happier because her husband was much braver and more romantic than he was before, and she didn't care about anything else. After all, this was her husband and he was trying to please her right now. Why should she even think of anything else? At the end of the day, an island appeared, in its middle a huge tree, and was so tall that its branches touched the clouds in the EYES of the passengers of the ship. This was the Tree of Knowledge and the symbol of O'Hara Island. They were finally home. Chapter 6 The System Shop. O'Hara was a small island inhabited mostly by archaeologists. From the information he obtained from Alvia while he walking with her around the island's shore, the island's population was about 20,000. Most of them are concentrated in the city of O'Hara, located behind the Tree of Knowledge, and the rest are scattered around the few villages on the island. The island was self-sufficient and rich in arable land and rich forests with wildlife, which provided sources of sustenance for hunters. As well as the sea fishing is very good thanks to the warm sea currents surrounding the island, which brings an abundant amount of fish towards the areas around O'Hara. All this contributed to the fact that O'Hara Island is self-sufficient in terms of living and is dedicated to exploring the mysteries of unknown history. The return of the team of archaeologists from their trip this time was good news for the rest of the archaeologists in O'Hara, most notably Clover, who was a professor and director of the O'Hara Library and a leading authority on archaeology. All the colleagues of the profession at the Great Library of O'Hara were reunited within the Tree of Knowledge and were very happy that Alvia and the rest had returned safely from the New World. Regarding this, everyone was introduced to the person who helped get all the archaeologists back from their mission safe and unharmed, which was Rob, of course. At first, Alvia and her crew were worried that Rob would find it difficult to communicate with Clover and the others, but they were stunned when they saw Rob talking to them without problems. It was a truly amazing event. When they learned that he had become Alvia's husband, they fell silent for a moment in an utter stupor as they burst into cheers of amazement and happiness, and even Professor Clover was thrilled to see his student who was a long-time single finally she gets a husband. Even Alvia was embarrassed by their reaction, but Rob grabbed her hand and laughed at these archaeologists' wit. A Sleepless Night's title was a celebration of the newlyweds at O'Hara's Great Library. The next morning, Rob walks out of Alvia's house, which is now also his home since he is her husband. Yesterday, they drank a lot, and when they came back from O'Hara's library, they intertwined on a tumultuous night whose title was Making Love with All Their Ability. And I don't see anything. Maybe last night will be the one that will produce little Robin? Rob's face was red right now. After all, this was their first night. They had never had any sexual contact before because they only got married a month ago and were at sea all the time, and they didn't really have the time to enjoy a real marriage, and this was also contributed to by even the former Rob, who was very shy. This means that the former Rob did not really marry Alvia, and it was the current Rob who consummated this marriage as it should be. Okay, well, forget it now, you can think about it later, Rob. Now it's time to start it all. Rob pulled himself out of his wild thoughts with difficulty. After all, his photographic memory had recorded every moment of yesterday's hot events. Needless to say, despite his enjoyment last night, he was not satisfied too much, because he had endless energy, and unlike him, his wife was very weak. Perhaps he should make her immortal somehow. Not thinking about it was as hard as climbing the layers of hell. Alvia's house is located in Knowledge Village, near the Tree of Knowledge. Rob was really puzzled about where he would open his art store. Will he open it near the Tree of Knowledge or go to the city and open it there? On the one side, he wanted to connect his dimensional store to one of the big icons in the story of One Piece, and on the other hand, he wanted to acquire customers faster. After all, most of O'Hara's residents live in the city. Rob stopped and sat on a public bench along the road to town, still within the Knowledge Village where the Knowledge Tree was. He wanted to ask the system about the art store so he could decide where to open it later. System, does the location of the dimensional store inside the island matter? No, it doesn't matter. Why is it not important? When the dimensional store opens, everyone in the area will know about its existence. I assure you, everyone will be curious about it. Well, how do I open the dimensional store? A/N, dimensional store equals art store. The garden behind Rob was a lonely place to open his art store, as it would be adjacent to the knowledge library at that time. Look at where you want to open your art store and think about building a dimensional store. Before that, do I have any gift for beginners or something? Rob had forgotten about the matter, so he hadn't asked yet. The host already has a small gift. You have earned 10,000 art points. You can use them to shop in the system shop. Actually, Rob wasn't expecting anything but was surprised to get 10,000 art points. This was better than nothing. Rob looked toward the status window, which was very simple, where it contains System level, level 1, 0/100. Art store, 0, 0/2 usable. System shop, 10,000 art coins. He pressed the system store and saw a lot of modern items in every field being sold in the system store connected to the ground, but the most important thing Rob searched for and unfortunately did not find is the manga folders and anime discs. It seems as if the system does not have any loophole. Anything it has to do with manga and anime and is not available in the system shop, which means that he has to create all of this himself and without relying on external sources. Regardless, Rob was really happy with this kind of shop. He could even buy a commercial plane if he wanted to, and he had enough art points. Although the number of art points needed to buy a plane is in the millions, it's still a fair deal for Rob. At least a Mercedes-Benz can be bought for tens of thousands of art points. The more Rob saw the items available in the system shop, the more excited he was. Even the satellites were available. It was truly beyond imagination. Chapter 7: Opening the Dimensional Art Store. Rob had 2 art stores that he could open at level 1 of the system, but he believed that number would double at advanced levels. The world of pirates is so huge that Rob dreams of covering it completely so that every intelligent being in the world can enjoy the manga that the immortal Rob will compose from now on. In the future, Rob will have 2 main jobs to do. The first is to draw manga and the second is to take care of his family. Just thinking about what kind of fun life he's going to have from now on makes him feel so happy. Especially after thinking about how he would have a very cute daughter like little Robin. Just thinking about it made his heart flutter with happiness. Robin will definitely be his weak point in the future. Through the system shop he can even turn the pirates' world into a modern world with Earth specifications if he wants to. Rob returned to reality and finally decided to open his own store in the garden next to the Tree of Knowledge. It was now early morning when the sun had not yet risen, so the place was empty as he was the only person in the garden. The moment Rob decided to open the dimensional art store, a strange phenomenon occurred where the space in the garden space began to distort, shrink, and expand, and a huge building began to form out of nowhere. Little by little the appearance of the building began to be completed until the distortions in space disappeared. The building in front of Rob looked very modern, exceeding even the specifications of the modern Earth, like a building from most advanced civilization even than the civilization of the Earth. It looked like a cinema building but more interesting. In the sky above the building, a luminous and 3-dimensional advertising facade appeared, like a lighthouse, written on it in bold. Dimensional Art Store. Below it is a wide whiteboard, which obviously needs Rob to fill it. Ding! The owner can think of a single image to advertise in the storefront and an interesting sentence too. Soon Rob thought of a picture of the crew of Straw Hats gathering at the beginning of their journey in East Blue with the well-known title One Piece, and the same image was magically imprinted in his mind in the huge advertising beacon hanging in the sky. Also a great marketing words also appeared under the name of the store. Dimensional Art Store. Where you can enjoy by the future of the world. This was totally miraculous. Rob was sure that only the blind couldn't see this on O'Hara Island. Even ships in the distance could see the lighthouse-like dimensional art store sign but with futuristic technology. Rob was stunned and speechless by the store's design, which seemed sophisticated, stunning, and impossible at the same time. The ad banner began hanging in the air and defying gravity as if gravity didn't exist at all. No matter how hard he tried, Rob didn't understand how this could work. The art store on the floor had the same advertisement, but the store door was locked, waiting for the owner to open it. Congratulations on opening your first art store. Available art stores, 1/2. The path to conquering realms through the arts starts here. You've got a new title, Art Seller. Art Seller, from now on your words will have a certain level of persuasion to customers. Characteristics of the dimensional art store at level 1. Indestructible. The owner inside the art store is invincible. Customers inside the store can only be harmed by the owner. Teleportation between other dimensional art stores. Artistic items sold by the art store cannot be destroyed. The store can sell on its own without the need for the owner to be present. The dimensional art store can evolve and get new features as the system level gets higher. Rob was absolutely stunned by the characteristics of the dimensional art store. It was just too illogical. Items sold from this store cannot be destroyed. This means that whoever wants to destroy their manga-like world government is doomed to fail before they even try. Rob walked into the dimensional art store and was amazed at the all-white space of the store and the vast interior that looked the size of a football field. The owner can modify the dimensional art store as he likes. A mini-map of the dimensional art store appeared on the window of the system, in which he could modify everything in the inner building with his thoughts. Rob didn't hesitate and divided the vast building into 3 sections. The first section, like a supermarket, has rows of shelves where hundreds of thousands of manga volumes will be placed for sale. The second section will be like an internet cafe where those who want to stay in the art store can choose their own soundproofed room so that they can immerse themselves in reading manga without disturbance, or in the trendy tavern in this section. And the third section will be his personal place, where he will create manga folders and use it for his personal convenience and teleportation between dimensional art stores. This section will be prohibited for customers to enter. Rob didn't forget to add the sanitary facilities such as the modern toilet, etc., in addition to the coffee machines and food vending machines that he bought from the system shop, and he spread them in the inner building between all the 3 sections. After all, these little guys will return him the art points he bought them within a short period of time once that the obsession with culture begins to spread among people in this world. Rob's art store may become safe rest points for pirates in this world. Well, Rob won't treat them harshly as long as they don't cause him trouble and give him art points. Rob imagined images of the Straw Hat Pirates in the Saga of East Blue, the first part of the manga One Piece, where the images combine Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Sanji and Usopp on the Going Merry ship, and decorated the walls of his store with many group and individual photos of the crew at the beginning of their journey, such as advertising on the external interface of the art store. These murals will change with each new arc. The interior space wasn't white anymore, it looked like a real 5-star manga store at that. After that, he didn't forget to put a list of strict laws in front of the door of the store to ensure that everything is organized without problems, and he didn't forget to put his full name as the owner of the store in the list, so as not to confuse anyone and think that this place has no owner. His full name was Roods D. Rob. Yes, the former Rob was a member of the D clan too. Regarding the laws in the dimensional art store, it was like a heavenly will whereby the people who violated it will be dealt with by the dimensional art store itself. Whether it is expulsion, ban, temporary punishment or doubling the price will vary from law to law according to the seriousness of the laws that have been violated. Of course, there will be warnings before harsh punishments such as the final ban. There were many laws, but the most notable one, it boils down to not causing trouble. Since the store itself was indestructible, these laws were basically just a formality to give the store a more formal character. In terms of working time, Rob decided to open the store during the day, 10 working hours in day. Ding! Would you like to apply the current design to all of your dimensional art stores? Yes or no? Yes. Rob didn't hesitate and decided that every art store he would open later would be like this as an initial design that, and he could change anything about later if he didn't like it. Chapter 8 The East Blue Saga, Romance Dawn. The appearance of the dimensional art store caused a huge commotion minutes after its appearance, as it was especially eye-catching by the huge banner hanging in the sky inviting people to take a look at what was going on here. Those simple people who woke up early in the morning either for work or shopping were immediately attracted to their attention. After all, the location of the art store was close to the Tree of Knowledge and not far from the city, which was more densely populated. What amazed these people and confused archaeologists is how this huge building appeared out of thin air. Yesterday it was not present at all. Outside, people gathered every moment in front of the store to form a group of people wondering what is happening in the world. But inside, Rob was drowning in his own works, was drawing the first folder of the One Piece manga, Romance Dawn. The method of drawing was rather simple, but in Rob's hands, his work seemed fantastic to any artist, as he reimagined the events of the chapters he had read in the past in the volume he created with the power of the devil fruit. Before that, Rob had bought all his drawing supplies except paper with the art points he got as a starter gift. After buying all that plus the coffee machines and food vending machines he had previously bought, he only had 4,000 art points left. High-level drawing talent and photographic memory plus the title of beginner mangaka was the best combination ever, as it all resulted in chapter after chapter with precision beyond even the original by many levels, and the most important thing is that Rob used his devil fruit ability to give colors and sound effects to the drawings. Drawn by hand, this makes the manga much more lively and fun. Although Rob can simply embody what is in his memory with the ability of the devil fruit, it would take a superhuman mental strength that he, unfortunately, does not possess now. After all, manga chapters contain a lot of meticulous work, where a world is personified through drawing, which is not something he can embody as it is in his memory. Rob preferred to use his talent for drawing to keep things simple. With all these miraculous abilities, Rob took an hour to paint the entire first volume, which consists of 7 chapters from chapter 1 to chapter 7. This was the first arc of the East Blue Saga called The Romance Dawn. This arc sums up to show the story of how the protagonist Monkey D. Luffy acquired the abilities of the Devil Fruit, and also about the latter's desire and dream of becoming the Pirate's King. Then Luffy sailed when he reached the age of 17 and met a boy named Kobe and helped him escape from a female pirate named Alvida. Finally, Luffy tries to convince pirate hunter, Roronoa, to join his crew while facing the tyrannical Navy Captain Axe-Hand Morgan. Rob recreated the first volume of manga One Piece in a very cool way. The drawing was very new and not as old as the original, and using the paper devil fruit, Rob really succeeded in giving life to the legendary manga. Rob was thrilled with the successful start of production and was very anticipating how the people of this world would react to this manga. Now that he's finished with the drawing already, the rest of the work won't be difficult at all. This time, too, it would depend on the Devil Fruit's ability to copy the original volume he had drawn into thousands of other volumes. Since he had drawn the first 7 chapters already, he could copy it with the Devil Fruit ability quite easily. So it took him another hour to transcribe more than 10,000 entire volumes of 7 chapters. Rob didn't feel physically exhausted because he was immortal, and he didn't feel mentally exhausted either because he was a strong person. He can't be tired just to use Devil Fruit abilities for 2 hours. Copying is much easier than embodiment after all thing. The copy method was much simpler as he could copy anything drawn in the created paper to his ability by simply coming into contact with the paper he had previously created. In this way, he made thousands of volumes and actually put them on shelves where they would be sold from now on. Seeing the earlier empty shelves filled with manga volumes, Rob felt a sense of accomplishment enveloping his being. After careful consideration of the average financial condition of the O'Hara people, Rob decided the price for 1,000 berry per volume. In addition, this price was the minimum allowed by the system. For archaeologists and well-to-do citizens, this price was really just a symbolic price, and for the poor also they could afford it in various ways. All Rob really cares about is art points. As long as he gets more art points he'll be fine. Berry is just an extra bonus for him. He will get art points from the customer's satisfaction. If the customer is satisfied with reading the manga and has a desire for more, he will get more art points in addition to the EXP that will be the important factor to raise the level of the system. Now is the time for the important moment. Rob walked steadily to the store's reception counter, which is in the front of the interior space right near the door, here where he could receive customers and start the official sale. Open. The moment he finished speaking, the golden-colored shop gate opened wide, welcoming the first batch of customers. Outside, the crowd of dozens of men and women noticed the gate of the mysterious store slowly opening. They were finally ready to explore what was inside this divine building. What kind of art could be found behind those golden gates? And what kind of artware you can enjoy with it by the future of the world? The world froze at this moment as if Pandora's box was being to opening at this moment. No one felt the laws of the world that seemed to tremble right now, especially the law of fate. Chapter 9, reading the first book of One Piece. My dear, how can you create a profitable business like this without even telling me? Alvia stood beside Rob and grumbled non-stop since she was drawn to the mysterious building that had opened near their house and came to take a look to discover that her husband had opened an art store without even telling her. She felt wronged as any other wife who is not told of her husband's plans. All the shyness she had been feeling about last night's hot events had disappeared, but, unfortunately, the pain from her lower area hadn't gone away yet. Rob was speechless because he discovered a new side of his wife today. How scary she was when she got angry. Even Rob felt threatened and hurried to put out the fire before it caught on. Not like that. It's not at all. This is the power of my devil fruit. I was just discovering its potential and I didn't mean to create this building in the first place. After accidentally creating it, I had this interesting idea for manga drawing. Rob had thought about this matter well before. Anything abnormal could only be explained by something abnormal like the devil fruit. As expected, Alvia didn't suspect it at all because after all, this building had appeared out of thin air. Its only explanation was the ability of a devil fruit. Isn't your ability to make paper only? No, I found out that it is much more than that. Hearing this, Alvia didn't want to push the matter too much and turned her attention to the many people who walked in and out of the store with beaming faces, carrying what her husband called manga volumes with them. There were a lot of children with their parents and the young men too, male or female. Everyone who could read and could afford the price of a manga book was here. Besides, this place gave them a feeling of absolute safety. It was a strange and inexplicable feeling, but for some reason, they were sure that as long as they were here they would not die at all and the god of death could only wait outside. In addition, this place had strange delicacies such as hamburgers, pizza, cans of Coke in those refrigerator-like vending machines, and cups of coffee that had never been seen before in this world. The taste of canned coffee was especially intoxicating. Once they tasted it they felt addictive, so they would not be able to go back to their usual coffee anymore. In fact, the appeal of these products has even surpassed the manga volumes themselves. After all, these people wouldn't be drawn into the story so quickly because they needed to read it first. Director Clover. Director Clover. What? Why all this disturbance, Zadie? Clover was busy studying the latest research on the punglyphs that Alvia's mission delegation had returned when he annoyed by his annoying student. Something big has happened outside, look at this here. This is called a manga volume that is being sold in a mysterious building called the art store that has opened next to the library. By the way, the person who opened this store is Mr. Rob, Alvia-san's husband. Enough? I see, stop, and give me this. This Zadie was incredibly chatty. From the moment he started talking it didn't end until Clover stopped him. Clover took an interesting comic book from Zadie and the first thing that really surprised him was the title of this book. One Piece? Isn't this the legendary treasure on the final island? Only from the title did someone like Clover who put his heart and soul into the study of history immediately became interested. After all, this man was one of the few people can be counted them all on the fingers of one hand, who knew some of the secrets buried around the Old Kingdom and the One Piece. So Clover opened the first page of this book unaware of the huge change this book would bring to this world and also unaware that hundreds of O'Hara people just like him had just opened Pandora's box. Clover's eyes glazed like Higama, Alvida, Axe-Hand Morgan, and his son Helmeppo, all of which only showed how attached they were to the entertaining story from the start. Ding! Plus 10 art points from Lundolf. Ding! Plus 15 art points from Maya. Ding! Plus 22 art points from Kristoff. Ding! Plus 100 art points from Clover. Ding! Plus 95 art points from Nico Alvia. Ding! Plus 6,034 art points from 100 other people. Rob turned off the annoying sound of system notifications and glanced at the amazing amount of art points that started pouring down on him like rain and still going on. Rob noticed something interesting is that the names of ordinary people were less bright on the front of the system but the names of well-known characters like Clover and his wife Alvia were brighter, and not only that, they provided much more art points than ordinary people. There were even regular people who gave 1 art point, no comparison with Clover and Alvia who gave 195 respectively. Yet Rob has understood little of how this complex reward system works. Ding! Plus 100 people have completed reading the first volume, plus 100 EXP. System upgraded, 100/100. Level 2 of the system, 0/1000. Chapter 10 Alvia is pregnant. Level 2 of the system, 0/1000. Available art stores, 1/5. Inventory feature added to art store. From now on the owner can use the interior space of a specific room of the art store as a portable inventory. Rob was happy when he finally leveled up the system, but he was even happier with the new feature he got. The inventory was very useful after all. I see that you are very happy as you smile for no reason, my dear. Alvia, who has just finished reading her husband's intriguing story, returns to her surprise to see her husband smiling strangely. Previously when she was reading the One Piece manga, she knew Shanks, that little boy on Captain Roger's ship, with a glimpse and was sure that her husband had really come up with his future looks and qualities, but she was confused as to why her husband gave his captain such a cruel fate as execution, although he made him the king of the pirates in the story. Anyway, she was willing to ask author-san about all this. Why can't I be happy when I have a beautiful lady like you by my side? Rob pulled Alvia into his arms, and the beautiful lady shivered like a cat whose tail was being pressed. Since her husband is changed, her usual bravery had become like dust. He had always teased her like this until now, but in fact, she secretly liked it. This was the kind of relationship to have wanted to live. There are people looking at us, you know? Aren't you a respectable store owner? Act like one. Alvia's face, that a bit brown, was redder with each passing second. So what? We are husband and wife. I'm just flirting with my wife here. Besides, I'm the god here, and you are the god's wife. Don't care about humans. Alvia was stunned by his words at this moment. Rob paused for a moment when he discovered something that left his mind blank and then continued speaking after emerging from his stupor. Alvia, you don't have to worry and fear constantly. I will never die. How can I die and leaving my wife behind me and this little baby who's starting to form here? Rob touched Alvia's belly and spoke very gently. He had already decided to remove Alvia's constant anxiety and tell her the truth. Alvia shivered so hard that tears began to fall from her eyes. What did you just say? Upon thinking, Rob and Alvia disappeared from the reception desk and moved into a 5-star hotel design room, which Rob created in his personal section. Alvia didn't even feel like they had moved, but she still felt the soft bed underneath. But none of that matters at the moment because all her focus is on what she heard from Rob. The devil fruit I ate is very powerful. Even now I don't know its name. It was the reason for destroying the disease I was suffering from, so I won't die. No need to think about this again. Rob felt remorse for lying to his wife, but as soon as he saw her stunning smile at this moment his regret flew out the window. I'm happy. I'm very happy. This is the best news I've ever heard in my entire life. I think Captain Roger and your crew comrades will be happy too. She hugged him tightly as she spoke non-stop, happiness evident on her pretty face. Yeah, I think so too. But the most important thing now is this. Rob pointed to his wife's belly, laughing happily. Didn't you hear my previous words? We're going to be parents. Here, I can feel a little life taking shape in your womb, my dear. That means you're pregnant. I'm pregnant. Alvia was shocked and didn't know how to respond at all. Even Rob at the moment was above the clouds, since he was so busy before that he didn't focus his senses well around his wife, only when she got close enough to him to notice the little life aura in her stomach via the observation haki. Rob was already expecting his wife to get pregnant soon, but he didn't really think it would be so fast. Yes, you are pregnant. I found this out with my hacky. You and I are going to be parents in the near future. Olvia couldn't believe that life would give her two big surprises in one day. Rob hugged Olvia and they fell onto the king-sized bed. He was so excited he wanted nothing more than to hug her and sleep beside her for as long as possible. Let's forget everything else. Today we celebrate the first day of our little girl in her mother's womb. Rob was sure that the little seed in his wife's womb was Robin. Our little girl? Do you already know the gender of the baby? Even Olvia marveled at this. The gender of the baby can't be determined yet, but I have a feeling it will be female. Olvia smiled happily when she saw the look of longing on her husband's face and decided to believe his words. Well, I believe in you. Rob hugged Olvia deeper into his embrace and began to whisper in her ear. Robin? Our baby's name will be Robin. Chapter 11 Immortal Drop of Blood. A whole day has passed, as the husband and his wife have disappeared from the sight of the people of O'Hara Island who begin to come to the art store in droves. No one knew that the husband and his wife celebrated the arrival of their beloved child in a very wild way, which boiled down to playing hot games all night long. After all, the bed beneath their bodies were too soft, it would have been a waste not to put it to good use on such a joyous occasion. Thus Rob's third day passed on the island of O'Hara. He was too exhilarated to ask for more, for it would damage his immortal heart. Yesterday the EXP and art points kept accumulating on Rob, but it started to slow down eventually. After all O'Hara residents can't buy his manga within a day. So to speed up his plans, Rob thought of taking a trip to important places in the pirates' world and setting up art stores in their areas. Rob was pleased with the teleportation ability of his art store so that he wouldn't be late for his wife and could return the moment the art store building was successfully erected. Rob, what's up, my sweetie? Rob came out of his thoughts and looked at his sexy wife in his arms, her naked body glued to his, not wanting to get away at all, just cramping in her husband's arms like this gives her an indescribable feeling of safety. You're not going back to the pirates of Captain Roger, are you? Olvia wasn't really worried about this matter, because after all, she would follow her husband even to hell if he decided to go to him, but she still had such a bond with O'Hara that it was hard for her to leave without feeling pain. I really didn't think about it before, but since you already mentioned it, I will answer it. If he was the former Rob he would probably really return to his crew after he healed, but the current Rob, despite having the affections of his former body owner, is not the same person after all. Rob now has a manga to draw, he doesn't have time to go back to Roger's pirates. Besides he has a family to take care of and a baby girl to raise, where will he find time to pirate it? I'm not going back, my trip on Roger's pirates ship has already ended, since life has given me a new chance because I really understood its meaning. I will live it with you and Robin. Are you really? You're not doing this for me? Isn't someone as strong as you whose true place is in the sea? Although Olvia is secretly happy with her husband's decision, she still does not want to destroy his dreams just because of her selfish thoughts. What if he cancels his dreams for her? She will feel very sad if this is really the case. Haha, just because I decided to stay with my family doesn't mean I'll cancel my dreams and live a normal life, my sweetie. I will be the mangaka king. After all, this path is much more dangerous than even the path of the pirates king. Even without going to the sea I will make him come to me. I am the one who should ask you, Olvia, the future will be dangerous by my side. Are you sure you will stay with me? Olvia didn't really understand what her foolish husband was telling her at the moment. Platform gave him real stimulation. Rob was currently in his own section of the art store. Before, he had modified a room so spacious that it could accommodate dozens of ships inside, and chose it as his inventory space. This room had no doors, no windows, he could only access it through his system, which was really what was called inventory. The new functionality of the system was really cool, the main point being that he could choose an inventory from other art stores and incorporate it into his inventory so he could always expand it. Subsequently, Rob placed all 100,000 copies of the first volume in the inventory. All the new functions had to do with art stores, and Rob put his hope in the kind of functions he'd meet at level 3, level 4, and the advanced level. His fate will depend on them after all. His third day on the island was still far from over. Rob noticed that the manga volumes were decreasing at dizzying rates in just 2 days. He created 10,000 volumes, but only 7,600 volumes remain, which means that 2,400 manga volumes were sold in 2 days, and this number is still rising. Since the store could sell on its own, Rob didn't really care about the sale, but he still went back to the store window in the system to keep track of the sale statuses. All this can be displayed in his system. If the customer doesn't pay 1,000 berry he can't get the folder off the shelves, no matter how hard he tried to pull it off, but once he leaves the money on the shelf where the folder is, he can pull it off at that time. The money then teleports to the store locker and is seamlessly organized into Barry's papers for Rob to pick up. The same with food vending machines and silent rooms rental. If the customer doesn't leave the corresponding money, he will not benefit from these services no matter how hard he tries. So Rob doesn't even have to take care of the store, he can just rest at home and draw manga. The system was truly divine. He could even withdraw his money from the system as if he was withdrawing it from the bank. It was really convenient. He will never lack money that way. After noticing the art store, which is still very lively and full of people who are accustomed to its delicious coffee in the trendy tavern, Rob finally decided to leave O'Hara, and this time his destination was another sea of the 4 seas. South Blue? Once he said goodbye to Alvia, Rob ran away from Professor Clover and his group of pesky archaeologists who desperately wanted more One Piece volumes. Under the laughter sounds of Alvia and the females archaeologists, Rob spread his angelic wings and flew far, to south. Leaves fell behind his path and gradually crumbled into nothingness. Everyone who saw his flight scene froze in his beauty. His black and white wings were large after all. Chapter 13, Bait-Rilla Island? This is really amazing. The feeling of flying for the first time was simply wonderful for Rob, who was able to experience thanks to his well-developed devil fruit. Looking at the huge red continent getting closer to seeing him more and more, Rob felt in awe. Without hesitation he started soaring more and more towards the sky, like a bird that no obstacle could block its way in the sky. Rob pierced the clouds, and finally saw the end of the red continent. For a moment Rob thought he had traveled to Mars. Everything was red and desolate on the horizon. In the end, Rob crossed the red line and officially entered the South Sea. Before Rob left O'Hara, he had taken with him a map of the 4 seas. After all, the great library of O'Hara had plenty of them. He also took a magnetic compass showing south from north and east from west, so as not to get lost. After all, this compass still works well in the 4 seas as long as he does not enter the turbulent Grand Line. Well, which place would I choose now? In front of Rob, the scene of the blue sea stretched endlessly. This world was really big, as despite flying at a relatively fast speed it took him an entire day of non-stop flying or rest to get out from the west blue and enter the south blue. He even started thinking about buying a fighter plane from the system shop that can break the sound barrier and practice driving it so that he can travel quickly in this world. Just thinking that he has been away from his beloved wife for a whole day now and is still away makes him feel pain. Okay, it's decided, I'll go to Bait-Rilla. Bait-Rilla was the home of poor Gasti Rouge, his captain's wife. Well, this isn't the first time Rob has been to Bait-Rilla. Not the current Rob, but the former Rob, and Roger pirates came here a lot. Perhaps if this island didn't exist, Roger would have become a pirate's king in a much shorter period of time than the original. The deeper Rob digs into his predecessor's memories the bigger his smile becomes, but when he remembered the cruel fate of the captain's gentle wife in the future, Rob felt a sharp pain tearing his heart out. Rob didn't choose Bait-Rilla Island in vain but chose it for 2 reasons, the first to meet his crewmates again, and the second to save poor Gasti Rouge from her miserable fate. Rob took the map of the South Blue and the compass from his inventory and examined the map well, before choosing the appropriate route towards Bait-Rilla Island. Although he had been to South Blue and Bait-Rilla Island in particular, but he wasn't the cruise navigator wouldn't have bothered to remember the way back. Armament haki covered his paper wings, turning completely black, and the immortal blood inside his body erupted in a berserk state before sprinting at breakneck speed in a single line, leaving a black path behind him. If he hit someone at his current speed, only dust would remain. The weather on Bait-Rilla Island was as calm today as it has been on other days. As long as those pesky pirates didn't come to this island again, it would naturally be calm. But the calm atmosphere that these simple residents enjoy is about to be shattered from this day forward. A human meteor fell from the sky in a black arc without being able to stop then. Boom! On the beach of Bait-Rilla Island, the sand was scattered and the earth was torn apart, as a man in tattered clothes came out the deep hole that had formed in the shore with a satisfied smile. Although I can't handle the breaks well, it's still a good way to travel long distances. Well, only an immortal like me can use such a very consumptive method of haki and stamina. Rob was laughing at the sharpness of his wits at this moment until he saw a group of villagers pointing their fingers at him with terrified expressions as they chanted the words, "A strange beast, how can such a tallness size exist in the world? Why did he even fall from the sky without turning into meat paste? I told you he was a beast but you guys don't believe me, comma." Only now does Rob realize that his clothes and the last memory of his former body owner have been torn apart by the missile flight since he didn't protect them with haki. With lightning speed, Rob returned to the hole he came out of. And he bought a very high-end Gucci clothing set from the system shop. After confirming that he had turned into a real masterpiece, he finally came out of his hole again. This time the villagers' expressions changed from fear to stunned. For now, Rob looked like a model, needing only applause to complete his perfect entry scene. As he wanders through this familiar town, Rob feels nostalgic. After all, whether he likes it or hates it, memories of his predecessor still leave their stamp on him. But he really didn't feel any rejection towards his ancestors' memories. Since coming to this world, he had considered his predecessor like his lost half who had all the qualities he didn't have in his previous life. So above all from his predecessor with pleasure. Within Rob's soul now coexist good and evil, shyness and courage, strength and weakness, love and hate, boredom and enthusiasm. He have become a complete human being in this life. Under the scorching glasses of the townspeople of Bait-Rilla, Rob walked towards the center of town, where he would open his new art store. Not at all interested in people looking at him, after all, those people would be his dear customers later and get used to his majestic presence. Little did Rob know that it was his amazing and trendy clothes that attracted these people. It was their only thought at this moment. What a great shot. Where did this man come from? Is he really from outside of this world, as those who saw him fall from the sky say? Chapter 14 Level 3 of the system, and opening the second art store. Ding! Plus 1000 EXP. The system has been upgraded. Level 3 of the system, 0/5000. Plus 8-dimensional art store. Art stores available to use, 1/13. The compatibility feature has been added to the art store. From now on, any living creature can harmonize with your store and its items, no matter how its size, a big giant or small dwarf, even a blind person can regain their sight in your store. The moment a giant or dwarf approaches the art store will become a normal human size. The items he buys in the store will be proportional to his size when he exits the art store as well. With the attribute of compatibility, even gods can transform into mere mortals in your store. What an amazing feature. As I expected, the higher the level of the system, the more and more authoritarian the features of the art store became. Even a blind man can temporarily restore his sight inside the art store under the influence of the compatibility attribute. This was simply too much. Rob was satisfied with the new feature, that even giants and dwarves of this world could become his clients. The hell, even huge sea kings could enter his stores if they wanted to. Rob was currently in a bar in downtown Baitrilla and had already decided to set up his store nearby. But before that he must first contact the mayor of this town and buy the plot of land legally. After all, he is not a pirate anymore. He can only take what doesn't belong to him without caring for anyone. This will only damage his image as a seasoned investor, and will be of little use to him. Regarding his first art store in O'Hara, that public garden where he opened his art store originally belonged to the Great Library, but Professor Clover didn't even want to accept his money for that piece of land. In Clover's eyes, as long as Rob was drawing more of one piece, he wouldn't even care if he took another plot of land. After obtaining information about the mayor's house from the female owner of the bar who was fascinated by his charm, Rob hastily left, unwilling to mingle with these people any longer. Baitrilla Island had a temperate tropical climate. It was really great to live in. Along the way, Rob consulted the locals about the mayor's house and was soon led there. Rob then makes a deal with the mayor, who is a cheerful old man. After learning why Rob came looking for him, he was surprised at first but quickly became happy. He was welcoming a young investor like Rob after all. As planned, Rob bought the plot of land from the mayor for 5 million berries in the contract the two parties signed. And now, it's time for magic. Under the gazes of a small crowd of townspeople, Rob waved his hand and the void began to shrink and expand rapidly until it turned into an art store identical to the one in O'Hara by all accounts. Gosh, what just happened? How did such a building appear out of thin air? All the people who were on the street were deeply surprised by the change that occurred in their surroundings. After all, it is not every day that they witness such a magical event. Even the old man, the mayor, was dumbfounded. You boy, you are a user of the devil fruit ability, right? Rob looked toward the mayor with a smile and only gave a nod of approval. Ding! Congratulations on opening your second art store. Do you want to keep or modify the original design? No, I leave it as is. Want to buy the same items that are in your first store? Food vending machines, coffee makers, alcoholic beverages, etc. Buy. Do you want to fill your store shelves with manga items or not? Put 10,000 volumes on the shelves and leave the rest in inventory. Rob used the store window system for some simple settings, before turning around to the crowd of townspeople that was getting bigger and bigger. As the storefront beacon was like magic, it could attract anyone. Under the new compatibility feature boost, even the blind people, they would be attracted here this time. Like a moth to a flame. Hello everyone, I'm Rob, a new investor in Baitrilla town. Don't worry, you can consider me your new neighbor from now on, because I've already bought my own plot of land from Mr. Mayor. Rob entered the gentleman's mode and he started throwing the nonsense here and there, the main point being that his nonsense was like heavenly music in the ears of these simple people at this moment. What is their fault if they are listening to a high-level marketer from the 21st century, and not only that but someone who had shares worth billions in big companies, under false names of course. He was such a person, he would even shine among the rocks, not to mention ordinary humans in South Blue. Rob talks about what he will sell them from now on, manga and various other items in such a highly marketable way that stars are literally forming in the eyes of these simple residents. They were excited to come in and experience the kind of art this divine store sold. They didn't at all doubt the veracity of what the owner had said. After all, the shape of the divine store was something they had never seen before. His attraction was too great after all. Chapter 15 The East Blue Saga, Orange Town Arc. Ding! Plus 16 art points from the merchant Haney. Ding! Plus 11 art points from the tavern owner, Miss Marison. Ding! Plus 20 art points from the child alley. Ding! Plus 35 art points from Mayor Lud. Rob has turned off the notification sounds again and he is back to taking care of the important work at his hand now. Yes, he was drawing the second volume of One Piece manga at the moment. Exactly the same way he created the first volume, he was excited to finish the second volume. It's already been half a day since Rob successfully opened his second art store here in Baitrilla. Just like in O'Hara, the scene was packed with enthusiastic people in the art store here in Baitrilla. It's good that the store's interior was large enough to accommodate them all. For the people of Baitrilla town, this place was simply divine. The new food they have to pay its price to get out of those refrigerator-like machines, and the chocolatey coffee mugs that those long-nosed machines can take out with a simple push of a button. All this was new and interesting for the Baitrilla people who were accustomed to the life of the villagers. Even the O'Hara people were more modern than them. In fact, what intrigued those people who had no real entertainment in Baitrilla was the manga volumes that the store sold, their shelves stretching in long rows along an entire section of the divine store, which seemed miraculously larger on the inside. The owner, Rob, really didn't give this place its right when he described it previously. This was what was on the minds of those people who flocked to the store happily. Everyone with the money bought at least one manga book. In the span of half a day, the art points and EXP increased dramatically thanks to these wonderful customers. Going back to Rob, he keeps drawing up the second volume with an enthusiasm. The new folder consists of 14 chapters, extending from chapter 8 to chapter 21. The folder's name is the Orange Town Arc, or as it is also referred to as the Buggy Clown Arc. Of course, those who don't know the legendary Buggy should retire from following One Piece. The summary of this part of the story is the arrival of Luffy and Zoro to the next island Orange Town after the difficulties of sailing without a navigator, which they somehow overcome, meeting the future crew navigator Nami, and then fighting the clown pirates Buggy-sama, who is Luffy's first real opponent in the story. After a very comical farce, the crew, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami, succeeded in defeating the Buggy pirates, Buggy, Kabeji, Moji, and his lion Richie, after Nami bound Buggy's split body with the Chop Chop Devil Fruit ability, and Luffy succeeded in sending his head fused with just his legs and hands shave apart the Alvida way. In the end, they succeeded in liberating Orange Town from the tyranny of Buggy pirates, and the arc ended with the escape of the trio of angry townspeople when they learned that they were pirates. Under Luffy's laughter, they succeeded in escaping from them thanks to the intervention of the dog Chucho that beloved in this arc. The arc's final moments show Mayor Boodle's true gratitude to Luffy and his crew. Finally, Rob succeeded in drawing the arc in all its details and didn't even forget to add the elements that the studio added in the anime and was not present in the manga. Rob has been waiting on pins and needles to see how both Shanks and Buggy, who are currently still on Roger's ship, will react to this art. Maybe they would consider their older brother to have gone crazy or something, but Rob doesn't care about that. That was the kind of thinking he wanted them to think of him. Rob wishes even the people of the world government would consider him a fart right now. Rob mentions both Shanks and Buggy because the volume contains a small memory of Buggy's tragic past which happened some time ago now. Even the former Rob has attended. When Buggy accidentally eats a devil fruit because of Shanks, who suddenly terrified him, Shanks has since become Buggy's nemesis, who has ruined his dreams of finding his great treasure buried deep in the sea because he can't swim anymore. Rob asks how Buggy will feel when he sees this event in the manga. Maybe he thinks his older brother Rob is making fun of him too. The more Rob thought about it, the more he wanted to laugh so hard. At the end of the day, Rob had made 20,000 copies of the second volume under the title The Orange Town Arc. He left 10,000 copies in the art store Baitrilla and sent 10,000 copies through the system to the shelves of the art store O'Hara. It all happened magically. Since it was already night, the doors of the art stores were closed. Only tomorrow copies of the second volume would be sold in both stores. Rob was excited about the kind of reaction about the second volume of the story for people who liked Luffy's story so far. Buggy will be hated in their hearts a little. Maybe his little brother Buggy will get angry with him for that. Well, it doesn't matter. Now it's time to go back to my wife. How I miss her. Rob walked into the teleportation room, and with a quick flash, the teleportation function was activated. Available destinations: 1. Do you want going to O'Hara's art store? Hell, yeah. So Rob disappeared from Baitrilla, South Blue, and appeared in O'Hara, West Blue. That was in less than a second. Chapter 16 Nami is the darling of the masses? Chapter 8, The Thief Nami? A/N, Manga Chapter. Luffy, I am hungry. Zoro, you really don't have navigation skills. Luffy, why? In my life, I have only sailed for wandering. Luffy, you're just like me because you go after pirates and wanted men. Zoro, I never said I was a pirate hunter. Zoro, I was just looking for a man in the sea, but I lost the way back to my village. Zoro, I had no choice, I became a pirate hunter to get some money, which I spent on life supplies. Luffy, really? So you were lost? Zoro, shut up. Now the lost is you. Ha 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 ha, these kids are so funny. Zoro is right, I've also never seen a pirate who can't navigate before. Haha, that boy Zoro really became a pirate hunter because he couldn't go home, so embarrassing. Professor Clover and his group of archaeologists like Zadie, Roche, Bushiri, and others were enjoying the first chapters of the much-awaited second book of manga One Piece. This morning, the moment the art store opened its doors, hundreds of people poured in like waves, and why? Of course, because it is the promised day of the release of the second volume under the title of the Orange Town Arc. Today, those archaeologists who have spent their lives studying the history of the pirates' world have confirmed that the events of the One Piece manga take place in their world, exactly in the East Blue. They had already confirmed that Fuchsia Village in the Dawn Island, Shell's Town in the Yotsuba Island region, and Orange Town in Organ Islands archipelago, all these places were in East Blue. After all, Fuchsia Village is famous for being the home of marine hero Monkey D. Garp. The protagonist of the One Piece story is the supposed grandson of Monkey D. Garp. This was really interesting for these archaeologists who really deserve their title. After all, they are the only ones so far who have been able to spot these important points at the beginning of the story. And this applies to all the people of O'Hara and Baitrilla. After all, it was not only O'Hara's people who were enjoying One Piece's story in the meantime but Baitrilla people as well. While Rob was asleep at home while cuddling his wife in a warm, romantic embrace, system notifications kept ringing, bringing with them so many art points that had already accumulated in the tens of thousands. Even the system level was close to being upgraded already. This was great news for Rob, who turned off the notification sounds and went back to enjoying sleep while cuddling his wife's naked body. On the islands of Bait Rilla and O'Hara, the dominant theme these days, which is constantly recurring, is One Piece manga. It's been 5 days since the last art store update and the next update was already approaching. The audience was waiting. The popularity of the manga One Piece has reached a really frightening level. It even got out of range of the 2 islands and started to spread around the neighboring islands due to visitors from the other islands somehow. The attraction of the art store is great after all. Many of its miraculous properties have already been recognized and have surprised many people, such as restoring the blind man's sight inside the art store. This was a divine thing for those blind people who could see again, although it is only a temporary condition. In the past few days, Rob has known dozens of blind people on both islands who don't walk away from the art store no matter how hard he tries to drive them away. At night they sleep in front of the store doors and during the day they are the first to enter the store. Rob was speechless about them, so he let them do whatever they wanted. Regarding the current trend again, even the places mentioned in the manga like Fucha Village, Shell's Town, and Orange Town have become so famous that many avid kids dream of visiting them one day. There are even adults who want to take a trip to East Blue just to find Nami, even though they know it doesn't actually exist. After all, as soon as she first appeared, Nami became the prime idol in the hearts of these modern proponents of culture. The goddess had become the thief who stole their hearts. Even after seeing how Nami had deceived those pirates at sea, they still wished they were in the place of these damned pirates so that they could be deceived as well. Seeing how she could bear Luffy's stupidity and talk to him even though it made her so angry that she wanted to break his head, they raised their thumbs to Nami and raised her appreciation in their hearts to the utmost. Luffy was stupid beyond words. After all, only someone like Zoro could understand him. Hell, even that scary clown with devil fruit ability was played by their Nami and became just a head and 2 feet. After reading the fun arc, many questions started to pile up in the minds of why did Nami hate pirates so much? And what is the fate of the small buggy and his divided body? And what does the clown buggy have to do with a great pirate like Shanks? And where will Luffy crew go from now on? All this made One Piece fans expect more. They have already fallen in love with this story and desperately want to know how it will continue. Ding! Plus 136 art points from Clover. Ding! Plus 50 art points from Zadie. Ding! Plus 43 art point from Roche. Ding! Plus 63 art points from Nico Oran. Ding! Plus 123 art points from Nico Alvia. Rob's attention was caught by the familiar name. Nico Oran, isn't this person his brother-in-law? But as soon as he remembered how his daughter Robin was treated by this scum's wife, he suppressed the urge to ask his wife about him in the depths of his mind. Ha 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 ha, dear, this book is fun. I'm really excited to see how Buggy and Shanks will deal with your mockery of them. Ha ha ha, especially Buggy, that manga will make him hate you. Alvia drops the manga volume on her bountiful origins while laughing about this comedy arc. It's good that you liked it, sweetie. Come here. You're taking advantage of my low guard again. I won't let you go this time. She quickly escaped from his demonic claws and tried to get dressed to get out of the room, but before she could do so, she felt a paper handcuff restricting her and pulling her toward the lust monster once more. I prefer you without clothes, my sweetie. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? It's still early morning, you know. Rob's warm whisper in her ear was like a demon's voice that removed all her defenses once more and allowed herself to sink into his arms without being able to resist. This little girl Nami is really very pretty, and looks smarter for her age. Why did you create such a character? Would she really be the navigator of Luffy's crew? Alvia was really interested in this One Piece story in which Rob uses both fiction and reality. Do you want me to spoil the events on you, my love? Rob was really in a good mood to flirt. Alvia shrugged off Rob, who was busy playing with her origins without the slightest bit of shame, and rechecked the manga in her hands. Everything about this book was so interesting to her. After all, she's probably the only one at the moment who knows that Shanks and Buggy aren't fictional characters as everyone thinks. Ding! Plus 270 art points from Porgas de Rouge. Or maybe she's not the only one now. Chapter 17 Porgas de Rouge worried? Ding! Plus 270 art points from Porgas de Rouge. Sigh. This day has finally come. Rob inwardly sighed and stopped drowning in his wife's soft breasts before getting out of bed. Rob can anticipate what kind of reaction his captain's wife will have after seeing the One Piece manga. And what kind of reaction would it be? Definitely worry and fear that everything she saw is real. Who the hell in the world would she want to see her husband's execution even if it was just a pictorial? Isn't that just a bad omen? In fact, Rob is at a loss as to how to explain this to his captain's wife. Undoubtedly, he will be reprimanded, right? My dear, what happened? Why do you look worried? Rob got out of his thoughts and turned around to see his wife's charming body fill his eyes again. Well, I was thinking about how Miss Rouge would react to seeing her husband executed in the manga. What do you think it would be? Rob posed this question to Alvia, in order to relieve the tension in his heart. Miss Rouge? Isn't that woman Captain Roger's wife? I think she'd be really angry. That's a bad omen drawn by my dear. I also wondered about that when I saw him. What kind of grudge do you have with Captain Roger for killing him in Chapter 1? My dear. Alvia was surprised when she saw the color from her husband's face disappear after hearing her words. That's it. Then you really have no grudge against him. It's just a script for creating the greatest story in history, as you say. Well, I believe in you, my dear, no matter what. Rob took a while to create some gentle nonsense and try to convince his wife and himself of it. After all, he can't tell her that that execution scene is the future and exactly what will happen 7 years from now. His wife will think he is an idiot or something, and that's the scary thing about it. He doesn't know what to do if his wife starts to suspect him and loses her faith in him. This world was very real. Here a person's feelings couldn't be controlled. Any simple slip could destroy a lot of things. When living in this world, Rob knew that everything he had read so far in those harem novels whose protagonists win the hearts of females in it is like buying cabbage here and there. They are nothing but nonsense, complete nonsense, polluting the minds and defying common sense. Hell, a woman's heart is the most mysterious thing in existence. Even if it is a 2D woman, she is still a woman. If you are not careful, you will not have a chance to defend yourself, let alone live a happy married life. Then now, will you help me convince Miss Rouge of this, my dear? Sure, if I don't help my husband, how can I call myself your wife? Alvia, you really are the best. Rob hugged Alvia in another warm embrace, showing his true gratitude. Then, when are we leaving for Southern Blue? Alvia was asking about it to get ready for the trip. After all, it would be a long trip. Why are you smiling like that? Ha ha ha, I have a surprise for you. We can get to Bait-Rilla in an instant, my dear. In a simple but colorful wooden house. The house is located among palm trees and bananas, the fruits of which fall from time to time over the simple house. There sat a beautiful woman with pale blonde hair adorned with a red flower with 6 petals on the left side and some cute freckles on her face. She seemed to be in her late 20s. She was a young and beautiful woman by all accounts. But this beautiful woman right now was in a very anxious banter. As she had been living alone in a house far from the relatively prosperous town of Bait-Rilla, she was late to see the great changes that had taken place on Bait-Rilla Island in the span of a few days. She had already seen the mystery store debut when it opened and had been watching that shining beacon in the sky all day, but since she had been living a cautious life the whole time, lest her connection to the great pirate, Gold Roger, be discovered, she was trying not to move around too much. But when the necessities of life ran out since her last shopping, Rouge needed to go out shopping normally. After she finished shopping, she couldn't contain the woman's curiosity, which was only increasing and not diminishing the more she heard about the divine store from the townspeople. So curiosity killed the cat this time too. Rouge gained the courage to enter the divine store, and it didn't really disappoint her, because this store was truly divine. Everything in it made her gasp in shock, even though her pretty face didn't show any kind of expression. Rouge quickly bought 2 manga books, volumes 1 and 2, and came home to see the kind of amazing art the townspeople had been singing about all the time. From the moment she opened the first book, she was so dumbfounded that she couldn't switch to the next page. That tall, majestic figure, those sharp eyes, that amazing mustache, that red jacket she had made for him? Isn't that her husband, Roger? What is he doing here? Sigh. After she finished reading the 2 books, Rouge let out a heavy sigh. From the moment she saw Roger's smile on the execution stage, she felt an indescribable feeling in her heart. She knew that smile well. It was the same smile that conquered her and made her, the only daughter of the poor gas family hidden from the world, fall in blind love and flee from her clan with this man. Now she had an extremely dangerous feeling rising in her heart every second. And this feeling tells her that this book is not simple at all. Just who in the world is the person who drew this? Chapter 18, The Meeting. And clarify the confusion. Unbelievable, we really went from West Blue to South Blue in an instant. Although she's never been here before, Alvia still knows that they've moved to another island the moment she sees the different people in the art store. If she hadn't seen people different from the O'Hara people, walking around in her husband's store with the same smiles and happy expressions on the O'Hara people, she wouldn't have thought they had moved to another island at all, because the art store was the same. Ignoring the scorching looks of Bait-Rilla Island customers who were apparently ordering a new volume, Rob walked out of the store with Alvia. His target today in Bait-Rilla was to visit a certain person, who lived on the other side of town. So you came here when you left for Southern Blue in order to open your second store. Alvia's white hair was blowing in the warm Bait-Rilla breeze, and her charm in the trendy clothes Rob had bought her from his system shop was beyond words. Yes, I forgot to tell you because I was busy composing One Piece chapters, you know. Already in the past 5 days, Rob has been drawing the advanced volumes of One Piece, and he has already accumulated some of them, and this has left him plenty of leisure time to enjoy with his beautiful wife. When the weekly publication day arrives, he will only put up what he has for sale. After all, his inventory is filled with copious amounts of volumes, including new and ready-to-publish volumes. Also, all these days he was thinking about what he would choose between North Blue and East Blue to create his third art store. In the end, he decided North Blue first as his nearest destination and decided to leave East Blue for last. This was to avoid early troubles. After all, the Eastern Blue is the source of all evil in this world, and this is no joke at all. Along the way to the other side of Bait-Rilla Island, Alvia and Rob discussed how to talk to Rouge about everything and how they would interpret the event of Roger's execution to remove all the confusion and negative feelings that could form, since they are not very familiar with the other side and especially Alvia. First they have to build the perfect mood for serious talk. In the wooden house that was accustomed only to solitude and nature, today there were unexpected visitors. The moment Rouge saw Rob at her front door, she was amazed and thought her husband was here too. After all, Roger used to visit her with a few of his crew at every time. Rouge knew every one of them, and Rob was no stranger to her. But she was slightly disappointed when she found out that only Rob and his wife visited her this time, but she quickly cleared these thoughts from her mind. After all, this man was her husband's mate. It is not good to show signs of her disappointment to her guests. That would be disrespect for the kindness of the other party who visited her. In the simple guest room, Rob saw the first volume book of One Piece on the table, open to its front page. Its same part as Roger's execution. Rouge brought tea to Rob and Olvia, who accepted him with a smile. Rouge sighed inwardly. It was a good thing that she had been shopping recently, or else she wouldn't be able to bring any tea. So you broke up with the crew to live a happy married life. I'm really jealous of Sister Olvia for her luck. If only we had the same luck. Haha, excuse my manners, don't take my words seriously. After all, Captain Roger's responsibility cannot be compared to that of a crew member. No need to apologize, Rouge-san. I understand how you feel and I think my wife will too. Before Rob could continue to speak, Olvia nodded with a gentle smile at Rouge, showing her complete understanding. After all, she herself would be jealous if the scales were turned. She was a woman, after all. What woman in the world wouldn't want to live with the man she loved? To dedicate everything to her? In the case of poor Gasty Rouge, it was really pathetic, to live alone in such a house so far from the world, and all her concern was when her husband would return again from the sea, knowing that each visit stretched from months to years. It was really tormenting. Now that Olvia has tasted the sweetness of love and happy married life, she cannot imagine living without it for long periods, though she can also be patient if she is forced to, but her innate desire to live a happy life still cannot be erased. In fact, I also was forced to leave the crew. After all, I was diagnosed with a fatal illness at the time. I didn't have much time to continue the pleasant journey with the captain. Rob smiled, a smile so captivating even in the eyes of a married woman like Rouge, before continuing to speak. Olvia was that missing light from my life without which my life would not be perfect, so I chose to live the little time I had left with her. Olvia squeezed Rob's hand hard, showing the worry that was redigging in her heart. You. Rouge was shocked, but before she could show her deepest regret, Rob interrupted her. Don't worry, I found a cure for my condition recently, so I'm already cured, but the crew doesn't know that. Except for me and Olvia, you're the third person to know this. It's really reassuring, Rob-san. It's good to hear that you're doing well. You've really relieved me. I'm so happy for you. Thank you, Rouge-san. To think that your real personality is so much fun is really so surprising. After all, you were as shy as a kid last time. Ha 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 ha, his character is very good, isn't he, Sister Rouge? Even Olvia was laughing happily at this moment. Ha ha ha, yes, it reminds me a bit of my husband. The pleasant conversation between the trio continued to take a turn for the better. As the feelings of affection deepened between the trio, it could be said that they became good friends. Rob-san, I didn't expect you to be the one who wrote this. I mean, I saw the name of the owner of that art store, but I didn't associate it with you at all. That's a really big surprise. Rob and Olvia could see the light dimmed a little in Rouge's eyes, after hearing Rob's explanation of it all. That dim light was a mixture of feelings of confusion, fear, anxiety, and even curiosity. Yes, Rouge-san, we will be good neighbors from now on. Since you had no friends before then, I think my wife here would be happy to become that friend you need, right, my dear? Rob gave Olvia the green light to intervene at this moment. Yes, darling, we have become really good friends, don't you see? Olvia approached Rouge and sat next to her before lovingly hugging her like a true friend. As Rob said before, he wishes for a better future than the one he paints in the depths of his heart. I believe he intends no harm to your husband deep down, even. Ha 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 ha, do you guys think I'm mad at something as trivial as this? Even Roger himself, when he sees this book, I'm sure he'll laughing with his usual laugh, and he forget about it as if it doesn't matter. He won't even need to ask you about this, Rob-san, because he trusts his comrades more than himself. Or do you not know this better than me? That you have already traveled with Captain Roger on the same ship. I can hear your true thoughts, Rob-san. I know you don't hate the captain and wish him a bright future in your heart. No need to try to justify your actions to me. Rob and Olvia, who willing to take the consequences all this time, are surprised by the dramatic change in Rouge's mood. It seemed as if it had switched from the night to the day, but what Rob and Olvia didn't notice was that Rouge was shivering inwardly at the confirmation of the horrific truth she had now, due to her innate ability. The voice of all things, Chapter 19, soul-crushing heavy voices. Ever since he came to this world as Nico Olvia's husband and Nico Robin's father, Rob has been living in real confusion. Although he hides it well, his aura has been chaotic the whole time. Had it not been for the photographic memory that collects billions of thoughts in his head and keeps everything balanced, he would have collapsed long ago. This cannot be hidden from a user of the voice of all things like poor Gasty Rouge. The moment she activated her ability on Rob, she collided with mountains of tormenting thoughts that nearly made her mind explode. Voices like, just thinking about what kind of fateful fate he was going to draw that would touch even his family members, made him anxious the entire time. In fact, he began to regret setting such a heavy goal in this world. Yes, he had taken an extremely heavy goal on his shoulders, and he didn't know how big it was until this moment. Drawing the story of the world of One Piece that didn't end even in his previous world, Rob was literally courting death. When he sleeps next to his wife and gets into a stark argument with himself about whether to continue what he's doing and live a tortured life, or stop it and wait for the gods' punishment. So far, all is well. After all, the Straw Hat Crew's journey to wreak havoc on the world is still in its infancy. They haven't entered the Grand Line yet. Everything is still just fun. They have not yet entered the stage of telling the facts of the world. But Rob still felt heavy emotions restricting his soul. If only he had chosen a specific embodiment at the time, why did he have to ask for a random embodiment? If he was alone, he would be a real demon who doesn't care about anyone. He can draw manga and sell them like vegetables cheaply and let the world know the future. Why the hell would he care about anything else if he's alone? But it seemed that the gods who sent him here didn't want to create a demon that would only destroy the balance of the world. Well, although the gods wanted you to enjoy a different and intertwined scenario, they didn't want to create unresolved chaos in this world. A world that is probably only one of the millions of parallel worlds out there. They probably wouldn't care if one of these infinite worlds was destroyed, just as they wouldn't care about specks of dust. But their prestige as deities would be lost if that were to happen. So for the sake of balance, let this little demon know the feeling of love he never felt before. This will just do the trick. After Rob and Alvia left, Rouge fell to the ground, panting and perspiring profusely, her breathing becoming heavy. Her strong forehead that she had been forcibly making in front of Rob and Alvia had now completely collapsed. Just who is this person in the world? Why does he seem to have the history, present, and future of the world on his back? Rouge's mastery of the voice of all things ability was not as advanced as Roger, although it was really powerful, it was still weaker than Roger. The moment she used her ability to figure out what kind of person the real Rob was, she was shocked by billions of thoughts, like heavy mountains. If she hadn't had a strong will, she would have collapsed in front of the duo. Just remembering those thoughts that each of them seemed like a world on their own made her shiver. She had never heard such voices before in her life. They sounded like forbidden voices that could not be heard, because it was against the laws of the world. All she could understand was that Rob really had no hatred for herself or her husband, but he was sure that their future fate would not be good. Even her unborn child would be doomed. And is there a fate worse than death? Whenever Rouge remembered the choppy parts she picked up from those forbidden voices, she felt blood freeze in her body in terror. This can't be real. But why is his wife's fate not different from mine? Why would he want to write such a terrible future? Why does it look like he has no choice? And why does he want to protect me from that fate? Rob, did you notice that? Yes, she can't hide it well after all. Then do we need to go back to check on her? Don't worry, it looks like she's only slightly traumatized. Rob and Alvia were on their way back to the art store in order to move to O'Hara. They were talking about Rouge's condition, which seemed shaky at the end of their meeting. Rob knew it would be difficult for her to accept him, but internally he hoped that this would help her come to terms with her future husband's death. In fact, Rob can save Roger from death by giving him a drop of his immortal blood, but he is sure Roger will refuse. It's all because of the truth buried on the final island. The truth that Roger should paving to it by his death. No matter how Rob tries to convince Roger not to die, Roger will still want to die the same way in the manga. So Rob didn't even think to try. Because, what Rob knows about this world, no one else knows. This was the fate the mangaka king had to endure. Ding! Plus 5000 EXP. Congratulations on upgrading the system. Level 4 of the system. Now, you can create a 2 art store in one region. Level 4, Level 5, Level 6, Chapter 20, Flavance Island. The city entrance fee is 100 berry for the week, sir. You can pay at that place there. Rob stopped in front of the city gates that were forbidden by the guards, followed the guard's signal, and paid 100 berry before he got information on how to obtain permanent residence papers in this place from the accounting. The accountant told him that the direct method was to pay 10 million berry to the royal family, and the indirect method, if he was a merchant who could become an official citizen of your thriving kingdom and owner of this new store, you can count me as an investor. What I'm selling is art. Rob began his usual speech, and without any surprise succeeded in presenting himself and his project in the best way to these sick sheep. The eyes of the people listening to Rob's speech gleamed. The more they heard, the more they wanted to enter the store. His miraculous appearance was enough to make them believe every word Rob said. Now that Rob had chosen this place as the base for his shop, he would not have the same fate anymore. It could be said that these people, just like the O'Hara people, don't yet know what kind of existence was sent to save them from a very bad fate. Among the crowd that happily entered the store, Rob didn't notice two familiar figures, husband and wife still dressed as doctor and nurse. Chapter 21: The Trafalgar Family's Interaction with the One Piece Manga. Fun laughs, gasps of bewilderment, and excitement resounded in the crowded atmosphere of the trendy bar of the newly opened art store in Flavance. Just like O'Hara and Baitrilla, Rob has already put up volumes 1 and 2 in large quantities, but to his surprise, it seems that the batch he puts in has been greatly reduced. It looks like he will have to put up another batch soon, even although he imposed the law of the one folder, so that a single person could buy one volume of the same type, but it still reduces the wealth and enthusiasm of these people from Flavance. Even members of the royal family came to visit his art store, given the great fame he achieved in one day. The miraculous art store, which was indestructible and that allowed even the blind to regain his sight, became the hot topic everywhere within the White City walls. Regardless of the story of One Piece that made everyone who read it feel interesting, regardless of who he is, whether he was a normal person or a pirate, whether he was evil and malicious or a good person, everyone gathered on the same idea. The story of One Piece was interesting, and they all looked forward to more, which will be tomorrow, where the third volume will be released according to the list of store updates. The other things being sold in the store, like food, were very appetizing. The city of Flavance became even more lively with the advent of the art store. Even the members of the royal family were satisfied with the young investor who chose their city to open his store, although they had their own ideas about what kind of ability he had that would allow him to create powerful buildings out of thin air, was a truly enviable ability. Rob didn't know that he had come into the eyes of the royal family as a potential enemy, but even if he knew, he wouldn't care, as long as he had already succeeded in opening his art store here. He had practically become like a god on this island. In a hospital, like the appearance of a giant townhouse with iron wrought gates for the fencing walls. As with many other buildings of the city, the hospital was white due to the amber lead. Patient is stable now, Dr. Chris, you can go home. You're married now, although your wife Mary is a nurse too, but a happy married life is made at home, not in the hospital. You're too much of a chatter today, Lori. Well, thanks for that. I'm really tired today. I'll give it back to you. Ha ha ha, what do you say? You are the first doctor here. I am just an assistant in the background. Sigh, that subject again. After Trafalgar Day, Chris returns home and hears his wife's hesitant laughter throughout the house. He remembered the 2 books they had bought this morning at the news store, took the 2 volumes out of his wallet, and put his eyeglasses before he started browsing. Luffy, wow, what a wonderful nap. Luffy, ha 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 ha, looks like I was saved. I thought I was going to die. Alvida pirates? Luffy, huh? Who are you? Alvida pirates, but who are you? Why would someone come out of a wine barrel? Kobe, hey Luffy, why are you sailing? Luffy, because I want to become the Pirates King. Kobe, what? Kobe, Pirates King, this is the title of the one who owns everything in this world? Kobe, do you want to tell me that you are looking for the greatest treasure in the world, the One Piece? Kobe, do you want to die or what? All the pirates in the world are looking for this treasure. Luffy, well, so am I, shishishi. Kobe, no way, absolutely impossible, absolutely impossible? Kobe, to be the Pirate King in the great age of pirates, you don't have a chance? Absolutely impossible. Why did you hit me? Luffy, because I can't hear you? Kobe, anyway, I'm used to hitting, ha. Luffy, I'm not afraid of death. Kobe, huh? Luffy, because that's my dream, I wouldn't mind if I died for it. Luffy, plus, I guess I can do it, I mean, it might be hard. Kobe, I never thought about it before. Kobe, can I fulfill my dream too, if I'm ready to die? Luffy, what? Kobe, will I be able to become a member of the Navy? After some time he closes the last page of the 2nd volume and shows disappointment that no more pages anymore. He didn't even feel the time while reading this book. Dream, huh? Sigh. Can a dream cure people? I really wish I had the same mood as Luffy. What would life look like to me at that time? But is the Pirates King really a dream worth pursuing? What could the author of this book mean? Honey, don't think too much. Didn't you see how Nami manipulated all these pirates? PFT. Ha 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 ha, what a really fun and brave girl. Ding. Plus 122 art points from Trafalgar Day Chris. Ding. Plus 99 art points from Mary. Ding. Plus 87 art points from CP5 member Flint. OPPs, CP5. Looks like trouble is here, finally. Rob, who was wrestling with Alvia in a tug-of-war on the bed, was stopped at the last moment. Where did this curse come from? At least, let him release his shot firstly. Fuck. AHN? Baby, why did you stop? Come on, I'm close to my limit. Chapter 22 Cipher Poll entry on the line? In an unknown inn within the city's outer circle in the White City of the Flavance Kingdom, a tall man in a white tuxedo was browsing through the manga folder One Piece with heavy eyes and a very interesting expression. After he finished browsing through the 2 available volumes, he took out a small den mushy from communication type and called his boss in a hurry. Gotcha? The secret code, long live Chief Spandine forever. Good, Flint, you just have to lower your tone of voice a bit until the phrase is perfect. So what do you have to tell me? As you wish, Chief, I will lower my voice next time. I have something interesting this time. Something interesting? Is the royal family of Flavance showing signs of wanting to flee their kingdom at last? No, Chief, it's not like that. So what? Tell me. This morning a store appeared out of nowhere in Flavance. It is a very advanced building and has an irresistible charm. It is called the Art Store, and the royal family seems to agree with it already. Even the blind can regain his sight after entering this store. The building components are very solid, untouchable. But the issue isn't here. What this store sells is the real deal. Flint, do you want to die? Why the hell don't you go on and spit out what you know? Or do you want to make me get excited and then finally destroy everything down? Didn't I tell you to say it all at once? The den mushy in Flint's hand showed Spandin's angry face at this moment. I'm sorry, Chief, I had to drink some water. I almost died of thirst. Go ahead, speak, tell me what this mysterious store sells. Yeah, he's selling a comic book titled One Piece. One Piece? Wait, did you say One Piece? Are you sure about that? Yes, Chief, I'm pretty sure of this. In the comic, called the Manga, the great pirate Roger is depicted as a pirate's king and he's already found the treasure of One Piece. Before he was executed by the Navy, he confirmed the fact that One Piece existed in the Grand Line, which created a sensation in this fantasy tale. This is what has been depicted in the story so far in only 2 books, and perhaps tomorrow a 3rd book will be published. This is really interesting. Fax the 2 books to me by Den Den Mushi of the fax type, and keep me updated on this store until I give you my next orders. Yes, Chief. Gotcha. Rob was currently roaming in Flavance City while using his observation haki to cover the entire city. He was looking for the CP5 member here. He was hoping to find him before any information about him was leaked. Though internally he knows that this is just false hope, he knows very well how the Cypher Pole agency operates. After all, they can't afford to overlook important information to their superiors the moment they find it. Rob had never thought that it would be a world government spy here. This was really his bad luck. Okay, I found you. In Rob's perception, a lot of bright spots appeared and disappeared. His mastery of observation haki was already at an advanced level, as he had only recently broken through when he merged with the remnants of the original Rob Soul. He can cover the entire island with his observation haki if he wants to. The bright spots appearing in his visualization and disappearing were the people he had already screened and made sure they weren't CP5. Rob, who had an impression of CP5 in the anime, could spot their member at a glance. And as he expected, he had already found him in one of the outer hotels near the White City walls. It was a relatively far distance from his present location, but that was no problem at all. In an instant, Rob shot like a mirage towards his target. The inn was just as white as the rest of the buildings in the city. It was a good thing that it was relatively empty. After all, the outside hotels are only used by people with special intentions. Rob stopped at CP5's window like an assassin, and the latter didn't feel it at all. Looks like it's already too late. Rob sighed, seeing Den Den Mushi, the fax type, had already sent copies of the 2 volumes to this person's chief. This person disrupted my precious and enjoyable time with my wife, leaked my information to the world government. If I didn't kill him, I wouldn't be human anymore. Rob's eyes lit up with anger as he looked at the insect that had caused him so many losses today. The moment his killing intent nearly exploded, he was completely suppressed by force. If this bug was killed now, that would only alert the world government about it, and they would take direct action at that time. Perhaps at the moment, they will find it interesting just because of the name of the One Piece, which means that they won't even bother with an all-out attack. Rob isn't afraid of the world government, but he still doesn't want to appear in public so quickly. After all, he hasn't finished his grand scheme in the 4 seas yet. You have to thank your really lucky stars, Flint. You're the first to slip through my claws after causing me trouble. You're really lucky beyond words, but that doesn't mean I won't kill you later. Rob let out a cold snort before disappearing from the dark floor balcony. When Rob gets angry, he becomes a real demon who won't rest until his madness is cured, and it seems that his nature has even followed him into his new life. Why did I feel creeping goosebumps a moment ago? Flint awoke with his back cold and drenched in sweat, but he didn't know why yet. Strange, why do I feel as if I have escaped certain death? Chapter 23, World Government Attention. This is really the most interesting thing I have seen in all my years. In a dimly lit hall, an old man with a scar on the left side of his face, a hat over gray braids, and a walking stick, threw the 3rd volume of One Piece manga next to the 1st and 2nd volumes he had previously finished. The quality of these folders was inferior to the original because they were printed on plain paper by Den Den Mushi fax type, other than the original folders made with the ability of a devil fruit. To think that there is someone in this world who wastes their time drawing nonsense and selling it to people is really interesting. Another old man spoke with obvious disdain. His figure was slim and tall, and he had a long white beard. At least he deserves some praise for drawing that bastard Roger being executed by our navy. One day it will be done and justice will prevail. This time the man who talks is a man who looks younger than the old man, has blonde hair and a short beard, and wears a formal suit with a tie. Didn't you notice that these comic books contain real places? It seems that the author of this story is not just an amateur. But well, what is really interesting is knowing what kind of devil fruit this man by the name of Rudes D. Rob is using. A bald man with large patches of birthmarks on his forehead and a large white mustache was browsing the encyclopedia of devil fruits intently. It seemed as if he was searching for some kind of devil fruit that could create buildings out of thin air. The cursed D clan again. This Rob can't be without a past. We have to get his info first before doing anything about him. I feel something is wrong about this guy and what he's doing. The last one among the group of 5 is the oldest in age. He's bald. He wears white glasses. He also carries a samurai sword with him. He is the only one of the 5 who doesn't wear a black suit or tie, and the only one without facial hair. He also seems to be the only one of the 5 who takes the manga's issue seriously. These people were the world rulers and the pinnacles of all existences in this world, the heads of the world government, the 5 elders. Yesterday they received an urgent report from the head of CP5 Spandine about the mystery store selling comic books under the title One Piece, and today they received 3 copies of the books released so far from the story, under the titles Romance Dawn, Orange Town, and Ark Village Syrup. It was such an unprecedented thing for them. Even the 5 elders found this man's story interesting, but they still hated him promoting piracy ideas so well without any right to do so. If this man really continues to decorate the image of a pirate like this, they will punish him well. They are not unreasonable. They also admire the new and interesting kind of art that this man has created, but he should draw the ideas they want him to paint, or it is better for him to stop. After a lengthy discussion regarding this matter, the 5 elders agreed to find out the man's origin first before making any kind of decision about him. They called the Navy and ordered them to search for the record of this man who is a relic of the cursed clan and send it to them as soon as possible. Ding! Plus 1,500 art points from Guroci. Ding. Plus 1,650 art points from Guroci. Ding. Plus 2,000 art points from Guroci. Rob was already expecting it, so he wasn't nervous or worried at all. Well, since they already found out, he has no worries now. He can do whatever he wants and go to hell the world government. On this day, Rob moved among the three shop from O'Hara to Bait-Rilla and from Bait-Rilla to Flevance constantly, because today is a very special day. Today was the desired day for One Piece fans. The third volume of the series, under the title, Arc Village Syrup, was released as well as a secondary arc before this main arc. The secondary arc was the story of the Boxman Gaemon, which the crew encounters on a deserted island inhabited by strange animals. This strange man had been trapped in the box for 20 years due to his greed for treasures. In the end, with Luffy's help, it was found that this man's treasure boxes above the mountain were empty, but Luffy didn't tell him this devastating truth. The Boxman Gaemon became the title of misfortune for One Piece fans in the three islands. His luck was so bad that they became less greedy for treasures just because of him. Even pirates and villains who read One Piece were saddened by Gaemon's story. The main arc is where the fourth member of the Straw Hat Pirates, the god Usopp, joins. Leader of the 8 million pirates, the terrifying and future pirates emperor. The mere fact of him being the son of Usopp as a member of Shanks' crew was great enough for followers to accept Usopp in their hearts as a respected member of the Straw Hat Pirates. At the moment of his appearance, he caused a great wave of laughter on the three islands. His cheerful and energetic personality was a great factor that made the colors of the comic story more vivid. In this arc, the crew also got their own ship, Going Merry, the ship that will make these fans heartache in the future. Also in this arc, the Straw Hat crew defeated the second pirates crew after the Clown Buggy Pirates, the Black Cat Pirates crew, and their captain Kuro. Followers especially liked the cute girl Kaya. She was so beautiful and gentle that they would want to protect her, and they also wished for her to join the crew as a doctor, but the author, unfortunately, broke the fans' wish. Chapter 24: The interacting of fans with the new book. Usopp, Tamanji? Are these the pirates you spoke of? Tamanji, that's right, look at that pirate logo. Beeman, they don't look terrifying. Ninjin, yes. Usopp? Zoro, it's been so long since I've stood on a steady ground. Luffy, it's because you were asleep the whole time. Zoro, anyway, I just noticed. Zoro, what are those people doing over there? Beeman/Ninjin/Tamanji, YAAA? They discovered us? Usopp, you? Don't run away. Usopp. Usopp, I am the great pirate, captain of the fleet Usopp-sama, the secretly charge of this village, and they also know me as Captain Leader Usopp. Usopp, you better not try to attack this village, because my 80 million men won't forgive you. Nami, you're lying. Usopp, YA, you revealed me. Nami, see, you said it yourself. Usopp, did I say that? Bad layout? Bad layout for sure. Luffy, ha, that's so funny. Usopp, don't underestimate me. Usopp, I'm a man with an esteemed personality, and everyone calls me the noble Usopp. Ha, this Usopp is really funny. Lying has become a habit, but he's such a fun character that I like that, and he's also very good, from the way he tells fairy tales to Kaya to relieve her depression. No matter how hard Professor Clover tried not to laugh, he was still defeated once again by this new character, Usopp. Professor Clover had set a special time for archaeologists at the Great Library to analyze One Piece manga, and made it official. Since everyone agrees to love One Piece, they made it a part of their job as well. This was the highest honor the manga has received so far. Their job all along was to study historical records. It wouldn't be a problem if they added another work they liked. Other archaeologists, both male and female, agreed on Professor Clover's words. Usopp was a very good character even though he was under the influence of his rather cruel past. He was a miserable child, forced to live without a father, and he also watched his mother die when he was just a child. Although such fates are as common in the pirates' world as the stars in the sky, compassionate human nature cannot be erased no matter what kind of world there is. Wherever there is a human being will exist human emotions. In Bait-Rilla, Rouge has just returned from the town's art store after buying the new volume of the manga. Since meeting Rob and reading his manga, she feels like the world is becoming a stranger to her day by day. Since she was a member of the Porgas family hidden from the world, she knew a lot about the One Piece and the Empty Horn, which not even the archaeologists in O'Hara know about. This made her more interested in the One Piece manga, which is still in the inherited will stage. In her heart, Rouge knew that Luffy, the protagonist of the story, was the man who inherited her husband's will. Rouge herself didn't choose Roger to be her husband out of vain, but chose him because he was the man who carried the will inherited from the ancient kingdom. In her heart, she was sure that Roger was the intended person in the prophecy of her clan, the man who will fulfill the dreams of thousands of men before him. But this One Piece manga that Rouge doesn't simply deal with that other fans deal with has a different opinion. While reading the third volume, Rouge's eyes were blank, as if she had lost her light, as if she lost a bed of some kind. In Flevance National Hospital, Trafalgar D. Watercress was very busy, he going from patient to patient. For the past years the health conditions of the people of Flevance were getting worse, but under the influence of the royal family the truth remained hidden from the public eye. Chris was among the few people in the country who knew the horrific truth hidden beneath the surface of beauty and wealth. He knew that the average life expectancy in Flavans people has fallen from the record average over time, from generation to generation for the past 100 years now. He knows that at some point in the near future everything will come to an end in this land, but he refuses and still searches tirelessly for a cure for the toxic effects of amber lead. For him, there is nothing in the world that has no cure, only if he can find it will Flavens become a true paradise. This was his responsibility as a doctor. Recently, the only thing that entertains him a bit and removes the pressure of mental and physical work from him regardless of his wife Mary, is the manga One Piece. This interesting book has the kind of magic that will make anyone who watches it really enjoy it. After finishing his chore today, he took his free time to read the new volume of One Piece. In the end, it didn't disappoint him, and that enthusiasm that was exist in the book before is still present, but it rose more and more. The question on his mind now was, what kind of pirate would these gentle kids be in the future? Will they turn into cruel villains under the influence of a rotting world? Or will they change the world for the better with their bright colors? Is Monkey D. Luffy that person from his old clan records? The inherited will owner? Roots D. Rob? This is the person who is really worth asking about because he is the author of this book. Chapter 25, Konami Islands? After the release of the third volume that caused a new wave of art points, Rob's art points reached an impressive amount. System Shop, 630.456 art points. With this amount Rob can finally buy something useful in the shop. After all he used to buy in the past weeks was things like modern cleaning supplies, modern cooking ingredients, and even modern clothes, and most of them if not all of them is a women's clothes. Ever since Alvia learned of his ability to create amazing items such as fashionable clothes with the power of the devil fruit, female instincts engraved in her genes or perhaps immortal blood have awakened her and become more motivated to do new things other than research on history. Rob couldn't refuse her, so he spent a lot of points on women's clothes and cosmetics. At least she made herself prettier for him, so Rob was internally happy to pamper his wife. The important thing now is, Rob is getting ready to buy a boat of modern specifications, even though the best and most expensive exist in the shop by the millions. However, there is something cheaper and very good too. After all, a modern boat made of metal and with motors is much better than a wooden ship that sails using the wind. Maritime transport list. Christensen yacht, 50 m 500,000 art points. Bloem plus Voss yacht, 100 m 1 million art points. Amel's yacht, 60 meters 750,000 art points. The list was so long that Rob needed to flip over more than once to finish. There were even yachts on the list priced at hundreds of millions of art points. This was simply terrifying, but this type of yacht was rare even in his former world. Rob bought a Christensen yacht and 500,000 art points went just like that, but Rob didn't regret it at all. As soon as the yacht appeared in the sea in front of him, Rob was very happy to lead this beautiful lady. After all, this was not the first time that he owned a yacht. He was a very wealthy person in his previous life. Even if he was a wanted man, it doesn't mean that he was not enjoying his life and always confined at home. The best places to hide for him were the sea, where he was spending a lot of time at sea in the best types of yachts that contain all his needs. Even the internet was provided to him via a certain satellite that was under his control at the time. Rob's previous life wasn't really bad. He was the bad guy. The moment he boarded his new yacht, he felt a kind of feeling of familiarity build up in his chest as if he had returned to Earth once more. Let's go. Rob got out of his nostalgia and went to the cockpit. This time his target was the Sea of Wonders, the East Blue. It's time to get the manga of One Piece into a more serious phase. The white yacht stopped in front of the reverse mountain entrance. Rob chose to use the reverse mountain channel to reach the East Blue from the West Blue. He bought the yacht and made sure to sail just for the experience of passing from this place. Excited to live the experience, Rob allowed his yacht to drift in the fast, gravity-defying current but made sure to avoid hitting the red walls so that his yacht would not be destroyed at that point. Rob reached the top of the reverse mountain after a pleasant experience. The paths scattered in this place where the four seas meet. In the middle exists a terrifying whirlpool like a bottomless abyss. Whoever falls there will die a miserable death. Rob made sure to keep his little yacht away from that terrifying whirlpool, and he took the path to East Blue, but this time he made sure to run the engine at full power because if he didn't it would force him to follow the strong current and enter the Grand Line. Under the thrust of the motors the yacht Rob reached the end of the East Blue Road, but the boat could not enter the channel due to the strong reverse current, so Rob had to send his small yacht to his inventory and spread his paper wings and flew into the sky. He will complete the rest of the journey by air. Rob felt half a face getting hot as if he had received a hard slap in the face from this world. The powerful technology from his previous world that he was trust in like a blind man, couldn't go against the sea current in this world. No, it was he who subconsciously underestimated the strength of the reverse current. Next time he will make sure to buy a helicopter instead of a yacht. Konami Islands is an archipelago located in the northwest region of East Blue made up of 20 small islands. This was the place he chose to create his fourth art store. Exactly Kokoyashi Village, Nami Village. Rob was excited about the kind of reaction these villagers would have when they see their village in his manga. That would be interesting, right? Rob wanted to enter this small village as best he could, so he made his white wings glow with a sacred yellow light by playing with colors, making his wingspan larger so that one wing appeared to be 4 meters long. Rob's mastery of the devil fruit was advancing at an amazing speed because he used the fruit's abilities almost at every moment. At this moment, Rob seemed like a holy angel descending from heaven to those simple villagers who were sunk in an utter stupor. From the sky Rob saw many people gathered in one place which looked like a popular market where people buy their necessities, so he chose an area near him to go down. After all, these people would be his valuable customers. If they saw him as an angel, wouldn't they buy so many volumes from him? Would they not tell the inhabitants of the other islands that an angel descended from heaven and sold the best heavenly things? This is the point. Good entry plays an important role in deciding the success of the project from its failure. Normal people would choose to deal with angels over buying from a normal human. But the devils always got the end of the stick. The golden leaves fell like flowers petals from his wings, causing the villagers to flock to catch them. They believed that they were now living miraculous moments. But in the midst of the crowd was a woman with long red hair, a sharp expression, dressed in a navy uniform, staring at the supposed angel in the sky with a cautious expression. Could he be someone with a devil fruit ability? These were Belmir's thoughts at this moment. Chapter 26 Belmir, Teenage, and Naughty. The void distorted, and then a building with an astonishing shape that seemed out of this world appeared before the eyes of the villagers huddled near the Mr. Angel. Ding! Congratulations on the opening of your 4th art store. System level 4, 6890/10,000 for next upgrade. Plus 16-dimensional art store. Art stores available to use, 4/29. What in the world is this? Is Mr. Angel creating another miracle? What is this building that appeared out of nowhere? Several gasps and chattering sounds erupted from the crowd of villagers at this moment. Mr. Rob, can you explain to us what this thing is, and why you chose our small village to create it? The man who spoke was a young man who seemed to be 20 years old or younger. When Rob stared closely at this young man he was a little surprised. Are you Genzo? Yes sir. Huh. How do you know my name? I don't remember knowing you before. Young Genzo was surprised that this esteemed angel knew his name. Even the chatter of the crowd had gone up some degrees due to this situation. I am a heavenly angel? Of course, nothing such a simple thing would be hidden from me. Rob had really thick skin. Since he presented himself to these villagers as an angel he would continue to do so. After all, when they saw their future selves in Arlong Park Arc they would truly believe that he was an angel who came to save them from an ominous future. Young Genzo froze and didn't know what to say. He too had been feeling suspicious about this person the whole time. Could he really be an angel? He was the son of the former mayor. And he is the current mayor of the village. After his father's death last year, he was forced to succeed him in the affairs of the village. So he made sure to do his job well so as not to waste his father's work. That was why he dared to converse with this person claiming to be an angel. After all, even if he was not an angel, it better not be a demon. He didn't think that a person who could fly would be simple after all. You're worried that I might be a bad guy who brings misfortune to your village, aren't you, young mayor? Rob took the pose of a wise man, when he stroked his non-existent beard by his hand. Genzo and the other villagers were surprised when they heard Rob's words. Can this person read his mind or what? Genzo was puzzled. Rob advanced and patted Genzo's shoulder as he sighed gently. Don't worry man, I'm just an angel investor. I came to this place of destiny to open my art store, that's all. Rob continued to speak after seeing the villagers' expressions change. What I'm selling is an art that will change your lives. Look at that banner hanging in the sky over there. The twinkling lights surrounding the cover of the Straw Hat Pirates lit up just the moment Rob wanted it. Only now did the villagers realize that there was a strange lighthouse light. What is this troublesome brat doing here? Come on, apologies to Mr. Angel now, you brat. Mr. Angel Rob, please don't bother with this brat girl, and forgive her. She is like this to all strangers, since her father, who was a Navy captain, died and she is like this. Yes, Mr. Angel, don't be mad at her. As you see, she always wears her father's Navy outfit and yells that she's going to be a captain and bring honor to the village. Hee hee. She's not a bad kid though. Please forgive her, sir. Please forgive her, sir. Please forgive her, sir. You all, the teenage girl, Belmir, watched all this with palpable anger. Just how could they trust this strange man? Which is clearly taking advantage of their stupidity and inexperience. You all can trust him all you want, we'll see later who's wrong about this. Bye. She turned around after letting out her last words like Sundara in a rage. Rob's anger is gone after he gets to know this naughty chick. Isn't this Belmir, the adopted mother of Nami and Nojiko? He never expected that she would have this kind of personality in her adolescence. Hey, little girl, don't insult other people everywhere, it will make you die single and never find a husband in the future. Rob said, suppressing his laughter when he saw the look of shock on her little face that turned into a blush of embarrassment and anger. You are the kid. Damn you chicken. Who wants to get married? I'm going to be a Navy admiral. As soon as she left her words she ran away like the wind. Ha 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 ha, what a cute little girl. When the villagers saw Rob laughing just at that, they sighed and laughed at the last shot as well. Chapter 27 Manga. This is a fishy story, but it's still very interesting. Uncle Neko. Who do you call uncle? Brat girl, call me big brother. A man in black glasses who appeared to be in his 40s walked out of his house. He had a mustache and a small beard and dressed as a doctor. Even his house looked like a clinic of some sort. Yeah, big brother Neko, AHM. I need some money, can you lend me? Teenage Belmir spoke with some embarrassment in her tone. What? Do you need money? Didn't I give you the weekly living quota that your father left for you, just 2 days ago? Uncle Neko was the village doctor and a true friend of the late father of Belmir, so he was the one to take care of her for the time being until she came of age. She was a lonely girl after all. It's finished. What? It's finished? It was 20,000 berries. Did it all expire in 2 days? What did you do with the money, brat girl? Uncle Neko wasn't really angry, but he still needed to right the daughter of his late brother before she could become an adult. I finally got my money from that impudent old man. She put 3,000 berry into the pocket of her navy coat and walked to her house that a little farther from the homes of the other villagers. Belmere was very nervous these days, since the opening of the mysterious store 2 days before by that pedantic angel. Everyone in her village and even other villages was different from the usual. Even that lunatic mayor Genzo became addicted to the so-called manga book. She even heard him tell the village guys that his favorite character is Nami. Who the hell is this Nami? They were talking all the time about terms like Luffy did this and he did that. Zoro cut this and he cut that. Nami tied this and she stole from that. Usopp lied on this, and deceived that. Shanks, Makino, Fusha Village, Kobe, Alvida, Clown Buggy, the Boxman, Kaya, Kolo Hader who later became Captain Kuro, going merry. Belmere had almost gone mad at all this. Everyone seemed to be having fun without her. As soon as they walked into that damned store they were completely different from the dear villagers she knew. Manga? That just sounds very suspicious to me. No, I won't allow that evil angel to pollute my people's minds anymore. I have to first find out what's in those manga volumes that look so interesting. Well, now it's time to investigate. Returning to the house in front of which there was a small garden of haven't grown up yet tangerine trees, Belmere took a quick shower and changed into feminine clothes, and then used a piece of cloth and she put it on her head to hide the already visible features of her face. Excellent. Belmere looked in the mirror but she found no mistake. She was completely disguised as no one could recognize her. Or at least that's what she thinks. After leaving the house, Belmere crept into the art store, which was filled with people from all villages. The people of Kokoyasi village in the art store looked at her with strange and pensive looks that soon turned into happy smiles. Belmere was horrified the moment she entered the store. It seemed as if she had entered another world. How the hell could the inside of this store be so big unlike it looks from the outside? Even if she had a bit of knowledge about devil fruits from her late father, it didn't mean that she could absorb such a thing, which wasn't even because of a devil fruit in the first place. Had it not been for the omnipresent directional signs, Belmere would have been lost in this big department store. Belmere went to the manga sales section, which has hundreds of tall shelves, and bought 3 volumes of One Piece manga, which has been the reason for everything that has happened to her people so far. Before that, she had wanted to take the volumes without paying, but she couldn't withdraw them no matter how hard she tried. Only when she left the money on the shelves with an unwilling expression that she was finally able to withdraw them. A/N, for those wondering where did Nami learn theft. Once she had bought what she wanted, she ran like a rabbit from the store and didn't stop until she got home. After resting for some time, she took the first volume and embarked on the journey of addiction that will completely change her life. Belmere didn't know or did not feel that at this moment the laws of fate around her shivered and began to vibrate, turning into nothingness. This. Where's the next chapter? Who is the author of this? I have to sue him for making me yearn so badly. Belmere didn't know what to say after reading the manga volumes. She didn't even feel it, but she was smiling, laughing, crying, and reacting with all her emotions to the story the whole time while reading the 3 volumes, just like any teenager her age who read One Piece manga for the first time. Although her dream is to become a navy just like Kobe, this doesn't mean that she didn't like pirates like the Straw Hats. She loved them very much. But why do I have the feeling that this Nami looks so much like me? Belmere was really confused. Nami was very similar not only in terms of looks but also in terms of behavior and nature. She wasn't the only one who noticed this but almost all the Kokoyasi villagers who had read the manga. Well, it's fishy but that's really fun. I want more of this. So you want more of my book, brat little girl. Who are you? It's you? Belmere's little heart almost stopped by fright because of Rob. You terrified me? What are you doing in my garden? How do you know where my house is in the first place? Although Belmere no longer hates Rob as much as she did the first time, she is still wary of him. He was a stranger with great powers. After all, her late father had instructed her to be wary of abnormal people in this world. And Rob was one of those abnormal people her father had warned her about them. Why are you so wary of me, little girl? You needn't to be so careful of me. I'm a married man and my woman is already 1 month pregnant, so I wouldn't covet a little girl like you. I don't want to be the FBI on my tail again after I finally managed to escape from them. Teenage Belmere looked at Rob in utter confusion because she didn't understand anything he said. What is the FBI? And did he mean her in his words when he said she was a little girl? Who is a little girl? She's 16 already. Her boobs have grown so much that she secretly feel excited for herself. Fuck him. Well, forget what I said earlier. Rob's eyelashes twitched as he saw the weeping Tsundere expression. This island is not the only one where I have an art store. I came here to work and to make people happy. That's all. Rob's goal was to make this little girl consider him her older brother and remove all mistrust between them. So he was really speaking from his heart. Rob had always liked the female characters of One Piece in his past life, especially the characters with tragic fates like Belmere. If he had the ability he would definitely save them all. Belmere looked at Rob with a stern expression, but then her former expression vanished. Rob's words already affected her. She herself knew that she was just so suspicious. This man was only here to sell his books. I'm sorry? about insulting you earlier. Belmere took all her courage to offer up this small apology. After all, her tsundere character doesn't allow her to apologize to anyone. If Rob wasn't the author-san, he wouldn't have received such an unprecedented honor. If the villagers saw this scene, their eyeballs would explode in shock. They will wonder what in the world happened. Ha ha ha, no need to apologize, I didn't think of that as an insult in the first place. So you're married and your wife is pregnant. That's going to be exciting news for these One Piece fan club. Chapter 28, Baratai Arcade. Nami breaks fans' hearts. For the first time, One Piece readers from the Four Seas are discovering that time is very slow while waiting for the next update from the manga. But even so, the much-anticipated day finally came. A week after the publication of the Syrup Village arc, the Straw Hat crew has finally reached their next destination, the Baratai arc. As soon as the fourth volume came out, the red light in the art store beacon turned green, which was Rob's way of announcing the release of the new update. And without any surprises, the four stores were packed with hundreds of people addicted to One Piece, minutes after the update signal was issued. It was still morning, so Rob was in bed with his pregnant wife and he was controlling everything on the storefront of the system, from issuing the new update in reasonable quantities to announcing it by the green light. The system was really cool. Even he doesn't need to go into his stores in order to make money. Rob himself doesn't want to see the messy situation right now inside his stores. He already knows how bad the situation there is. It is good that his store is so solid that no harm can be done to him, or he will need to waste time teaching these uncivilized people the culture of human ranks and waiting outside for their turn. Now all he had to do was hug his sleeping wife more deeply and wait for the rain of art points and the EXP that would come from the Four Seas. As for Alvia, she had already read Baratai arc the day before it came out. She had a deal with Rob about this some time ago. Rob couldn't refuse her when she asked him for the update of the chapters before he put it in his stores. She was his beloved wife, how could he refuse her? Since she was a pregnant woman, she was too emotional. Seeing Nami have to betray the crew made her feel too hurt. When he saw her reaction to something so simple, he didn't know how she would react when she saw Robin's past in the future chapters. Rob felt his heart pound in terror at the thought of that. It wasn't only Alvia who felt pain over Nami's betrayal of the crew, but all One Piece readers who had already read the new update. Everything in Baratai arc was perfect, except for this point, where they wanted to strangle the author. Why not just let her travel with them in peace? Apparently, she wants it too. All their hope was now on Luffy, who didn't lose his confidence and determination to get Nami back. Since Luffy wants to get her back, they are confident that will happen, but they are still worried that the damn author will have another opinion. The first emergence of a big boss like Shishibukai and the best swordsman in the world, Dracul Mihawk, was like a nuclear bomb that blows events away and blows the minds of readers. His fight with Zoro, who couldn't even be called a fight but rather bullying, made the ardent blood of the fans cold. The author came back to remind them of the cruelty of the world and that their dreams are still far, too far, that it seems impossible to reach them. However, it was the end of the fight in which Zoro didn't die, and Zoro's promise, and Mihawk respect, and his choice of Zoro as a potential opponent were among the good points that released the depression of the readers. Mihawk, I'm Dracul Mihawk? Mihawk, it's too early for you to die. Mihawk, get to know yourself. Usopp, hurry up, rapidly, put medicine on the wounds. Mihawk, know your world. Mihawk, and be the strongest, Roronoa. Mihawk, no matter how many months and years pass, I'll still be standing here on top of the world waiting for you. Mihawk, so make your way with this terrible determination and try to defeat my sword. Mihawk, try to outsmart me, Roronoa. Zoro, L. Luffy, see, can you hear me? Luffy, yes. Sanji. Zoro, I apologize for worried you. I know that if I don't become the most strongest swordsman in the world, this will embarrass you. Zoro, Ak. Yusako, brother, please don't talk. Zoro, I swear. Zoro, I won't lose again. Zoro, until the day I fight him and win. Zoro, I swear. Mihawk, smile. Luffy, smile. Zoro, I won't lose again. Zoro, do you have a problem with this, Pirate King? Luffy, never. This passage in particular made readers explode with awe. Some even thought that Mihawk is actually the best swordsman in the world right now. After all, the inhabitants of the Four Seas were largely ignorant of what was happening in the Grand Line. They can no longer differentiate between what is real and what is not. The black sword Yora, used by Mihawk, is already recognized as one of the 12 supreme swords. Just as Rob drew, it is indeed real, but its whereabouts are unknown. The last time it appeared was 50 years ago. Only a few people in a spot in the world had seen the black sword yet, because at this very moment Mihawk, who was still 14 years old, began the journey of reaching the best swordsman in the world. Rob was wondering how young Mihawk would react when he saw that his dream had already been fulfilled in the manga. It's going to be kind of interesting. Even the appearance of new crew member Sanji didn't forget the audience in the disappointment of Nami's escape and her theft of the ship. But unsentimental audience like Clover and his crew of archaeologists from O'Hara, Trafalgar D. Water Chris of Flavance, Porgas D. Rogue of Baitrilla, and the 5 elders of the world government. They were most interested in Sanji and Zeph's dream of finding the All Blue. This was something they hadn't heard of for the first time. All Blue is the legendary sea that caused everything in the past. The reason for the appearance of One Piece itself? Those people who read One Piece manga in order to smell information about One Piece itself are more interested in the manga than ever. The 5 elders of the world government became like a cat whose tail had been poked at this moment. Not only that, but how the Shishibukai plan was discovered, which only they themselves know about. For a moment the 5 elders doubted that there was a spy among them, but this impossible assumption quickly vanished. The Shishibukai plan, just a forced idea. They weren't even planning to use it right now. It was a trump card they were planning to use if the pirates became too much and spread into the sea like the epidemic, as it has happened several times in the past until now. This person knows about all blue? This means that the name of One Piece is not just a coincidence. Now the world government has officially become interested in this book. In a dark hall in the middle of a large red throne surrounded by a large number of swords, a tall and dark figure opened its eyes that were like waves of blood, the void shaking as soon as the figure opened its eyes. An interested smile appeared on his or her face. In his hand was an open book on the page of Sanji's declaration of his dream. Chapter 29. Activate the Big Plan? The famous Straw Hat Pirates across the 4 seas. The residents of the Kanamai Islands and the neighboring islands where Rob has set up his art stores are actually surprised by the fact that this story was filmed in their East Sea. This made them feel a lot of pride. Even the pirate king in the story and the great pirate in reality, Gold Roger, was a person from their eastern sea. Especially the people of Fuchsia village who saw themselves and their homes in the manga. It was so shocking that they hadn't woken up from shock yet. In a wooden house, the voices of a newborn baby sounded. The mother has died, I'm sorry. The doctor and midwife came out with sad expressions, leaving the green-haired girl who was still crying in the shocked man's arms. I've decided. Since fate willed it, your name will be Makino, my sweet little girl. You will be the inheritor of the daddy's business in the future. You must be strong. Daddy is apologizing because it doesn't look like I'm going to live with you long after your mommy is gone too. The man seemed to be several years old in moments, as he turned his gaze away from the corpse of the green-haired woman and looked at his child who had just been born. Next to the woman who had just died was a manga book open to a page in which a beautiful young woman appeared who seemed to be an exact copy of the woman who had just died. This was the birthing moment of a character from the manga, which unfortunately Rob didn't attend it because he was busy as hell. What the residents of East Blue didn't know until now is that manga of One Piece has become popular in the other 3 seas as well, not just their East Sea. But they will soon know when East Blue begins to receive people from the 4 seas who were affected by the story of One Piece and wanted to see up close the places where the protagonists of their story went. And these things have already begun, but they are on a small, unobservable scale so far. In less than 2 months since Rob started creating One Piece manga, the Straw Hat Pirates have become famous in the 4 seas. Even the Navy branches of the 4 seas are beginning to learn about the ubiquitous mystery stores that sell manga books and allow the blind to regain their sight within the walls of the store. The pirates' ideas promoted in this fantasy book were causing them some inconvenience. After all, Rob has begun to implement his grandiose plan to conquer the 4 seas with the manga. Within a week he had opened a large number of art stores on many islands across the 4 seas. For him, navigating among 4 seas was as easy as wandering in his back garden. The art stores that he opened in West Blue are the Art Store O'Hara, which serves as its main base in West Blue, the Art Store Frisia. Frisia Island is an island adjacent to O'Hara located in the far northeast of O'Hara. This was the island that Robin first arrived at after her escaping the Navy in future events. The Art Store Elysia. The Kingdom of Elysia is a kingdom belonging to the world government, and Rob decided to put the art store in it because it is one of the largest and most populous kingdoms in West Blue. Rob had to use violence and intimidate the king of the kingdom in order to open his store here. The royal family was too arrogant. The art store Ballywood. Ballywood Kingdom is also a kingdom under the world government. Rob decided to open his store here for the same reason. Here, too, he had to show his strength and make the king shrink from fear. The art store Kano. The Kano country is the home of the Chinjao family, which is why Rob opened his art store here. He didn't find it difficult to open the store here because the Chinjao family was currently in the Grand Line. The art stores that he opened in South Blue. The art store Baitrilla, Rob's main base in South Blue also. The art store Sorbet. Sorbet's kingdom is a kingdom under the world government. Rob decided to open his art store here because its current king is Bartholomew Kuma. Young Kuma was an art lover, so he immediately accepted Rob's proposal to set up his art store when he visited his kingdom, and even he prepared a banquet for Rob which Rob was pleased to take part in. The art store Torino, an island ruled by indigenous peoples with primitive looks. Rob chose this island not only because it appeared in the manga but because he wanted to have these skilled doctors on his side, so he made his store items completely free for these people who look like the Mayan people. The art store Karate Island. Rob opened his art store here only because it's a popular spot in South Blue. The art stores that he opened in East Blue. The art store Kokoyasi. Kokoyasi village is only one of the 20 small islands within the Kanamai archipelago, and this art store is the main base of Rob in East Blue. The art store Fuchsia. Rob finally got the courage to open his art store on Dawn Island, because the most powerful person in the world had already discovered his manga, so he had no qualms about going forward and making the world ablaze even more. He's already completely on the world government's radar now, including the hidden big boss the art store Grey Terminal, the second store that Rob opened on the Dawn Island. Because of the poverty of this place, he decided to sell manga for free in this store. When he first appeared here he was like a god to these homeless poor. Because of his benevolent nature he decided to leave one food vending machine for free use for them. For this reason, Rob was so respected in the hearts of these poor people. The art store Syrup Village is one of the 13 small islands within the Gecko archipelago. Rob was surprised to see the young Usopp and also Usopp's young mother in the crowd who gathered at his store after he opened it for the first time here. He also got to know Kaya's parents who were the richest people on this island. The art store Logetown, the big town on Polestar Island. Rob chose this place due to its dense population. The art store Shimatsuki. Rob decided to open his 50876/100000 for the next upgrade. Plus 64-dimensional art store. Art stores available to use, 2193. Unlocked feature at level 5, Customer Entitlement. Customer Entitlement. Anything purchased from the art store will belong to the customer only. If stolen it will automatically return to the customer. Unlocked feature at level 6, Video Projection. Video projection. From now on the host can use one of the art store beacon properties as a live TV. Any place that has an art store will act as a TV station itself. You can display whatever you want through a huge hologram screen that everyone in the place can see. That's so fucking amazing. Looking at the backlog of system updates that he hadn't had time to see until now, Rob cried out in awe. From the moment he received this notice and was insanely busy, he had to start his plan early just because of him. In the space of a week, Rob traveled from island to island and set a record that no one in this world could achieve, all thanks to the teleportation from art stores that made it easier that to him. This was the damned notification. Ding! Plus 10.000 art points from the World King. I'm. Chapter 30 Saving the Tragic Don Quixote Family. The Rob observation Haki was covering all of Fallen Noble Island at the moment. Although he opened his store here, unusually, it didn't attract as much attention at first as the rest of the other islands, because this kingdom contains many factories and work facilities in which the inhabitants of this island work. That's why Rob went out for a little wandering in this place that was the source of everything from the story of Heavenly Yakka Doflamingo. He was not surprised when he noticed the Don Quixote family being bullied all the time by everyone who sees them. They were, after all, celestial dragons who had waived their rights. It's really good that they're alive so far. Who were the celestial dragons? They were the creatures most hated by the inhabitants of this world. Hate was so great that it became an innate feeling that developed in human genes through generations and became human nature. Yes, hating and loathing celestial dragons had become human nature in this world. This is normal, given that celestial dragons consider humans even less than cattle. Now that he is here he will find a solution to remove these pests from this world. The days continued to go by as the suffering of the Don Quixote family continued to grow more violent, as at first, the angry civilians were reticent as they tested the waters. They still had a fear of the admiral appearing and killing them all. But with time this fear eased and the suffering of the Don Quixote family increased. Rob watched all this from afar. He was waiting for the right time to act, as he had already decided to save the Don Quixote family. Only when he noticed that Doflamingo's mother was already getting sick and was going to die if she didn't get treatment, did he finally decide to intervene. Bastards of celestial dragons, today I will return all the humiliation my daughter suffered until her death to you. I swear I will make your lives like hell. Me too, I will avenge my son. My child was just a little child. Why did you take him from me? Why? My sister didn't do anything wrong other than to breathe without asking the celestial dragon. Why did she have to die because of that? I will kill you, I will kill the celestial dragon today. People continued to scream out their grievances to the Don Quixote family, who are already being beaten and kicked. Please, just hit me, they're just kids, and she's just a weak woman. Please. Don Quixote homing was already at the end of his thoughts, though in great pain he still wanted to take all the beating for his children and his wife. Will he say he doesn't regret his decision to get off Mary Giose now? Of course, he regretted it a lot. If he had the chance he would have wanted to return, but he knows that it is already too late for regret. Tears kept falling from his eyes like a torrent as he watched his wife, the dearest to him, and his children being violently beaten and protecting her 2 children despite the severe pain she was feeling, even though she was very sick. Please, I beg you, have mercy on my family, have mercy on my family. You can kill me if you want, just have mercy on my family. Little Doflamingo, who was crying in pain, stared at his father with hateful looks as he heard his pleading like a bitch. Just why do I have a father like this? Little Rosinante hugged his mother and cried non-stop. Don't be afraid. Cough. Cough. Mama is here, no one will harm you. Cough. Dot. The health status of Don Quixote matriarch, Doflamingo's mother, was getting worse after a lot of beatings. Please, someone, save us. Don Quixote homing couldn't stand seeing his family being abused anymore and screamed for help. No one can save you. Just go to hell. Who would want to save demons like you? If someone else comes here, it will be because he wanted to participate in your hit, scum of the celestial dragons. That's enough. Only when the Don Quixote family lost all hope and allowed these human beasts to beat them to death. A powerful voice resounded in the area like a sledgehammer, shattering the arrogance of the angry civilians and making their hot blood turn cold. Hiding and harming children and weak women, are you even human? The breath of voice came back with even more terrifying force than before. There was clearly anger lurking within that voice. Out of the clouds, a 1,000-meter-long eastern dragon emerged, glaring at the crowd with a look that made people's legs soft. The majestic dragon was just a paper dragon, but it looked like a real dragon. Its color was azure, the dragon's mustaches and the dragon's horns looked more magnificent than anything else. It looked like a fleeing dragon from the Xiangxia novel. Above the paper dragon's head, Rob stood with an angry look on his face as he looked at the innocent family that had been severely beaten. His anger almost turned into a tangible and stifling force. The true celestial dragon has come. Chapter 31 Awakening the Conqueror Haki and Getting a Disciple. Who are you? Why do you want to defend the scum of the celestial dragons? We are not afraid of you. Yes, we will definitely take our revenge. Silence. I am the king here, no one has the right to speak in my presence. As soon as he said that, a tyrannical aura scattered from Rob, but its scope didn't reach the ground, which was why the people present didn't faint. Once he confessed his qualifications as king, Rob officially awakened the Conqueror Haki. This was a great harvest for him, but he was in no mood to celebrate. If he didn't appear to these people that they were wrong, he would have wasted his great entry for nothing. Although his royal haki didn't faint them because it didn't hit them, the mere effect of his haki made them shiver in fear and not dare to speak again. This person riding that giant, legendary dragon-like beast was so frightening. He made them powerless to do anything just by his presence. When the beatings finally stopped crushing their bodies, the Don Quixote family could finally breathe, and they finally saw the face of the person who had saved them. Thank you, generous benefactor, for saving my family. Don Quixote Homing spoke with extremely sincere gratitude at this moment. He himself had not expected any rescue when he screamed out for help. Young Doflamingo and Rosinante stopped crying and looked in awe at the man standing on the dragon. The pathetic woman was also able to take a break and look at the person who had intervened to save her family at their worst. Don Quixote Matriarch was deeply grateful to this man. How are you different from the scum of celestial dragons in this case? Can you take a look back at the people you've been beating up all along? Because of their fear of this man, they were listening to his words instinctively. Two young children no more than 10 years old, a weak woman suffering from disease, a weak and decrepit man trying to protect his family very hard. This was the picture in front of them. The emotional men and women among the crowd felt some remorse at this moment. But there are those who feel nothing but more hatred. I only see the scum of celestial dragons. What the hell do you want to show us? Aren't the celestial dragons the celestial dragons? They are from the same clan as my innocent daughter's killers. I will never forgive the celestial dragons. The crowd's angry cries rose again, and this time even Rob was puzzled about how to make these people feel remorse. Homing and the matriarch both felt despair at this moment. Only now did they know how impossible their previous thoughts were. Coexisting with humans that had been suppressed by celestial dragons for generations was not something that could be done easily. Although they were celestial dragons, this family is not really like other celestial dragons. They are peaceful and friendly and free from any sense of arrogance and contempt towards you. You guys punished the wrong people. I am not telling you to leave your hatred for the celestial dragons, but do not leave your human conscience. Who are you to say that they are not like other celestial dragons? The man with a deep hatred for celestial dragons walked out of the crowd and asked Rob boldly. I am something too big for a mob character like you to know. Rob's stare made the blood in the brave man's body cool. The man felt the air around him become as sharp as swords. One movement from him and he would just become slices. Do you all want to know who I am? Yes. We want to know. Tell us. I am just a new investor in this kingdom. Now you all can get out of front of me. The Eastern Dragon disappeared from the bottom of Rob's feet and transformed into two huge wings on his back. Rob began to descend downwards near the Don Quixote family. The first person to run away was the man who had been threatened under the sharp sword intent. But the others didn't want to go. They still wanted to teach the celestial dragons a lesson, so Rob couldn't take them anymore and sent them flying with an attack like a paper river. He didn't kill them, but he hurt them like hell so that they no longer had the courage to come back. Thank you very much, benefactor, for saving my family. I don't know how to return this favor. Please accept my humble bow. Cough. Thank you, for saving my children. Please accept my humble bow as well. Cough. Rob didn't stop them from expressing their gratitude but still came forward to examine the sick woman in front of him. You need urgent treatment. Your condition is very bad. No problem. I am not a person who tolerates injustice. Although I hate celestial dragons, it is clear that you do not resemble celestial dragons in any way. Homing and Matriarch were delighted that they had finally met someone who didn't hate them and understood them and was willing to save them. After a long conversation with the spouses about the health of the sick woman, Rob notices little Doflamingo, who looks at him with a burning look, and little Rosinante, who looks at him with a shy look while hiding behind his mother's leg. Hey kids, don't worry. From now on I'll make sure none of you get hurt. Rob was planning to take them to O'Hara. The potential of a character like Doflamingo was very strong. It would be a valuable asset if he succeeded in making him be grateful for him and work for him. How did you get this strong? I want to be strong too. Doffy, don't ask the benefactor such questions. You shut up. The young Doflamingo shouted at his father in a loud voice, evidently holding great resentment towards him. Dinky Hody Homing froze and felt sad knowing that he had lost his son's trust. His son hated him. Don't worry, sir, that's not a problem for me. Rob approached little Doflamingo and bowed slightly. What's your name, boy? Don Quixote Doflamingo. Why do you want strength? so that I would not be subjected to the same humiliation that I suffered today, and crush anyone who dares to hurt me or my mother and my little brother. A powerful aura of conqueror haki shot out from the kid Doflamingo as soon as he finished answering. His answer was full of willpower. The mother, the father, and little Rosinante fainted because of Doflamingo's conqueror haki. Rob is surprised by the strength of Doflamingo's will that has been able to motivate the awakening of the conqueror haki. Paper condensed into a giant hand and picked up the father, mother, and child who had passed out before falling to the ground. Good, I will teach you how to be strong. Will you follow me, boy? Doflamingo is surprised to see his family fall unconscious but is even more surprised by the fact that the other party has offered to teach him. Would you cure my mother if I followed you? Well, I can do that. I agree. Good, can you wait here with your family? I won't be late, I'll just clean up some trash. Chapter 32 First Blood. Damn it, where did that bastard come from? Any. Our plans are in vain, where are we going to find a candidate like this kid now? A group of 3 people and 1 kid were observing the situation from afar. They had watched everything that had happened up until now, and had not expected such an undesirable shift in their plans. These people were the officers of the Don Quixote pirates in the original story, Treble, Diamante, Pica, and Virgo, but they had the misfortune to run into Rob in this timeline and it caused their plans and dreams to be sabotaged. Treble is the mastermind of everything that has happened to the Doflamingo family so far and Rob has known this the whole time. Was it fun watching from afar for you guys? Rob appeared behind the 4 who were hiding in an alley. You are. Who are you, Any? Don't play the fool in front of me. I already know you were the one playing the strings from the start. Rob was so calm, that his calmness makes this little gang fear him even more than they really are. Huh? What do you mean? I don't understand anything of what you're saying. My time is too precious to waste on you. Rob Surgery took out and sent out an ordinary chopping blow that split an entire row of abandoned houses in this neighborhood. Boom! More than 10 houses were divided in such a smooth manner, that the eyeballs of the gang almost fell from this scene. Wah! What do you want, Any? Only now Treble realized that his meager strength would not work with this person who was clearly on another level altogether. I want the ito no mi fruit. I won't repeat myself, I'm a busy person, I already know it's with you. If you don't take it out now, you will die. I don't give second chances. Treble and Diamante froze in shock when they heard Rob's words. How does he know about the ito no mi fruit? Only they both know this secret? This is unreasonable. Ito no mi. It seems you're wrong, sir. We really don't have such a thing and Treble didn't even finish his words and saw the last scene of his life. The last thing he saw was the ground approaching in his sight at great speed before his head rolled into the ground. Treble. Big brother? You killed my big brother, Pika. The kid Virgo froze in horror at the scene. Treble's body fell to the ground with a bloody spurt from his severed neck. I already told you I'm not giving you a second chance. Now it's your turn, will you tell me where the devil fruit is or will you die? Rob pointed his sword at Diamante this time. As soon as he saw the frightening black blade heading towards him, Diamante's back became cold from sweat. I'll tell you, please remove your sword. Now, go move. Rob is back at the Don Quixote family again. I see you guys are awake. Since you are awake already that's well, okay, follow me. Rob already had the ito no mi fruit in his inventory at this moment. As for Diamante, Pica, and Virgo, he sent them away. After all, Virgo and Pica were just kids. He would never kill kids. As for Diamante, there was no point in killing him or not, so he let him go. You have come, benefactor? We don't know your name yet. Homing and his wife were embarrassed because they hadn't asked for the name of their savior earlier. You can call me Rob, I am your son Daffy's teacher. Since you have nowhere to live I will take you to a suitable place, but you have to keep your identity as celestial dragons a secret, okay? Yes, Mr. Rob, we are so grateful for your generosity. I really can't find enough words to express my great gratitude to you. Don Quixote Homing was feeling immensely happy right now. Even his wife returned a little color to her pale face because of her happiness. Little Doflamingo's expression was still as stiff as it had been. Rob had always been curious about what kind of eyes were hiding behind the glasses, but he would satisfy his curiosity later. Unlike Doflamingo, Rosinante was very happy but nevertheless didn't gain the courage to speak out due to his shyness. The group arrived at the art store building which was crowded with people outside. Rob wasn't surprised by this, but to the Don Quixote family it was a really big surprise. Even a frozen Doflamingo was dumbfounded for a moment. Why are you standing there? Come on, this is my shop. The people nearby gave way to Rob and his group as soon as he saw him. They recognized the legendary store owner after all, as he did his usual speech to these people when the store opened earlier. The real shock was waiting for the Don Quixote family inside the store. Chapter 33 Cure Disease of Don Quixote Matriarch. Since they were celestial dragons in the past and had lived in domain of the gods and Mary Gosa, seeing the wonderful building didn't really have much effect on them. Especially Don Quixote Homing. He was more familiar with the wonders of this world. It was not surprising that there were powers that could make the space inside a building very spacious compared to the actual size of the building, so he wasn't much affected by this fact despite his admiration for the design of the art store. But what really caught the attention of the Don Quixote family were the murals of the Straw Hat Pirates that adorned every place in the store, as well as what was being sold in this store. Mom, can I have those books too? For the first time, Rob heard Rosinante's voice. We don't have the money. Cough. For that. I'll get them for you later. Before the father could speak, Rob interrupted them. I'll give them to you for free. Rob waved his hand and the 4 volumes of One Piece flew to Rosinante, who quickly picked them up. When Rob saw the angry expression on Doflamingo, he gave him the One Piece volumes too. Save them for later. Now follow me. It's time to leave this place. Rob moved with the Don Quixote family to his personal section of the store, exactly the teleportation room. The couple and their 2 children felt the world was getting too bright before everything was back to normal. We have arrived, let's go. The group followed behind Rob in a state of confusion. Where did they arrive? Obviously, they are still in the same room. The real surprise was when they walked out of the art store and saw the green world around them. They were absolutely stunned. Welcome to O'Hara, in the West Blue. Sweetheart, did you miss me? Rob was currently at home with his wife. Yes, I missed you so much. Of course, she'll miss him. He's been away from her for about a week. This week made her realize how in love she was to him. She missed his pampering, his warm cuddles, his safe scent, and most of all, those wild nights she was already addicted to. Me too, my love. I really had no choice. I was busy as hell. For Rob, last week was the worst he's ever been through in this world. The non-stop commuting from island to island was really stressful. But now he can finally take a break and enjoy his last sexual session with his wife before the pause. After all, today was the end of the first month of pregnancy and tomorrow was the beginning of the second month. Rob and Olvia had to stop so they wouldn't harm the baby. And so the couple had a date with a more tumultuous night than usual. The next morning, Rob reunited with the Don Quixote family. The family was having a very fun day on O'Hara Island. Yesterday when he told them that they had been teleported from one sea to another by the ability of a devil fruit, they easily accepted the truth. After all, they were more familiar with devil fruits than ordinary people. Rob doesn't know how they'd react if they knew they weren't teleported by a space ability devil fruit. Rob bought a house in Knowledge Village from Professor Clover and gave it to the family to live in, and this made the family many times more grateful to Rob. Their gratitude was really too great, even Doflamingo felt warmth from his teacher's generosity. Olvia and Matriarch become friends after Rob introduces them to each other. The Don Quixote family was surprised by the fact that their benefactor was a married man, but that was fine. Perhaps the 2 families would become related in future generations. Olvia was happy after learning that her husband had saved Matriarch's family. She felt proud to have such a good husband. Matriarch was also taken to the hospital in O'Hara Town, but there was no improvement in her health. That's why Rob promised them yesterday to take them to the right place for the Matriarch cure. Are you ready? The round trip will be easy, but you may need to stay for a while if the health of the Miss Matriarch is more serious. Yes, Mr. Rob, we are already ready. Don Quixote Homing was the most excited now. After all, he cared most about his wife's illness. If she were to recover, it would be the happiest event of his life. Even Doflamingo was happy, but he is very good at hiding his feelings. The group moved from the O'Hara art store to the Torino art store in South Blue. Senior Rob is back. What? It's really Senior Rob, the great store owner, and a strange group of guests. As soon as Rob and the group appeared, they were surrounded by a group of people who appeared almost naked. All they were wearing was clothes that concealed their lower areas and chests in the case of women. They were a group of indigenous people on this secluded island. Yes, guys, I'm back because I need your urgent help. Of course, we will help Senior Rob. Just tell us what you want and we'll do it for you. The old chief of the tribe stepped forward and gave the initiative to accept Rob's favor even before he asked for it. After all, it was Rob who helped them get rid of the huge birds problem, and not only that, but he opened his divine store here where he introduced a new world to these closed people. In their hearts, Rob was equal to the status of a divine being, so they called him Senior Rob. Thank you guys, my friend Matriarch is sick and needs urgent treatment, so I brought her to you. You have come to the right place. Since she is from the people of Senior Rob, we will definitely cure her. Chapter 34 The Negative Effect. The piracy is a way of life. Rob left the Don Quixote family under the care of the Torino people and he returned to O'Hara. He knew very well those people's medicine skills, so he wasn't worried too much. Perhaps in this world, only Dr. Kuroha can she surpass them. Even his comrade in the crew, Crocus, he can't compare to them. This was the kind of confidence he had in these primitive people. Meanwhile, the art points kept raining Rob from everywhere within the 4 seas, but a special notice really piqued Rob's interest. Ding! Plus 1000 art point from Ishao. In the art store Elysia, located in the kingdom of Elysia within the Western Blue. Inside the store's trendy tavern was a young man who looked the same age as Rob, who was enjoying the 4th volume of Manga One Piece while drinking his favorite caramel-flavored coffee. The man had 2 scars running across both of his eyes which caused him to lose his sight. But the strange thing is that his eyes, which used to darkness after he blinding themselves 5 years ago, miraculously regained their light now. This blind youth was Ishao, the future Admiral Fujitora. Ho ho ho, to think that Sanji he would be that weak in front of women, what a shame, what a shame. Huh, but Nami is a really seductive demon. This talented cook has met his weak point. I'm really interested in seeing this Don Krieg who his subordinate says is the strongest of the seas. Could he be stronger than me? I'm really interested. Ha, it turns out he's just a prankster. What a joke. Just from the looks of him he looks so weak. Oh, Nami-san, why are you betraying the crew? My heart can't handle it. Ah, this is called strong. This Mihawk, I admit, is worthy of the title of the strongest swordsman. Oh, Zoro is really pathetic, but his will is strong. Gone Bear, keep working hard, I believe you will get where you want. At first, when Ishao, who came to West Blue, heard that there were mysterious buildings called art store that allowed the person who entered them to regain their sight, he felt it was just a joke. But when he kept hearing the same thing over and over again, he got suspicious of it. At first he came here to find a fun gamble, but he didn't expect to meet something like this. Since he blinded himself 5 years ago, he wasn't used to it yet. If he didn't have a strong talent for observation haki and this talent continued to climb stronger and stronger, he would have lived a life so difficult for him that it would be impossible for him to live a normal life. If there was a place where he could regain his sight even temporarily, he would definitely visit. Who doesn't want to see the light again? He was just a human? He blinded his eyes off because he didn't want to see the injustice of the world. But he still wanted his eyesight back if it would allow him to see a wonderful world like the one he's living in now. Ishao's face had been showing joy the entire time since he entered this amazing place. This place was better than any casino or bar he'd been to before. This was his true paradise? The matter of him getting his sight back now was just a small matter when compared to the real deal. What this divine store was selling was the real deal that caught Ishao's entire attention. Ishao was disappointed when he had no chapters left to read. This place really is a paradise for someone like me. Ishao has seen people like him who can't see with smiles on their faces eating food bought from vending machines or reading manga books. The smile on the young man's face became even larger. I really want to see the person who created this place before I leave so I can thank him for letting me see the light again. And also to ask him when the next book will be released. Across the 4 seas, many little pirates who look like the Straw Hats have appeared, causing a lot of trouble to the branches of the Navy. Although they only play the role of pirates and are not far from their homes, this still causes trouble for the Navy. The problem is that even adults are friendly with this kind of pseudo-pirate. Piracy has become a way of life in the 4 seas. The 4 seas are burning with enthusiasm to go to sea and explore the One Piece. And there are even those who have had a lot of courage to try to gather a real crew and leave for the Grand Line in order to find the One Piece. These were people who had devil fruit abilities or some strength. Of course, what is happening in the 4 seas wasn't hidden from the eyes of the headquarter. Fuck. Fleet Admiral Kong turned off Den Den Mushi's phone and hit his desk hard. What is happening in the 4 seas caused him a great headache. It's all because of those damn stores. Where the hell did that person come from? Rudes D. Rob, the second swordsman in Roger's Pirates, a bounty of 450 million berry. What's his point in going to the 4 seas? Is he really quitting piracy? Fleet Admiral Kong was reading the collected file on Rob when the 5 elders requested him. This man was the most silent of the Roger pirates, not as visible as the rest of the crew, so it turns out he's been building a trading empire in the 4 seas all this time and has been promoting pirate ideas through his books. Damn you, what a complex and difficult subject to solve. The ubiquitous art stores, most of which had yet to be identified, were torturing the world government. Chapter 35. What's scary about the Grand Line? I came into this world to make it blaze. The problem is not here. The real problem was that the 5 elders ordered him to never interfere in this matter. Just let him do whatever he wants as long as he doesn't enter the Grand Line. This was the order of the 5 elders when he called to inform them of the disturbing situation the 4 seas was experiencing. Well, he couldn't disobey the orders of the 5 elders anyway, so he could just swallow the grievances and sit idly by. Strange, why would the 5 elders not want to interfere in this matter? Isn't talking about One Piece a taboo for them? This guy is not only talking about One Piece, he is publicly promoting it. Allowing him to continue with this is no different than giving a gun to a child. That's really weird. On the desk of the Fleet Admiral was the 4th volume of the manga One Piece open to the last page. When Sanji, who chose to sail with Luffy, cries while bidding farewell to the owner, Zeph, and his comrades cooks. Even a Fleet Admiral known for his stern temper couldn't say he didn't like this book. But that doesn't mean he can't smell danger from him. Yo, Fleet Admiral-san. Sniff, sniff, I smell something delicious here. Garp, you bastard? Who let you in here? Didn't you say you were going to see your village today? In O'Hara's art store, Rob would spend most of his time composing new volumes, and the pleasure he found in this work was so great. Although it cannot be compared to the pleasure of sleeping with his wife, it is still a close second. Since he received the system's notification that Ishao, Fleet Admiral Kong, and some other characters had read his manga, he became even more excited to draw more. He has even started composing another manga, but he won't be publishing them anytime soon. But this manga has to wait until he makes his next bold move. Rob was not so stupid for to spread his stores on the 4 seas like a virus for no reason. From the moment he received notice, he not only felt scared but also excited. So many art points meant one thing. He's got a huge fan. Big shot as a fan. What does this mean? This means that the other party is interested in the manga and wants to read more? If the king of this world wants to read more manga, he will give him more. Rob didn't care about the reason of I'm to related with his manga, whether he was bored of life or something else. For Rob it didn't matter. What really matters to Rob is that this means that he will get a free period of protection, as long as I'm orders the 5 elders not to interfere in his affairs. This was what gave Rob the courage to go far in his plans. The current wave he had caused in the 4 seas was known to a few people on the Grand Line, including the Navy and the world government. After all, nothing can be hidden from their eyes. If he can't hide anything, he will only let them see everything. Why does he need to be afraid? He needs more EXP points to level up the system? He was even planning something so explosive that what he had done before would be so small and insignificant. What's so scary about the Grand Line? I came to this world to make it blaze. Since the king of this world wants to read my manga, I will bring him closer to it than ever. And I don't need any thanks. Rob was really planning to blow it up this time. He will go so far that it is unimaginable what he intends to do at the moment. But if his bold move succeeds, the benefits will also be unimaginable. Since he had a lot of stores to update in, the work he had to do increased, but his paper fruit level had become so good that the production speed couldn't be compared to theirs in the beginning. He can now copy 10,000 manga volumes in 5 minutes. Thanks to this speed, he was able to keep up with the mass production he had to produce and spread it among the many stores across the 4 seas. An hour ago he had already done the weekly update for One Piece manga. He had published over 20,000 volumes for each of his 21 stores. He published the arc that made readers across the 4 seas explode with all kinds of emotions. For the first time, readers felt a kind of emotion they hadn't felt before in One Piece. Absolute sadness, the hatred, and an adrenaline rush. It was the 5th volume of the manga One Piece, Arlong Park arc. Within an hour, manga sales soared through the roof, breaking the 100,000 mark for the first time in this world. The system level has risen again as well. The system was now at level 7. Rob was excited to see what kind of advantage he would get at this level. After all, the previous feature made him excited to start turning the One Piece manga into an anime. Congratulations on upgrading the system. Level 7 of the system, 1000/500,000 for the next upgrade. Plus 9-dimensional art store, 100 art store is the upper limit in the first 10 levels. Art stores available to use, 21/100. Unlocked feature at level 7, Divine Protection. Divine Protection, a true fan of the host's art can get protection from the art store he purchases from. When he is in life-threatening danger because of the host's art, he will be teleported to the art store, no matter where he is. This is it. That's what I'm talking about. What a great advantage. Rob almost screams out of excitement. Chapter 36, Arlong Park Arcade causing a stir? Roger's crew in Baitrilla. /n all the grievances that have accumulated in the hearts of readers thus far throughout this arc have been deflated with this punch. The readers felt their blood boil at this moment. This scene was more than words can describe. The greatest ever. This arc was really bad for the reputation of the fishmen and the Navy. It could be said that they were simply destroyed. Even the readers themselves didn't know why they hated the Navy and the race of fishmen. But if you ask a random person from the 4 seas, he will tell you that they caused pain to their beloved Nami. The full Nami past was shown, and this had a particularly great effect on the people of Kokoyasi village. The effect was so great that the people of Kokoyasi village were horrified if this would happen to them in the future. Will the Arlong pirates come to their village in the future? It was something written by the angel himself. It's not fun anymore. They appeared in the book after all. They were directly related to the Straw Hat Pirates in the book. Nami was one of the residents of Kokoyasi village. Not only that, but she had to become a pirate to liberate their village. She was stealing from pirates to free their village from the Arlong pirates. Now they know why Nami hates pirates, so that's why. No, they were the reason. In a wooden house far from the homes of the other villagers. The sounds of crying continued to echo in this small house. Young Belmere was crying heartily as her waterfall-like tears fell on the manga folder, but the volume book didn't get it wet or hurt at all. Ever since she started reading this book, she can't stop crying no matter how hard she tries. She had seen her entire future after all, only now did she know why she was feeling such an unusual intimacy with Nami. That was her future daughter. The daughter who was raised by herself? Arlong? I swear that if you appear in front of me in this life, I will kill you with everything I have before I die. It seemed as if Belmere she was possessed by some kind of rabid spirit at this moment. Her hatred for the fishmen and the marine escalated and went over the roof. Everything she saw in the manga was real. She had no idea that this was just a fantasy at all. Just like everyone else in her village, they now really believed in the angel story Rob had told them before. In Belmere's eyes, Rob was truly an angel from heaven who had come to tell them the future. In the case of Belmere, her future was very tragic. Belmere's eyes were red from the many tears that had fallen from her eyes this day. Maybe I should accept the kindness of the store owner and become his younger sister. Perhaps if she becomes a friend of that person, she can survive her bleak future? She didn't really know how to describe her inner feeling at the moment, but she wanted to find someone to dump her grievances on, and Rob was the closest person she could think of. Her feelings and thoughts were in a chaotic state. This chapter made her mature by several years from her boyish state. She watched her dream of becoming a naval admiral turn into a joke in the future, as she didn't even reach the rank of her late father. What is worse is that she didn't have the necessary strength to protect her village in a time of real crisis. What was devastating to her dream and literally made her feel cold water pouring over her was how the Navy colluded with the pirates and took the money of her daughter who had been working hard to collect them. Her faith was broken at that very moment. Not only that, but she was murdered by Arlong, and her daughter Nami was used to become a member of his pirates by force in order to draw him the maps. It was a very bad future for her. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want it. If this is the future she has to live, she will fight fate to change it. No, I have to find him. Only he can help me. Belmere removed her navy clothes and threw them away as if she didn't care about that dream anymore. She put on feminine clothes and walked out of the house. Her destination was the art store. Along the way, the villagers gave her sad looks as if her future was touching them as well, but no one could come forward to talk to her at this moment except for one person. Belmere-chan, don't worry, I will protect you in the future. Protect yourself first so that your body will not be disfigured by Arlong. Belmere continued walking without even looking back, but she stopped abruptly. But thank you for your kindness, Genzo. I really appreciate it, both in the present and in the future. Belmere smiled before continuing on her way to look for Rob. Young Genzo stood freezing in place, his feelings were mixed at the moment. On the same day when the 5th volume was released, which caused an emotional storm across the 4 seas, a majestic ship approached the island of Baitrilla. The appearance of this ship caused everyone who saw its flag to urinate on themselves with pure terror. The unlucky pirates who came across this ship madly ran away so as not to die a miserable death, and the people on the merchant ships who came across this ship on their journey froze in fear, or away from the cruel hands of the world. This is the reality of this world that is hidden behind the gentle facade of the anime. In this real world, the simplest wish of ordinary people is to live well. The extremely inexpensive and entertaining manga Rob was a new world and a way of life that Rob had brought into the bleak world of these ordinary people that no one had thought of before. Even the fierce pirates have become meeker after getting to know the One Piece manga. Rob had been receiving a lot of art points notifications from the many ferocious pirates of the 4 seas throughout the previous days. Because the art stores punished some of these pirate rioters, the number of rioters has decreased. After all, no one wants to be deprived of the One Piece manga. Since Rob was the only person selling manga, he took control of everything about it. From the money to the good audience opinions, and controlling public opinion, he was the boss of the new market he invented. No one could compete with him in this regard. Only if the world government wanted to create its own manga story as well, maybe they could compete with him a little bit. This time Rob had another purpose in coming to Logetown, also known as East Blue's endpoint. He was planning to visit the Grand Line. It's okay if his entry into the Grand Line is not detected by the world government, is it? Since it's okay, he'll do it. After he was done wandering around the fun town because of the art store, Rob flew into the sky and his destination was the Reverse Mountain. The entrance to the Grand Line? Rob soared into the sky and turned almost invisible, as he used a color that matches the color of the sky with his paper body and flew haughtily. No one would be able to see him unless it explored the sky with its observing haki. Rob kept flying and quickly crossed the Reverse Mountain and entered the Grand Line. Rob felt a tangible change in the atmosphere around him. For a moment he thought as if he had entered another world. Rob saw Laboon, which started to look like a big whale bitly without any scars on its head. After all, Crocus has yet to return to tell him the shocking truth about the death of the Rumber pirates. He knows about Laboon from his memories in the manga and also from the previous Rob. After all, Crocus travels on the ship with them because he wants to find the remains of the Rumber pirates, all in order to stop this cute whale's rampage. Although Crocus had never told him about Laboon, but he once accidentally overheard him asking Rayleigh about the Rumber pirates, and then told Rayleigh and Roger about the story of the loyal whale, who is loyal to his friends and is still waiting for their return. Rob sighed and continued his journey toward the front. Rob doesn't really want to get too involved in the plot, so that keeps a few key events intact. Unfortunately, Rob doesn't know that in the near future he will get in a lot of trouble because of this whale. Rob continued his journey following the log pose he had bought from Logetown, the destination of the log pose being the first island on the Grand Line, Whiskey Peak. But of course, Rob won't open his secret art store in an environment full of bounty hunters. It wouldn't be called a secret store anymore if he did. In that place, he will find his way to the next island where his true target will be. Time passed and Rob could finally see the features of Whiskey Peak Island. He was still in the sky as he used the observation haki to find out where someone selling log poses was in that place. In the end, he manages to locate this and does some disguise by fiddling with the papers before heading to the person selling the log poses. Rob wanted a very rare and eternal log pose, which would lead to Little Garden Island. Unfortunately, he didn't find it at this seller but got information about it after he offered 1 million berries as commission. After a little trouble, he managed to get it from one of the bounty hunters on the island, although it was done by force, but he succeeded anyway. After obtaining the eternal log pose, Rob didn't put time on Whiskey Peak anymore and flew to the next island. Little Garden? This was a semi-island cut off from the world. After all, it could only be reached by luck if an eternal log pose wasn't available to record its coordinates. After hours of flying fast, Rob made it to the Little Garden Island, which looked like an ancient land from the primeval times of the world. Rob has always been curious about this island and why everything around this island is so late for the world. The reason Rob decided to open an art store here was to build a good relationship with the giant race and also create a secret burrow to escape if one day he needed to. Even before he descends on the island, notice the two giants fighting each other in devastating combat? Apparently, I've arrived at the wrong time. Chapter 38 Brogy and Dory Amazement? Geigia? You're so fun little human, to think that you can even withstand that attack without you get unharmed. Rob smiled as he listened to Giant Dory's praise. When Rob came to Little Garden for the first time, he stayed hidden in the sky near the battlefield of the giants. He was really impressed by the intensity of their fight. A slash full of swordsman's strength eventually flew out and Rob noticed it too late. Its size was too big to be unavoidable, so he had to defend himself and reveal himself in the process. The blue slash struck the Surgery sword and sparks flew everywhere. This incident on the side of their battlefield attracted the attention of Dory and Brogy, who stopped fighting and watched intently as the little human sliced Dory's powerful attack in two half. They were so startled by this incident that they started to applaud the little friend's skill. Rob then has got to know Brogy and Dory and becomes their friend, as he is currently taking part in a feast of eating the roasted dinosaur meat Dory had picked up. Rob bought tons of vodka from the system shop, which made the happy mood for both Brogy and Dory and become happier. This was the best kind of wine they had ever drunk. Of course, it will be the best, as it is a modern wine treated with the latest technologies in the field of winemaking, unlike the backward wine of the world of One Piece. Rob quickly devoured the delicious dinosaur meat before getting up and entering the savvy investor mode again. You guys, today I came to this island to set up my art store. Rob explained everything he needed to explain to these giants simply so that they could understand him. He told them that they would be his customers from now on, as he would sell them the entertainment manga for a nominal price, but before that, he gave them a detailed explanation of the manga. As for the source of the money, after all, Brogy and Dory had a lot of hidden treasures on this island left by pirates and people who have been stuck here for 73 years since they came here, so they won't have a problem with the lack of money. He also told them that what he would sell them would be entertainment and much better than their usual fight. The more Brogy and Dory listen, the more excited they become. Who doesn't want to be the size of a normal human and enjoy a new kind of entertainment? They are tired of their monotonous lives for the 7 decades they have lived here. Although 7 decades does not mean much to the giants, it is still a long period. After telling them everything they needed to know, Rob set up his new art store on a flat grassy plain between the two houses of the giants. After he finished making minor adjustments to the store, Rob summoned Dory and Brogy to enter. As soon as Brogy and Dory approached the perimeter of the art store, their bodies began to shrink to the size of a normal human. Everything was surreal to the giants. After all, they were so used to their gigantic size, and suddenly even the trees that were like grass to them before seemed even bigger than them. Gabba-ba-ba-ba? This feeling is amazing. I never thought that there would come a day when I could transform into a little human. Brogy laughed happily while trying to regain his balance as he nearly fell due to his mind not yet being accustomed to the shrinkage process. Gagea? I also hadn't thought of this before. What do you think, Brogy, that we fight in this case, such a small size? I think I'll still be the best? Gagea. When Rob saw that the two were really going to get into a fight, he quickly intervened to stop them. After all, he didn't have all the time to see another endless fight. You guys can fight later, your strength is still the same, only your size has shrunk. The effect of your fight will be devastating to the store. Do you want to destroy your dream store? Rob lied about destroying the store until he managed to convince them not to fight, and as expected, when they heard it they stopped right away. Rob spent the rest of the day enjoying Dory and Brogy's changing expressions and reactions while reading the One Piece manga volumes. The giants' enthusiasm for the story far outstripped even humans. They were a freedom-loving race after all. At the end of the day, Rob became a close friend of the giants and promised to visit them from time to time before using the art store's teleportation room to return to East Blue, exactly the Kokoyasi Village art store. After all, the volume he published was the Arlong Park arc, most of which took place in Kokoyasi Village. Rob was sure that the people of Kokoyasi Village didn't think of the One Piece story as a fantasy anymore, just like the residents of Fuchsia Village, Orange Town, and Syrup Village. The people who had seen themselves so far in the manga One Piece had a subconscious warning in their subconscious that what they saw in this book was what it would actually be like. Just like the unnatural feeling of déjà vu. They all had the same feeling without exception. Even the side characters who represented the villagers and mobs that appeared once had the same feeling. The feeling was telling them that this is what they will be in the future. I went through a lot of examples where the manga book predicted something and it did. For example, in Fuchsia Village, the news of the birth of the beautiful innkeeper Makino had spread like wildfire throughout Dawn Island. Even the people of Goa Kingdom knew that Makino had already been born. Baby Makino became like a treasure to the villagers of Fuchsia Village, and this greatly eased the father's grief at the separation of his wife and made a little desire to live for the sake of his daughter to return to him. The story of little Makino, which she is showered with love by the villagers, will keep waiting for another day. The main reason Rob was sure that the people of Kokoyasi Village would no longer consider the One Piece story as a fairy tale is that the art points given to him by those people who came to believe in the realism of the One Piece manga were much more than the points they provided before they believed in it. For example, the art points that came from Belmere were over 500. Previously, it had barely reached the 100 mark. The same goes for all the residents of Kokoyasi Village and some of the neighboring villages in the Konami archipelago who are mentioned in the arc chapter 39. Belmere gives up her dream in order to become a waitress. Creating manga of One Piece in Pirates World become my ultimate goal. For more advanced chapters, /blackstar_bh. For those who wanted to support me to continue this great book and enjoy the advanced chapters. Why my little Belmere so sad? Rob came near Belmere's table and noticed that she was so engrossed in sad contemplation that she didn't even feel his arrival. Rob, already he knew why she was so sad. He wasn't blind to not see the manga folder on the table. That book was more than just a book. The real future would have been if Rob wasn't in this world. What was depicted in that book is what was really going to happen. Belmere woke up from her stupor and went back to reality after seeing the person she had been waiting for all day had finally arrived. Belmere couldn't stand the turbulent feelings in her heart any longer and hugged Rob, crying heartily and talking almost incomprehensibly. She was like a child who needed to calm down. And that's exactly what Rob did as he calmed her down and gently patted her back. Rob wasn't surprised by this. After all, she was now just a teenage girl of 15 or 16 years old. Seeing her bleak future made her feel very sad. Rob expected that he will be living such moments very much in the future. There will come a day when he will have to comfort his wife, his child, and perhaps all the inhabitants of O'Hara when they see the horrific fate they have suffered in the future. Don't worry, that future won't happen as long as I here. They're just a bunch of homeless fish. Even if they come, I'll cut them all down. The future I'm writing is just around the corner from turning into the past. The real future, I will be the one who writes it, but not with a pen this time but with my own strength. Belmere felt a warmth she had never felt before invade her being as she heard these powerful words. She stopped crying and looked at Rob with her red eyes before starting to list all her grievances like a child in a fit of rage. Rob listens to her grievances seriously. Maybe he'll have a nice little sister today. Belmere had never imagined she had such an ability to speak at such lengthy and non-stop. She told him about all the bad things she had gone through since her father died and left her alone in this world. Rob listened intently because after all, what Belmere was saying at the moment is something not recorded in the manga. He even didn't know the fact that Belmere had only seen her mother in pictures before, as she had died in the process of giving birth. Because of her father's upbringing, she didn't know how to act as a female. She acted like men sometimes. She wasn't originally from the Konami Islands as she and her father, who had received a promotion in the Navy, moved to live here near the base of the Navy branch. Rob also had a lot of information about Belmere's life before this moment. If Rob could describe Belmere's past in one word, he'd say it's frustrated. Since Rob has a photographic memory, he records everything he lived and heard in his memory library. Now Belmere's file in his mind library is completely complete. He knew everything about her. When Belmere has done talking about her frustrating past, she has moved to the part of the future that has yet to come. She has showered Rob with grievances about Arlong and his pirates, the Navy who betrayed her faith, and her two poor daughters, Nami and Nojiko, who lived in agony after her death. I really don't want such a bleak future, Rob-san. I say that you don't have any staff to take care of your tavern here. Will you let me work with you here? I would be a great waitress if you would let me work with you. Belmere's mood changed 180 degrees from a cloudy one to a sunny one, as if she had never been sad before. Rob was surprised by her sudden request. He didn't think she'd want to work in his store. After some thought, Rob understood it a bit. It seemed that she no longer felt an inner safe. Only close to him she could get some safety. Rob sighed and asked a question. What about your dream of becoming a marine admiral? Would you give up on it? When she heard this, her little body trembled slightly, but immediately after that she regained her confidence and said with great determination, my previous faith has already been shattered. I am too weak to be a marine admiral. That's not what I want to hear from you, girl. You're weaker than you were here. Rob pointed to the open folder on a picture of Arlong killing Belmere with bullets. Belmere didn't know what to say at this moment. She had already become weaker in terms of fighting will. A terrifying opponent who was the same fate made her lose the confidence she had. In fact, that's what everyone who knows their future will be like. Rob was not surprised by this much. He certainly wouldn't interfere with Belmere's decision if she wanted to work in his store, and he would be happy about it. But this will not be at the expense of her cowardice, but rather he wants her to be completely convinced of her decision. In the end, after a long discussion between the two, Belmere's confidence came back stronger than it was before, and she thanked Rob profusely for changing her view of reality. However, she still wanted to be a waitress in his store, but this time Rob didn't reject her but rather bought her the latest seductive maid's clothes from the system shop and appointed her as a waitress in all his 21 shops except for the art store in Little Garden, which was a secret store. When Belmere saw the maid's clothes set that Rob had taken out of nowhere, she was so embarrassed and absolutely sure that her boss was a pervert. Pick which one you want. That's your working uniform from now on. I don't want to see you work in my shop in a Navy captain's clothes. Okay. Rob looked at her with a look that said, choose the bunny dress. Belmere's face turned tomato red when she took the maid dress from his hand while she cursing him inwardly with everything she had. The bastard, the pervert, the punk. How can I wear this? Where's the FBI? But even so, she was glad that Rob thought of her as one of his people now, because the moment she was accepted as a waitress by him, the blue window of the system appeared in her vision, welcoming her as a member of the art store. Rob opened for her a few access commands related to the trendy tavern in every art store. From now on she can act as she wants, and adjust all she wants according to the tavern. Of course, that will be based on the approval of Rob, the big boss. When Belmere wore the Japanese maid's clothes, Rob's passion buried deep in his heart began to erupt at this moment. Yes, in his previous life, Rob had an uncommon kind of fetish, the maid fetish, but he kept it under control now because even so, he wasn't a lilicon. All he can show at this moment is admiration and praise. But as he was recalling the memories of his precious fetish, a notice came from the system and interrupted his colorful fantasies. Ding! Plus 6,000 art points from Gold Roger. Ding! Plus 3,000 art points from Silver's Rayleigh. Ding! Plus 1,000 art points from Scopper Gaban. Ding! Plus 700 art points from Crocus. Ding! Plus 800 art points from Buggy. Ding! Plus 1000 art points from Shanks. Now Rob knew that his crew had finally arrived at Baitrilla Island. In the house of poor Gasty Rouge. Roger, please don't die. How can I live without you? In this small house, the voice of a young woman crying embracing a burly man with a distinctive mustache and he'd wearing a long red jacket and a typical pirate hat spread. Oh, stop crying, my sweet. Who said I'm going to die? He's fantasizing about nonsense for sure. I won't die, at least until I get there. Roger whispered the last words almost inaudibly. I heard you. Do you think I'm deaf? Don't go there. I don't want to fulfill that tortured promise. Please, let's live like a real family, Roger. Chapter 40 Amazement of Roger. Entry Acts of Roger's Pirates Crew with One Piece Manga. Creating manga of One Piece in Pirates World become my ultimate goal. For more advanced chapters, /blackstar_bh. For those who wanted to support me to continue this great book and enjoy the advanced chapters. The much-awaited chapter has finally arrived. Enjoy. He's your crewmate, Rob, in a somehow he knows the future, and not only that, he's creating it and spreading it to the world. Huh? Rob did that? Yes, here, see for yourself. Rouge took out all the manga folders in her possession from Book 1 to Book 5 and she gave them to Roger. At the same moment Roger's crew, they were attracted by the interesting beacon in the sky over the middle of the island, had just entered the art store with stunned expressions on their faces. After all, they had never seen a building like this before. Even the people of Baitrilla town didn't care this time, as if they were just ordinary pirates wanting to enter the art store. After all, it became common to use art stores as resting points for pirates in the four seas. Douglas Bullet felt little interest in the material of the building in particular, as it seemed so solid. This interest became even greater when he tested the rigidity of the store's walls with a punch reinforced with haki. He felt like hitting a rock with an egg, so that it is not possible to cause any harm to it. For a moment, he felt greedy for obtaining this building with his devil fruit ability, but he temporarily cancelled that idea when he noticed that the building on the inside was very spacious compared to the outside. This building was created with a devil fruit's ability somewhat similar to his devil fruits. That's what he concluded from seeing this. It is better not to cause trouble before finding out the tale of the owner of this building. Everyone, they've bought the 5 volumes of One Piece manga that interested them and started reading the manga from the first volume. One Piece was the focus of their trip after all. How could this title not make them feel interested? The moment they saw the front page, they all scream out in astonishment. Isn't that Captain Roger? Pirate King? This suits the captain more. What? Why is he being executed? Isn't this Logetown the city of Captain? Damn the Marines, they must be drawing this nonsense. They couldn't actually beat us and they resorted to fantasy. Just dream all you want. Douglas Bullet tried to tear up the first volume, but he couldn't, no matter how hard he tried. For a moment he felt very embarrassed, but when he noticed that no one had seen him, he let out a sigh of relief and went back to reading the book silently this time. Of all the crew, only Rayleigh and Gaban read the book in silence and somewhat heavy expressions. They felt that this book was not as simple as it seemed. Roger's laughter, his words, his facial expressions, and his actions in the book, made them feel that this was their leader who had surely fulfilled his dream. What did we find on the final island to make you choose such a dead-end path, Roger? Is your inherited will insufficient? Or is something unknown? A/N, note from the author, Roger hasn't detected his illness yet or may not have begun to weaken it yet. Rayleigh was feeling an unprecedented emotional pain that no one could notice. Did Rob draw this? Wahahaha, that boy really knows me better than I do. How is he? Did he come here to see you? Roger was trying to calm the crashing waves in his heart for the time being and asked Rouge, who was looking at him with red eyes. Obviously she's still crying. Roger, stop pretending you're fine please. You know this book isn't simple. I heard him. His inner voice wasn't lying. Our future is not good. You have to do something, Roger, to save us. Rouge kept trying to get her husband to stop piracy. She no longer wanted him to burden him with something that clearly wouldn't be the one to achieve it. Roger regained his solemn temperament and embraced his wife in an even tighter embrace. My dear, I don't do this because I'm bound to follow promises. I want to be free. My will doesn't let me stop in the middle of the road. I have to go there. If I don't go to that place, then there will be no future to talk about. When I get there I won't care whether this future punishes me or rewards me, but I won't let you be hurt by my selfishness. Rouge, since Rob is here I trust he will protect you. Roger, I want you to protect me. He's a stranger to me. Rouge screamed loudly as she cried non-stop. Her love for Roger was too strong to be underestimated. From the moment she found out some future parts of Rob, she couldn't live a normal life. I guess you've noticed that already. Even if I don't meet him again I think he's a much bigger person than fate itself. If I can't protect you he certainly can. Roger was sure of that, although he still felt a lot of mystery about the matter, but he already understood the gist of the matter. His voice of all things was so powerful that he could understand everything without needing Rouge to say a word. What the hell? Did Rob paint me like that? Ha 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 ha. I didn't think Rob would like to tell such high-ranking jokes. Red-nosed. BTF. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. The annoying sound of laughter continued to echo in Baitrilla's art store, as the young Shanks and the rest of the crew laughed loudly at the futuristic buggy. After the sadness and anger that the first chapter left in their hearts, they discover that their crew friend is the author of this book. At first they decide to search for him to teach him a harsh lesson because of the master omen that he cast on his captain's head, but their anger is greatly eased when they remember again that Rob, he is one of the most loyal people to the crew, and he will never offend his captain. But when they got past the first chapter and saw the future Shanks and then the future Buggy, the atmosphere became more lively. Shanks, who was still a 13-year-old kid, felt pride rising in his heart from the way his older brother had painted him. But Buggy felt anger and hatred rising in his heart. This was a blatant prejudice carried out by cursed Big Brother. Although he was very well drawn and handsome too, why did he make him the bad guy who got beaten up by a group of kids? This is unforgivable. He was an honorable member of the Roger Pirates, even though he was just an apprentice. So that damn Rob was there when this father's dream was destroyed and he didn't step in to save me. Oh, I'll never forgive him. Buggy had squeezed the pain rising in his heart when he thought of betraying his older brother, who not only saved him from the fate of eating a devil fruit but also made him a world joke. Look guys, this kid here doesn't the legend Buggy the Clown? What? A red nose, a blue hair, a clown-worthy face, and a natural aura of laughter. This person will become the great bastard in the future. Wait, doesn't the kid next to him look like future Shanks? That hat? Oh my god, the straw hat. It's definitely the straw hat. It's real. Please sign to me, oh, you great Shanks. Please sign to me, oh, you great clown Buggy. The Bait-rilla people in the store from all over gathered around Buggy and Shanks, who were terrified at what the hell was happening here. When they sensed the situation getting worse, they ran away from the crowd that chased after them with all their might. The Roger Pirates laughed when they saw this scene. Chapter 41 Reunion with Roger's crew? Creating manga of One Piece in Pirates World become my ultimate goal? For more advanced chapters, /blackstar_bh. For those who wanted to support me to continue this great book and enjoy the advanced chapters. The much-awaited chapter has finally arrived. Enjoy. The teleportation glow disappeared and Rob appeared in the Bait-rilla art store's teleport room. Rob was ready to meet his former crew again. Rob, who had completely fused with the emotions and thoughts of his predecessor, came to consider Roger's crew truly his own and had special respect for Roger and Rayleigh. For Rob, even before he merged with their crew member and when he considered them mere just cartoonish and imaginary creatures, he respected these two people, let alone now. Rob has exited his personal section of the store and sees Roger's crew of pirates gathered in the store's trendy tavern. Unsurprisingly, they were discussing about the One Piece manga. When Rob had arrived, his powerful aura had been noticed by the powerful people in the crew such as Rayleigh, Gaban, Bullet, and others. It's the shy boy Rob. How did he come here without us noticing his presence? Has he been here the whole time? You seem to have gotten stronger in the short period you were away from us. Boy, that is interesting. Rob was seated among the group of his old friends, after the initial happy welcome. And he let his old self, who buried in the depths of his soul, come out today when he once lived among the same comrades he met today. It was subconsciously after he saw the crew group familiar to him. It's just a little stronger, brother Rayleigh. I am still far from your level. Rob didn't want to become too presumptuous himself. Although he was already an immortal, his combat power at the moment could barely match a low-level admiral. Although your sword intent has become sharper, I didn't mean your swordsmanship level. There is something else different about you, boy. Others can't notice, but I can. Rayleigh was speaking in a low voice so that others would not hear him. Your aura has become similar to that of a captain. Has it awakened? Rob only nodded in confirmation of Rayleigh's words, not knowing how the other party could see that he had awakened the conqueror Haki with just a look, but he didn't think much. Rayleigh was very mysterious even to Rob, who had spent so many years on the crew with him. Even in the future, not much of Rayleigh's life story came to light. And what about the death aura that has completely disappeared? Was more conspicuous with their lord's consultation point. We needn't bother the lord with this little matter. He has already told us not to bother the author of the book so much and let him draw more until he gets bored of him, and he will tell us to get rid of him afterward. Since the lord said we shouldn't bother him too much, it's okay to disturb him a little, right? The bald Garosei was the angriest because of this matter that had already crossed their bounds, but what would they do? They can never disobey the orders of their lord. This is a taboo. Yes, you're right. We can't bother the lord with this little matter, but it wouldn't be a problem if we sent our people to check the news of those art shops. The fact that the store building is indestructible even by the strength of a vice admiral is really interesting, and the restoration of the blind sight inside the building is even more interesting. What kind of unregistered devil fruit appeared this time? I'm really interested. Maybe we can benefit from this. Even Vegapunk is very interested in this subject and is following the latest information on it seriously. Yes, if we hadn't stopped him, he would have personally gone to the 4 seas to check. Even though the world government put themselves in a difficult embarrassment to deal with Rob, the trouble will surely come from their side. After all, he slapped them in the face disrespectfully in the latest update. Old friend Zephyr, I have a troublesome mission for you. Yes, Fleet Admiral, what task do I have to do? Admiral Zephyr was recalled by the Fleet Admiral this morning before he had even finished his breakfast. He was upset, but as a seasoned admiral, he was used to it. You are going to visit Northern Blue, specifically the Kingdom of Ulvneil. There has appeared a kind of famous store, which has caused great inconvenience to the economy of the kingdom. We have received many and frequent complaints regarding this matter from the ruling family, and since they are under the world government, we have decided to fulfill their demands. So what should I do? Zephyr asked intently. It's a simple thing. I want you to destroy the store building. A strange expression appeared on Zephyr's face when he heard this. Fleet Admiral Kong, are you kidding me? Sending an admiral for such a small matter, isn't it too much? Zephyr was really angry, but he didn't show it. He felt as if the fleet admiral was making fun of him. No, how can I make fun of you on this matter, old friend? Look at this mission document so that you understand. Fleet Admiral Kong handed Zephyr the document of the mission. This. What kind of building can even a vice admiral from the branch can't destroy it? Discredit our navy? This is unforgivable. Okay, since this store belongs to the Roger Pirates member who has ruined the reputation of the navy, I will accept this mission. When Zephyr absorbed all the information in the document, his anger disappeared and he became more interested in the task. Just the fact that the store belonged to a Roger Pirates member with a bounty of 450 million berry on his head was enough to make the admiral move. That's good, Zephyr. I hope the good news comes back from you. By the way, there will be people from CP0, just let them do whatever they want. Okay. Zephyr left the fleet admiral's office and returned to prepare for his journey towards North Blue. After Zephyr left, Kong showed an interested smile. Looks like the 5 elders have finally decided to explore the murky waters. There is nothing better than an admiral to do an exploration. Well, that's fine too. After all, that bastard has caused irreversible damage to our navy. At the same time, Rob was meeting up with members of his former crew. Admiral Zephyr had already arrived in the kingdom of Luneville, under a warm welcome from the royal family who believed that the world government had acquiesced to their demands. Zephyr went to the art store wanting to do his mission, but he didn't think that the simple mission was actually hell-level difficult. He couldn't even convince people to leave the store building. They thought he was joking with them, and the moment the Navy wanted to use violence to get these people out of the art store, they were forcibly evicted by the will of the store. Even the admiral was fired. Damn, this building was definitely created with the ability of a devil fruit. Zephyr was a kind person and didn't want to harm civilians, so after that, he tried in every way to get the civilians out of the store, but it didn't work. One Piece fans didn't care about the Navy's words at all. So Zephyr had to wait until nightfall when the store closed its doors and was finally empty. A suffocating purple and black aura surrounded Zephyr's muscular arm, and tremendous power gathered in his black arm. This was a strength of the admiral level. I've been waiting for this moment all day, now I can finally destroy this damned building. Boom! Zephyr attacked with all his might but felt his power bounce as if he had attacked something indestructible. His powerful punch that could tear down a mountain and crush it into dust, literally, couldn't even scratch this building. The strong bounce returned, sending an exhale flying away. This is not just an art store anymore, it is a defensive fortress that is impossible to penetrate. These were Zephyr's thoughts at this moment. Chapter 43 Rob vs Zephyr. The moment the Navy tried to fire the clients of the art store Luneville, Rob has found out about them. But he didn't bother about them. If they could do something for the art store, they could. The most important thing for Rob at the moment is, you have changed, my friend. Roger looked with his usual smile straight into Rob's eyes, making the latter shiver subconsciously. Going through death and rebirth made me change, Captain, but my core is still the same. Rob didn't mean he has reincarnated at this point, but his treatment of his fatal illness is like a rebirth. I know, boy, you have become more reliable, you even started walking the path of kings. That's the best thing that has changed about you, but be careful, the path of kings is full of bumps. Don't worry, Captain Roger. Before Rob could finish his sentence, Roger interrupted him with a very serious expression. I wasn't sure before, but I'm sure of it now. Your way is even more difficult than mine. The whole world will be against you. You scatter the leaves of the world like this. Not everything will be as it should be anymore. Are you confident to continue in this path? This is what I have to do. Roger patted Rob on the shoulder before he spoke one last time and went on his way. I don't know what kind of divine experiences you've had, boy, but I believe in you. Let me see a great future before I disappear from this world, and I hope you take care of my family to avoid that bad fate. Rob stood frozen as he saw Roger's back disappear from view. His feelings were complicated at the moment. He knew that hiding something from Roger was a joke. Roger was so powerful. He deserved the title of the Pirate King who built an entire era. The Kingdom of Luneville. Rob appeared in the teleportation room of the Luneville art store at this moment. It was nighttime at the moment, as the art store was already closed. But the Navy is still camped outside the art store, unwilling to turn away. They tried every possible way to destroy it. They even used a huge amount of dynamite and blew up the entire place. It didn't affect the store building, but the surrounding ground became real chaos. This made Rob so angry that he could no longer stand the annoyances of the Navy. Even if the Admiral was present, he wouldn't be allowed to go away. The Navy was intent on destroying the building in any way, but nothing worked. They even used seawater and wet the entire building, but nothing happened. Zephyr was expecting the building to be melted by the seawater because he was sure that the building was caused by the ability of a devil fruit. But nothing happened, and this made him rethink a terrifying assumption. Could it be that this building isn't a devil fruit's ability? Zephyr was embarrassed that he couldn't complete this task, which he considered a joke and an underestimation of his abilities before. His embarrassment turned into hatred, and he made sure to prevent anyone from entering this place the next morning. If he can't destroy it, he can block it. When he was immersed in his thoughts about his next steps, suddenly, the golden doors of the building opened wide, and a young man filled with the aura of true strength came out from inside. Huh? I didn't expect that someone had been inside this whole time. Zephyr moved by Soru like a ghost at an incredible speed and stopped in front of Rob. Why are you trying to destroy my store? Isn't that too arbitrary of you, Navy? I have a license and a law for this store. You are Roger Pirate's crew member, Sky Sword, Rob. 450 million berry bounty, right? What right does a pirate have for a license and a law? You'll surely get them at the Empel Down. Zephyr said sarcastically after getting to know the other party. Since he couldn't destroy his store building, he will drag the owner to prison. Sky Sword? Even I forgot about that title. You want to catch me? Hehe, show me if you can, old man. Who do you call old man, you bastard? I'm still a young man. Zephyr was a 47-year-old man at the moment. He couldn't be considered old yet, but Rob only wanted to piss him off. Before CP0's undercover agents could intervene and prevent the conflict, a frightening battle had already broken out. Boom! A powerful shockwave spread from the collision of Zephyr's intense black arm and Rob's black sword. Not bad, that's to be expected of a powerful pirate under that bastard Roger. A powerful admiral-level aura spurted out from Zephyr's body at this moment. The Marine soldiers, whether they were from the branch or the headquarter, moved away from the battlefield, and only the vice-admirals who remained watched the battle from somewhat nearby. In the first clash, Rob lost and fell back a bit. This was his first fight in this world as Rob from Earth. He would lie if he said he wasn't excited. For the first time, he would fight an admiral-level power. This was his first encounter with the Navy. It will allow them to see that what they are facing is not just shrimp. It is a real force that they have to think about well before they think about crossing it. Admiral Zephyr disappeared from his spot once more and appeared very quickly in front of Rob, who had already figured this out with the haki of observation. Boom! The haki-coated sword and fist strength gathered at the spot of the collision and spread out again in another shock wave. Surgery was shimmering with a purple-like light that enveloped Zephyr's black fist. Supreme sword, Surgery, worthy of having it boy, but you are a pirate nonetheless. Just stop resisting and surrender obediently. I will not kill you. I was really wondering what kind of mindset a person of your strength had that made your future so tragic, but I don't wonder anymore. You are like that useless. You will definitely have a tragic future. Rob said ruthlessly. His eyes carried a heavy glint as if he was seeing through the other party's future. In his eye all that existed was the bad fate of a useless person. Huh? Are you insulting me? Anger appeared on Admiral Zephyr's expression. He knew that the pirates were unscrupulous bastards, but no one dared to insult him before. Even great pirates like Roger, Whitebeard, and Golden Lion had never insulted him before, and now he was humiliated by a pirate less valuable than these great pirates, for the first time in his life. If you really focus on my words, you'll know I didn't mean any offense, but you can think of whatever you want. I don't care, just take your soldiers and walk out of my store. Zephyr didn't want to talk anymore. He was going to teach this bastard a lesson in manners. If he didn't want to follow him to the Empel Down obediently, he would break his legs and drag him at that time. Chapter 44 The Cockroach That Doesn't Die. Boom, boom. The intense fight between two admiral-level forces definitely disrupted the kingdom's calm. The residents hid in their homes, terrified by the horrific sounds of thunder exploding from the western plain. A/N, the western plain is a lowland region in the kingdom of Lunville, exactly where the art store is located. Even the royal family was terrified by the kind of force that lived in their kingdom and could fight an admiral. When they confirmed the fact that it was the store owner Rob, whom they hated so much, they had a sleepless night. The king's wish was for Admiral Zephyr to succeed in killing or capturing Rob. An enemy of this level for them is death itself. The area near the art store became a war zone that suffered from sword energies shredding and being destroyed by the power of the fists. The two purple auras continued to clash with each other fiercely, but Rob had been on his back foot the entire time, completely overshadowed by Zephyr's brutal power. Zephyr Admiral was a veteran at the peak of his strength right now. Although weaker compared to Admiral Sengoku and Vice Admiral Garp, he is so powerful that he is considered to be an elite of his level. Rob, who was just a great swordsman, couldn't achieve an overwhelming attack power that would make him balance the battle. Even if he could be considered a low admiral level strength after all the improvements he had obtained since coming to this world, that was true of his devil fruit strength that he hadn't used yet. Your sword strength is really sharp, but that isn't even enough to scratch me. Why don't you just surrender? You can't win and you can't escape. Just surrender. You didn't even make me serious. I'm also not serious yet. I've been warming up. After all, I haven't had a good fight in a long time. When the distant Marines heard their words, they unconsciously swallowed their saliva. These monsters weren't serious yet, so wouldn't they destroy this kingdom if they got serious, is not it? The art store stood tall on the battlefield like an unshakable mountain. Everything in the vast plain around it was destroyed but not damaged at all. If Rob wanted, he could easily end this battle with the divine abilities of the art store. But he wanted to fight and absorb his true level to improve in the future. After all, he will be chased by the world government and the navy a lot in the future. If he's not strong enough, how will he protect his family and his business? The aura surrounding Rob changed and the sword intent surrounding him became berserk as if he was going to make a powerful move. An illusory sword intent formed in the purple shadow of a fallen angel who had 4 black wings behind Rob. Rob regained his combat memories bit by bit, and the sword intent that had been instilled into the former Rob's soul began to fuse with Rob completely. In the past, before he came to this world, the former Rob had used this attack as his soul aura was forming into a fallen angel with only 2 wings. But now it has 4 wings. This meant that his swordsmanship level had risen to a full level from his predecessor. Zephyr sensed the ominous aura of Rob's powerful sword intent and showed an interesting expression for the first time. He made sure to defend with all his might against this attack, or he would lose part of his body if he wasn't careful. Death Angel style. The swordsman's spiritual strength in the Surgery sword condensed very quickly. The density of the sword energy was extremely large this time. As soon as he said the familiar name of the attack, the fallen angel sped up behind him and followed the air-cutting attack on its way toward Zephyr. His aura was overwhelming and terrifying. If this attack hit a vice admiral from the headquarters, only 2/2 of his body would be left. The aura of Conqueror Haki spread out from the attack and affected Zephyr's will slightly, causing him to lose his balance. Zephyr was dumbfounded for a moment. His observation Haki had locked onto the incoming sword attack the entire time. But the moment the Conqueror Haki exploded and his soul was being washed away by an extremely heavy strength, a moment lasted for less than a second, but in that short time, the sword attack hit him so violently that he even spat blood. "Arg, you bastard!" He roared violently as he spat out blood and suffered a long bloody wound to his chest. As the fallen angel composed of Rob's soul faded, he showed a smirk to Zephyr which made the latter roar angrily. The slashing attack this time was painful as hell. "Hee, didn't you say that my sword's strength is insufficient to injure you, Honorable Admiral? I see that it is sufficient to at least make you spit blood. You have Conqueror Haki also. What's wrong with this Roger crew? Even the cabbage had a Conqueror Haki? I'm afraid that your crew pirate going to be another Rock's crew in this sea." Zephyr's heart was trembling at this moment. "Do you call me a cabbage? Remember, this cabbage here will make you the Navy suffer more in the future than the Rock's pirates or whatever." Rob felt insulted this time. He is the venerable mangaka king. Did he become called a cabbage? How not to get angry? Just because you have the haki of the kings, that shouldn't make you become so arrogant, boy. Now it's time to pay for this wound here. Zephyr pointed to his bloody wound with an angry expression, and at the same time, veins appeared in his legs, as if he was going to explode in the next moment. Sorrow. Zephyr disappeared so quickly, that not even Rob could track him down with the observation haki. Shigen. Rob felt a very sharp stab right in the stomach. Non-stop blood flowed from the hole that appeared in his stomach. Before he could comprehend the situation, he felt another stab in his kidney. This time even his internal organs were affected. The frightening pain of tearing his flesh made him shiver. Tekai. This time, a punch with iron body skill and the armament haki hit him right in the chest. Rob was sent flying like a broken doll and smashed into the walls of his store before falling to the ground like a dead man. "I told you I wasn't serious. Now, if you could stand on your feet after this, I wouldn't call myself an admiral anymore." Admiral Zephyr turned and walked away as if he had finished the fight and called his subordinates to handcuff the dangerous pirate and take him to the ship's prison. "Holy shit! This is bad. It was a fatal attack. The 5 elders will kill us if Rob dies here." The masked CP0, who appears to be the leader among the group, shouted. He was about to intervene on the battlefield to try to save Rob, but was then shocked beyond words. Then don't call yourself an admiral from now on, if you are someone who respects your words." Zephyr's expression froze when he heard Rob's voice devoid of any kind of weakness or heavy breathing. Zephyr turned to see Rob standing and looking at him with a provocative smile. Had it not been for his thick blood staining his clothes, he would not have thought that this person had been fatally attacked by him moments earlier. Are you an undying cockroach or what? I ripped your vital areas with that finger for sure. I also smashed your rib cage with my last punch. How the hell can you stand? You're definitely pretending. Even if you don't die from it, at least half of your life will be gone. Admiral Zephyr was not the only one who was shocked at this moment, but the CP0 agents and all the Navy people and non-Navy people who witnessed the Admiral's violent attack on his opponent were so shocked by the scene that they were no longer wary of anything else. They all thought the fight was already over at this point. "Admiral Zephyr, I admit that I am inferior to you at this moment and cannot beat you no matter how hard I try, but you in turn will not be able to kill me or harm me no matter how hard you try. No, even if all your Navy admirals and all the forces of the world government gather to try, you will never be able to kill me. Zay ha 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 ha. I'm sorry, I got a little excited." Zephyr froze due to Rob's evil laugh, which made him shiver with an unknown ominous feeling. "What do you mean?" Before Zephyr finished speaking, he felt the ground beneath him become as smooth as paper. He jumped into the sky before he drowned because his observational haki had already alerted him of danger. Unfortunately, he couldn't alert his subordinates and got irritated by hearing their screams when they drowned into the papery ground that appeared out of thin nowhere. Chapter 45 Paper Devil Fruit Awakening. "I will make you pay for this pain, Admiral. Even if I cannot defeat you, I will definitely make you pay." Rob wasn't really angry, he was just pretending, but the pain he felt was real. Devil Fruit Awakening. As soon as Rob said that word, the aura around him changed from berserk to soft. Rob pressed the ground with his hand and it seemed as if the nature of the rocky ground was beginning to change towards a different nature. Very quickly the ground turned into waves of white paper coated with an extremely dangerous purple light. A scene similar to Doflamingo's string Devil Fruit Awakening in his fight with Luffy occurred in Dressrosa. The entire western plain has turned into paper. Before Admiral Zephyr could react to the matter and warn his subordinates, he had already heard their cries as they pleaded for help. Hundreds of soldiers from the Navy and even high-ranking officers and Vice Admiral from the Northern Blue Branch Division were dragged into the depths of the paper earth without the ability to resist. Only Vice Admiral from Headquarter and Admiral Zephyr were able to leap in time and floated in midair by Jeppo. This is Devil Fruit Awakening? You bastard pirate, you've been hiding your strength this whole time. Let my subordinates go. Ha 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 ha, where is the previous arrogance of Admiral? Paper thorns. Tens of thousands of paper thorns gathered together and formed many sharp paper cones that were coated with haki with a purple glow. The moment Rob said the name of the attack, hundreds of sharp thorns shot toward the two people in the sky with murderous intent enveloping the air. Damn it! Vice Admiral Shurigani defended with all your might. A/N, he's OC and a mob character, don't care. Yes, Admiral Zephyr, I am not that weak. Boom! Zephyr hit the dense paper spines with a powerful punch until sparks began to spread from the meeting point of the attacks. The Vice Admiral used his sword to block the attack, but it wasn't as easy for him as Admiral Zephyr. He had to retreat in the face of this fearsome attack. Rob's vitality and stamina were endless, so his haki was also endless. If he wanted, he could fight forever. If he could keep the Admiral here, he would definitely kill him, because the Admiral would eventually get exhaustion, but unlike him, he would never get exhaustion. Rob kept sending paper thorns to the Admiral and Vice Admiral, wanting to bring them down. From afar the people of Luneville could see an amazing sight. In the darkness of the night, the huge white thorns encased in the glow of purple haki became a natural light illuminating the whole island. The fight was absolutely amazing in the eyes of the spectators, something like this that the inhabitants of the Four Seas would never see in their entire lives. Fighting like this is usually seen only in the New World. Here even devil fruits are considered a legend. But now the eyes of the simple inhabitants of the kingdom of Luneville were open to the truth of the world. In this world, there are real monsters. A monster that can turn soft paper into a deadly hell? He's reached this level of mastery in devil fruit because of drawing manga all the time. Do you want to take back your people, Admiral? You can dream. Well, I can think of it, if you leave your damned life in return. Boom! Everything around Rob turned from buildings to trees and roads to huge paper swords wrapped in haki except for the art store, which still stands tall in the storm. Thousands of paper swords gathered into a 10-kilometer-sized paper sword, and the scary thing was that the crushing sword was encased in haki. Something like this had never been seen or heard before. Zephyr and the Vice Admiral next to him shivered from the horror of the scene in front of them. The giant paper sword stopped in the sky like the judgment sword waiting for the signal to fall. How can you use this astronomical amount of haki? Are you a giant sea king incarnate in a human? Where did you get this stamina enough to withstand this astronomical consumption? Zephyr couldn't comprehend this. The human, no matter how strong it, couldn't use such a large amount of haki in a single attack. If Rob's mastery of armament haki was at a similar level to his mastery, he would surely have died by this attack. No, he wouldn't even survive him to dust. Shurigani, run now, you will die under it. Zephyr looked at his subordinate and urged him to run away and save his life. This attack is not something a Vice Admiral can stand up to. The Vice Admiral swallowed his saliva nervously. He was terrified by the scene in front of him. His instincts had been warning him to escape a long time ago. He would definitely die if he tried to defend against it. It's just like a mantis trying to stop a cart. No difference. Boy, cancel your attack. We'll retreat from here. How about that? I won't bother you again. If you launch this attack, you will destroy the entire island. Is that what you want? Finally, Zephyr couldn't pretend anymore and had to hold back. Zephyr had a very soft side. He couldn't cause his subordinates and innocent people to die if he could back off. And that's exactly what Rob was waiting for. He used his identity as an evil pirate to push the Admiral into a corner. He knew Zephyr's character very well, especially right now, as he still hasn't lost his family because of the pirates. His life is still very good. Zephyr never killed a pirate before? Only this fact is enough to show how kind this person is. Rob doesn't really hate this Admiral, but he doesn't like him either. If he could take advantage of the other party's nature to make him retreat and demonstrate his strength to the world government, he would have killed two birds with one stone. Next to the battlefield, a door in the sky opened and the heads of 5 masked people emerged. These people were CP0 agents. They were using a small den mushy to record the events taking place here. But they didn't dare to appear on the battlefield. Not a single person of the Admiral level was among them. They were all agents with the power of a Vice Admiral at most. This Rob, not really simple, to think that he could push Admiral Zephyr back. What a frightening power. We don't have to step in to tell the Admiral not to kill him anymore. Paramecia paper fruit, perfect level of awakening. I'm really envious, very powerful ability. But how the hell can he use such a large amount of haki? If we hit that sword hanging in the sky, we are surely doomed. Do you just now want to retreat, Admiral Zephyr? Rob didn't want to launch this attack in the first place because he would definitely sink the island into the sea because of it. He wanted to push Zephyr to back off with this, and he succeeded. Do you want to kill hundreds of thousands of lives out of anger? Well, I will harm myself in the same places where I hurt you as an atonement. As soon as he said that, Zephyr tore 2 holes in his body as blood splattered everywhere. Admiral Zephyr, what are you doing? This is dangerous for your life. The Vice Admiral hurried to support Zephyr at this moment. Does this satisfy you, boy? Rob was so taken aback by the Admiral's determination that he began to like the Admiral a little. Your determination is really impressive, Admiral. Well, since you have shown your intent to retreat, I would be a bad guy if I pushed you into a corner too much. You can go. Oh, and before that, I will give you valuable advice that can change your life in the future if you apply it. Protect your family well and be careful not to lower your guard about them from now on or you will regret it very much. Before he could answer, he felt an abnormal gravitational force pulling him from his place. When he opened his eyes again he found himself just outside the island aboard his warship. The Marines who had previously been swallowed by the paper ground also scattered beside him. Rob has used the art store feature protection field. The moment this feature is activated, Rob can kick everyone he wants from inside the shield to outside the art store domain. He expelled all of the Marines, whether from the branch or headquarter, and also expelled the CP0 rats who were hiding in space. A golden shield appeared that enveloped the entire island. No one unauthorized by Rob would be able to cross this energy shield no matter how hard he tried. Even if I'm himself came here he wouldn't be able to. Chapter 46 The Dilemma of the World Government. Interesting. I personally like Luffy and his crew. I wish all pirates were like these kids. Unfortunately, these kids only share the title with pirates. Real pirates are not like that. Admiral Zephyr's battleship was sailing back to Marineford. Zephyr threw the 5 volumes of manga he had just finished reading aside and went back to smoking his cigarette. But this didn't stop him from thinking about the meaning of all this. He was thinking about the events of last night. Zephyr's shape at this moment was pathetic, as his body was heavily bandaged. The injuries he inflicted on himself were really harsh and caused him to lose a lot of blood. He didn't really understand how Rob could get back on his feet after suffering the same injuries. Yesterday, before going into battle with Rob he had bought all the manga books for One Piece because he wanted to know how Rob had slandered the Navy, but he postponed their review for later. Frankly, Zephyr also knows that a navy like Nizumi is already in the ranks of the navy. Their absence is basically impossible. He hated this type of navy, and because of this manga his hatred for them increased by several degrees. After returning to headquarters he will make sure to try to reduce their number by any means possible way. And when he remembered Rob's last advice about the need to protect his family, he felt a kind of ominous warning about the matter. So Zephyr's interest on Rob became much greater than it was before. Rude's D. Rob. A really powerful and mysterious character. When Rob finally finished taking care of the Marines' matter, he abolished the Judgment Sword and Devil Fruit Awakening ability. That night he expelled the arrogant royal family from the kingdom of Luneville and forbade them to come back again. This was the price they had to pay for provoking him over and trying to sabotage his business. He appointed a president instead of a king. Of course, all of this was done in public. After all, everyone on Luneville knows that art store owner Rob protects their country with the golden shield. Everyone also watched his amazing fight against the naval admiral. The new president he appointed for the country was a member of the Mont Blanc family who was the father of Mont Blanc cricket. Rob drew on his memories of the land to come up with a flawless presidential and government system and taught it to the Mont Blanc Harry for the past week, eventually tasking him with forming a coherent government and cutting off the relationship with the world government. Rob did all this bravely to slap the world government once more and make them think twice before deciding to meddle in his affairs, and he would do the same if this situation were to be repeated. Unforgivable. Too much. Very bold. Very despicable. This is irreparable. This is an outright interference with the power of the world government. The 5 elders were having a tantrum again because of Rob. Since this bastard appeared they hadn't known rest. They had just received the decision of the Luneville Kingdom, now turned into the Luneville Nation, to separate from the world government and never pay the Celestial Dragons tribute again. Of course, if it was before they wouldn't care about a small matter like this. They would let the pirates destroy this small kingdom and watch with arrogance from the side rows. But now they know the truth. Rob has fired the Luneville royal family and installed a president who, in turn, installed a government work team under a new system of government they'd never heard of. The system itself made them dumbfounded. What is the elections process? Wait, what is parliament? Why should they divide the government into many political parties? And what are political parties in the first place? Is the prime minister the king? They were a world government too. Does this mean that their Lord is the president of the government? Why does their powerful global government seem so lacking in comparison to this system of government? Of course, Rob didn't hide the fact of the new government that he set up in the state of Luneville, but rather let the spies of the world government know about it on purpose, and this is to make them know the meaning of the real government. And that their world government is just an empty shell that has only a name. Such a dictatorial government will generate the explosion that will destroy it in the end. And as he expected, Rob succeeded in making the 5 elders enter into deep thinking and many discussions about this new system of government. He got them in deep trouble. Hey, Kong, raise the bounty of Rude's D. Rob to 800 million berries, and make the notice below, only alive. We don't want him to die. But sir, he's a power of the level of an admiral? Who can capture him alive? Kong, are you questioning our orders? Just do as I tell you. Yes, Garosei-sama, I'm sorry, I will do as you ordered. Gotcha? Kong's eyes trembled at this moment. The Garosei almost got angry about him. This was a really unwise move. It could be recorded in his clean record and it would destroy everything he worked for up until now. Damn. Fleet Admiral-san, it is unwise to oppose the Garosei on such simple matters. Shut up Sengoku, how can an admiral-level force be captured alive? Even if 3 of the same level gather against him, they won't be able to achieve such a feat. I know that, but don't forget that the world government is in deep trouble. For some reason they need this man Rob alive, and I think that's why. Sengoku referred to the manga volumes that Zephyr returned it from his trip last time. Chapter 47 Reviving the Legend of the Sky Sword Gururera? 800 million berry, and only alive? What did this brat under Roger do to anger the world government? It's more than just stopping the admiral. A majestic man with long blonde hair and a white crescent-shaped mustache was enjoying drinking sake while looking forward to the latest news around the world as well as a new wanted poster. It was very rare right now for an equivalent of this bounty to appear in the Now Sea. Even the bounties of great people like him, Roger, and Shiki do not exceed 1 billion berries on this date. This shows how terrifying an 800 million berry bounty was on this date. Oyaji, isn't this Rob the second best swordsman in the Roger Pirates? Did the Roger Pirates participate in a secret war against the world government? The person speaking this time was a young man who seemed to be around 16 years old who had a pineapple-like hairstyle. No, Marco, the world government wants this boy alive. A swordsman who can injure an admiral to this degree and succeed in making the Marines retreat. That's too powerful? When can I reach this level of swordsmanship too? The person who spoke was also a young man who looked 18 years old, was a little dark in complexion, had 2 swords on his back, and wore a hat. Gururera, you can do it, Vista, you are my son. After all, one day you will even surpass Sky Sword Rob. Maybe even the Dark King Rayleigh didn't compete with you in swordsmanship. Oyaji, you are raising his hopes too high, he is the Dark King we are talking about. This time a beautiful blue-haired young woman spoke up. Did I really exaggerated it, Whitey? Gururera? Maybe getting to Rayleigh's level hard something. But with determination, everything is possible, son. Edward Newgate, or now known as Whitebeard, was very proud of his dear and ambitious group of sons to publish their names in this sea. This was the family he had always wanted to create in the past. Only after the Rock's crew fell 7 years ago and was finally freed from the curse of Rock's DZ-back did he succeed in achieving his dream of building the family he loves and they love him. This group of kids, each with his own story and destiny, gathered around him like sons in need of shelter and he gladly accepted them all. Vista was embarrassed by his father's high expectations, while young Yoza, Marco, Thatch, and others laughed. With this lively atmosphere, Moby Dick continued to sail without even the wind daring to stop its path. Mama, they are Roger Pirates again. I also have my dear sons who will make me the pirate queen, mama. Isn't it, Katakuri, Mont Dior, Bruley, Deifuka, Perospero, Cracker, Oven? In a semi-dark room on whole locations of some of them would be already be leaked in the manga at that time. When he told Olvia about this matter the last time, she was very happy. She didn't even ask him where he knew this information from but wanted to go to their place at once. Now Rob knew where Robin's future passion for poneglyphs came from. Rob was already planning to get the secrets that would appear in the manga before someone would search for them, such as devil fruits, poneglyphs, treasures, and others. He also met Don Quixote's family, who they had returned from Torino Island, with the help of his kind waitress, Belmire, who he instructed her to return them in advance. The good news was that Don Quixote matriarch's health had become quite stable after 2 weeks of recovery on Medicine Island. Now Rob has completely succeeded in obtaining endless gratitude from the Don Quixote family. He succeeded in fulfilling his promise to Doflamingo, so he became his official teacher and had already given him the string fruit in his first training session. Once Doflamingo had eaten the string fruit, his future potential was already on the right track. With a Rob-level teacher, he would be much stronger than his future version. Doflamingo was now just a kid, so Rob didn't want to be too hard on him in his training, so he sent him to school as part of his training. Although Doflamingo was not willing at first, after being intimidated that he wouldn't sell the manga to him again, he had to go to school with his little brother Rosinante, who was happy to go to school. The family succeeded in completely integrating with the residents of the Knowledge Village, and the 2 sons, Doflamingo and Rosinante, went to school with the kids of O'Hara. Their lives were more peaceful than they expected when they wanted to get off Mary Gioase. Don Quixote homing and his wife got the life they always wanted to live here in the beautiful and peaceful village of O'Hara. Although the peaceful and serene life is disturbed every week by the passionate readers of One Piece who are scattered everywhere besides the art store where they read the new One Piece chapters with unending passion, this was more than acceptable to the family that had previously been subjected to the infernal assault. This huge gathering of One Piece fans produces endless noises early in the morning, but the people of Knowledge Village are already used to it. Sunday has become one of the busiest days in O'Hara. No, in all 4 seas. Today was the much anticipated Sunday. On an island. Shanks, Hawkeye. That's a surprise. I'm not in a good mood today, but did you come to fight me? My hawk? I gave up fighting a man with 1 arm a long time ago. My hawk, fate intersected me with special pirates, and I remembered that story you told me some time ago, a story about a special boy from a village. Shanks, whoa, do you mean? Shanks, so you've finally appeared. Luffy, I'm sorry, let me go now. Buggy, who will let you go? Alvida, will the man I like finally die? Buggy, do you have any last words? There are a lot of people watching you now. Luffy, Buggy, anyway, it doesn't matter if you have last words or not, no one will care what you say. Luffy, I'm the man who, Luffy, will become the Pirate King? Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Nami? Luffy, sorry but it looks like I'm going to die. Shishishi, Zoro, what? Sanji, don't you say that, you idiot. Smoker, he smiled. Thunderbolt. Ignition of the execution platform. Luffy, nah ha 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 ha, looks like I survived. How lucky I am. the ones that can't be stopped, the inherited will, man dreams, and the flow of time. As long as the man continues to search for the answer towards freedom, these things will never stop. Words of the Pirate King Roger. Monkey D. Dragon, pirate? This is also good. Luffy, Gomu Gomu no pistol? Luffy, huh. Smoker, are you really worth 30 million berries? Luffy, ack. Oof. Smoker, it looks like your luck has come to an end. Dragon, or maybe not. Smoker, you? Luffy, what? Who's there? Smoker, the entire world government is looking for you, you know. Dragon, the world is waiting for our answer. Smoker, why did you help him escape? Dragon, what right do you have to prevent a man from sailing? Sanji, so we've come to the Grand Line, right? So we'll call this a celebration. Sanji, to find the All Blue. Luffy, to become the Pirate King. Zoro, to become the greatest swordsman. Nami, to draw the map of the world. Usopp, T, to become a brave sea warrior. Crushed, towards the Grand Line, our destination, equals. Boom, more chapters, store owner, give me more, please. These were the words of most of the people who had finished reading the new volume. This arc was a good conclusion to the events of East Blue already. Mysterious characters appear one after another, and a lot of information was mentioned about the Pirate King Roger. Luffy and Roger, why do they look like each other on the execution platform? They are almost the same, why are they laughing in the face of death? Such questions were repeat on the minds of many, only a few smart people could figure out why. This arc was the true beginning of the legend. South Blue, in Bait Rilla. Rouge's tender body trembled and the manga book fell to the ground as if life had lost all meaning to her. If Rob had understood the meaning of life, then to poor Gasti Rouge she had lost this meaning at this moment. Why do you keep drawing my husband dead? Dead? How could Roger die? That's a lie, that's definitely a lie. I won't forgive you if Roger really dies, I swear I won't forgive you. Her tears fell incessantly at this point. This was the day Rouge cried the most in her life. Rob didn't know the crushing psychological effects he had on Rouge at this moment. Chapter 49 Garp and Dragon excitedly looking for Luffy's mother. Ding. Plus 200 art points from Fuchsia Village Mayor. Whoop slap. Ding. Plus 6,000 art points from Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp. Ding. Plus 3,000 art points from Navy Captain Monkey D. Dragon. Lately, Rob has received so many notifications that his art points have already crossed the million mark. But when he saw these notifications he was surprised. He didn't think that both Luffy's grandfather and Luffy's father would read his manga at the same time. This means that they are both in Fuchsia Village at present. Well, it doesn't matter. I hope you enjoy your son's future. Ha ha ha, I wonder how Dragon will react to seeing his future shape. I think he'll just be a young man at 26 or so at this moment. Husband, I heard you wondering about Dragon. Is he the same Dragon that appeared in the One Piece new book? Is he another real character in your story? Rob forgot that Alvia was clinging to him like a monkey clinging to a tree right now when he was gossiping to himself. In fact, the characters in the One Piece manga are all real. What did you say? East Blue, Fuchsia Village. Unbelievable? Is that really me? Who cares about you? Look at my cute future grandson. He survived a disaster. Bwahahaha, as expected from my grandson. The bastard clown? When I hunt down Roger Pirates again, I'll make sure I kill him first. Buggy, who was having a boring time in Oro Jackson, suddenly shivered as if his fate had already been decided. Back in Garp, he was wondering about a lot of things. But why does he have to become a pirate? Didn't I raise my grandson well, or was my grandson me so affected by the sacrifice of a random pirate that he became a pirate because of it? All I see is an elaborate plan from that red-haired bastard of Roger too. Decided, I'll kill him too when I go after the Roger Pirates next time. Shanks, who was next to the stunned Buggy, once again felt a suffocating shiver that made his blood cold. Back in Fuchsia Village, Dragon shouted loudly at his father. Obviously I saved him, old man. He's my son after all. Since he is your son, who is the mother? Garp asked as he put his finger in his nose in search of raw minerals. I'm still single. And don't throw your nose bullshit at me. Get up, let's find Luffy's mother. I want a grandson now. What are you doing, old man? Leave me. I don't know any women at this moment. Garp grabbed Dragon and dragged him like a bag of air. I don't care. Makino was already born, so mathematically Luffy will be born 12 years from now. That's too long. I want my grandson to see the light now. Hurry up. I told you, I don't want any romance relationship at this time, old man. Do you want to taste my love fist? Garp Ganfal had no choice but to accept it. This person in front of him was so powerful, he couldn't refuse. When Rob opened his art store on a thriving street in Angel Island, the islanders' attention was captured almost immediately. When enough gathered near the cloud of the majestic store, Rob began his usual speech, but this time he tried to stimulate the Skypian race's craving for freedom. After all, they knew almost nothing of the world below. The fact that the store in front of them sells interesting stories taking place in the Blue Sea is what caught their attention from Rob's words. And of course, the smart people and analysts like Ganfal, they noticed the strange anomaly about the store, and in particular the banner hanging in the air that said the future is here. Even Ganfal felt a bit interested in this One Piece manga. Rob let the crowd enjoy the new world he had brought them and left silently towards Upper Yard beside Angel Island. At the moment Roger pirates have not yet come to Skypiea, so Rob took this opportunity to go to where the Punji life is below the Golden Bell. He will come here later with his wife Alvia, but to make her see this poneglyph. He wouldn't take him from here because he had already opened a secret art store here near the poneglyph, so even if someone tried to reach him they would block him, even if it was the world government. After leaving words of welcome on the poneglyph in the language of the Old Kingdom, Rob returns to the art store. Yes, Rob learned the ancient language of the poneglyph easily after being taught by Alvia. Someone like him with a photographic memory would be stupidity to not take advantage of it for learning. As for the message he left for Roger, it will remain a mystery until Roger and his crew comes here a few years later. Mr. Ganfal, I have a deal for you. If you succeed in obtaining this fruit for me, I will open a lot of commercial store branches here on Sky Island, and I can also open a safe travel channel between Blue Sea and Sky Island. The benefits of that will be very great for you. Rob took out an image of a blue devil fruit he had obtained from the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia and gave it to Ganfal. Are you really going to do that? Ganfal was very dumbfounded after hearing the benefits he would get. Rob introduced himself as a great Blue Sea trading investor, so the first thing these types of traders would think of is the benefits. Sure, you have my word, I'm someone who never does go back on his word. Rob was really serious. If he could get th at fruit, he would definitely do what he said. Search in Birka Island. Okay,